exact words. Su Ruoxuan didn't answer either. Ruoxian, it's not too late now. Can we go out for a midnight snack together? Su Ruoxian refused. No, I don't have the habit of eating midnight snacks. Song Lang said, Okay, then I won't bother you, Ruoxian. Song Lang decisively hung up the phone. The corners of the mouth on the other end of the phone curled up slightly. When pursuing a woman, you must not make her feel bored, and you must know how to give each other space. Saying something ambiguous is enough to make the other person think about it. As long as she thought about it, he would achieve his goal. Su Ruoxuan was indeed thinking about the company's affairs, but she was not thinking about him, Song Lang, but about Chu Ji. HMPH, I'm so mad at you. Others are rushing to cooperate with me, but I took the initiative to find you, but you kept making excuses. I'm so mad. Su Ruoxuan slapped the quilt fiercely. At the same time, at Zyro Han's residence, Cairo May told him about the investigation into Song Lang. Zyro Han's face was full of excitement. Are you saying that Song Lang is just a puppet now, controlled by those people? Yes, in their eyes, Song Lang is just an obedient dog and a tool they use to confuse outsiders, said Cairo May. Okay, that's great. With this information, I can stop that guy from getting close to Ruoxian, Zyro Han said. Cairo May's eyes flickered, and she didn't respond. Zyro Han looked at Cairo May. His eyes lit up as he saw her plump figure. He has had many assistants before, but Cairo May is the only one who has been with him for several years. Why? It was because of Cairo May's figure that he couldn't stop. Zyro Han extended his hand towards Cairo May. Cairo May frowned and took a step back to avoid Zyro Han's hand. Zyro Han's expression changed slightly. Cairo May said, Honey, I'm a little tired after a whole day's journey. I want to go back and rest early. Go back, you can rest here with me. Honey, I'm having my period, so I can't serve you today. Cairo May stood up and left, twisting her charming waist. As she walked out of the room, her face instantly darkened. I didn't feel anything before, but why do I feel he's a little disgusting now? Cairo May whispered. She couldn't help but think of the scene of hiding in Chu Ji's arms. Then he smiled bitterly. Alas, just after smelling the fragrance of the delicacies from the mountains and the sea, I really can't eat this kind of pig food. Ah Ji, what do you think I should do? Chapter 132, Don't Let Me Down. Su Ruoxuan received a call from her father early the next morning. Drive to Su's manor. Father Su looked at Su Ruoxuan with a sigh. He felt distressed to see such a good daughter having to work in public to make money by making movies. Although if she asked the Su family for it, the Su family would not refuse to give it to her. But ever since Zyro Han lost money on that movie, Su Ruoxuan has never asked her family for money again. She is naturally strong-willed and always handles her own problems on her own. I heard that a man named Song Lang wants to cooperate with you, Su's father asked. Su Ruoxian raised her eyebrows. That's true. Have you investigated this person? Asked Su's father. He is from the Song family in Lingcheng. I haven't done any detailed research. Su Ruoxuan told the truth. The stepmother next to him said, So the other party's family background is not bad too. Su Ruoxian frowned and said, It should be. Zia Ma said, That's really great. Isn't this a perfect match? Father Su also nodded. I've seen the movie you starred in and I think you and him are a good match. I came here to ask you what you think. What do you think? What do you want to say? Su Ruoxuan asked. Father Su said, To be honest, the reason why you and Chu Ji have come to this point is that the gap between you is too big. You are not a good match, so it is difficult for two people like this to be together. I think Song Lang is a good person. You both come from a big family. Your ideas and other thoughts are not too different. I think you are a good match. You can consider it. The stepmother said, Yes, you can consider it. You are not young anymore. It's time to get married and have children. Su Ruoxian said, Didn't I say it? My husband can only be Chu Ji. Father Su said angrily, But you are already divorced and Chu Ji is not suitable for you. It's Ruoxian. Chuj is nothing. How can Chuj compare with Song Lang? Song Lang has good looks and a good family background. Only if you help each other after you get married can you go further. He is your perfect match. As for you and Chu Ji, do you think there is still hope between you? Has he ever called you after your divorce? Su Ruoxuan's eyes darkened when she heard that. Yes, has Chu Ji called me since the divorce? Su Ruoxuan left the Su's manor and found Zhu Wongking. Zhu Wongking's home is also here, but it is on a higher ground and occupies a larger area. Hey, Zyro Xiangxian, how come you have time to come here today? Zhu Wongking said coquettishly. Looking at Zhu Wongking, Su Ruoxuan's eyes showed a hint of admiration. No matter when this woman was always so beautiful, so noble and so captivating. Zhu Wongking was like a queen who was high and mighty. She really couldn't think of any man in the world who was worthy of her. Fortunately, the other party doesn't like men. Hee hee, you look so sad. Are you worried about something? Zhu Wongking lay lazily on the sofa. Looking at her figure, Su Ruoxuan, as a woman, couldn't take her eyes off. Sister Wongking, you have such a good figure, which man is lucky enough to enjoy it? Su Ruoxuan asked. Zhu Wongking's cheeks flushed. Zyro Xiangxian, are you teasing me? Absolutely not. I'm just curious about how good a man must be to match Sister Wongking. Zhu Wongking looked at her body, and the thought of such a perfect body twisting under someone made her feel hot in her heart. What day is today? It's almost Friday, right? She thought silently. Tell me you definitely have something to talk to me about. What is it? Zhu Wongking changed the subject. Su Ruoxuan sighed. Sister Wongking, what went wrong that led him and I to this point? Is there still a possibility for him and me? Zhu Wongking listened quietly to Su Ruoxuan's story. After listening, Zhu Wongking said, If you ask me, you just can't make up your mind. If you had slept with him in the first place, how could we have the current situation? It's such a pity that you gave up such a good opportunity, just because of a phone call from Zyro Han. When mentioning Zyro Han, Su Ruoxuan looked a little annoyed. Zhu Wongking continued, He was your serious husband at the time. Don't you think there's something wrong with you abandoning your husband and running off to take care of other men? Speaking of which, couldn't you have hired a nurse if you saw that Zyro Han was fine? But you took care of him all night by yourself. Even an outsider like me thinks that you are interested in Zyro Han. What do you think Chu Ji will think? No matter how good a person is, they can't stand you stabbing them in the heart again and again. Su Ruoxuan's face turned pale. It turned out that she had caused such great harm to Chu Ji. Do you know your problem? To be honest, it's no surprise to anyone that you've come to this point. There is one thing your family said that is very true. That is, you two are not a good match, and your values are not in harmony, so how can you be together? Su Ruoxuan was distraught. Don't I just like him? Su Ruoxuan murmured to herself. Zhu Wongking said, No, it's true that you like him, but you didn't give him enough sense of security and confidence. I heard that even when you were getting divorced, he still called you President Su. Don't you think there's something wrong with that? Su Ruoxuan was at a loss. I didn't give him enough security. I didn't give him enough confidence. Did he always think that my love for him was not real? Zhu Wongking said, Isn't this obvious? If you give him enough confidence, how could he leave you so heartlessly? He has no hope and has been hurt by you time and time again. It would be strange if he didn't divorce you. Then what should I do? Su Ruoxuan asked. Zhu Wongking raised a smile and said, I still say that. If you sleep with him, he will definitely be responsible for you given his personality. Su Ruoxuan's cheeks blushed, but she did not object and seemed to be thinking about the feasibility of this matter. Just then Su Ruoxian's phone rang and Song Lang's gentle voice sounded. Ruoxian, where are you? I want to invite you to have lunch at noon. Do you have time? By the way, let's talk about work. Su Ruoxian frowned, then said, Okay. After hanging up the phone, Su Ruoxuan said goodbye to Zhu Wongking. Looking at Su Ruoxuan's leaving back, Zhu Wongking shook her head slightly. Zhu Wongking sighed slightly. It's impossible for Aj and I to be together. Age is a disadvantage. You are not bad. You have business acumen and courage. You can help Aj share a lot of the burden. Please don't let me down. Su Ruoxuan arrived at the place designated by Song Lang and found that it was a private room. Su Ruoxian asked, Is it necessary for the two of us to occupy one private room? Song Lang said, It's too chaotic outside, it's quiet here. Su Ruoxuan frowned and stopped talking, tacitly agreeing to Song Lang's arrangement. Song Lang's eyes lit up with joy. Ruoxian, I don't know what you like to eat, so I just ordered something random. See if you like it or not. If you don't like it, you can change it. Looking at the table full of dishes, Su Ruoxuan frowned even more tightly. Wouldn't it be a waste to have so much? Su Ruoxuan said. I'm just afraid that something may not suit your taste. Song Lang smiled shyly. Su Ruoxuan didn't say anything. Seeing Song Lang was about to pour the wine, Su Ruoxian stopped him and said, I don't drink. I have an important meeting later. It's okay to drink less, Song Lang insisted. Su Ruoxian said, No, if I say I won't drink, then I won't drink. Work matters cannot be sloppy at all. Song Lang's hand, holding the wine glass, was a little stiff. Chapter 133, A Different Chu Ji. Song Lang forced a smile and said, In that case, then don't drink it. I'll pour you a glass of water. Su Ruoxuan nodded. Song Lang turned around and poured the water. Then he placed the water next to Su Ruoxuan. Ruoxian, drink some water. Su Ruoxuan nodded, but did not go to get the cup of water. Are you looking for me this time to talk about joining my company? Su Ruoxuan asked straight to the point. Song Lang asked, Ruoxian, do you agree? Looking at Song Lang, Su Ruoxuan's eyes were complicated. I think our cooperation is not suitable. Song Lang hurriedly said, Ruoxian, to be honest, I liked you the first time I saw you. Su Ruoxian interrupted Song Lang and said, Song Lang, cooperation is cooperation. I don't want personal feelings to be mixed in. I think you should go back and think about it. Don't be impulsive. Ruoxian, I have thought it through very clearly. Don't worry, after I join your company, you will still be the boss. I will definitely not have any objections. Su Ruoxian said, Why are you doing this? Song Lang said, Ruoxian, let's not discuss emotional matters. Let's look at it purely from a business perspective. Can the cooperation between you and me gain more benefits? Ruoxuan, although the current company belongs to you alone, there are many people who depend on you for their livelihood. If not for yourself, you should also do it for their sake. You should make up for the losses caused by Xiao Han as soon as possible. The cooperation between you and me can greatly increase their confidence, which is a good thing in every way. Su Ruoxuan was silent. She had to admit that Song Lang was telling the truth. Xiao Han's failure caused a great commotion. Some people have begun to question their own abilities, which is simply fatal. Su Ruoxuan has been strong all her life, so how could she be willing to lose the position of president of Su Corporation? She wanted to use this entertainment company to prove her strength, but she underestimated Xiao Han's strength and ended up in this situation. She also felt pressure to work with Chu Ji, but fortunately, she had Director Feng's reputation. After all, Director Feng agreed to take the script to shoot a movie for Chu Ji. But this title is a stretch, because in the cooperation between the two companies, no matter which one values strength more. Chu Ji's company is developing very well, but it is still a little bit inferior to her company. But there will be no problem if she cooperates with Song Lang, and the people under her will also be very happy. After all, Song Lang's capital is far beyond what Chu Ji can compare to. Su Ruoxian said, In this case, let's not rush to make a decision. You can also hold a meeting to discuss it with everyone when you go back. Song Lang said, No need to discuss, I can make the full decision. Su Ruoxian frowned and said, Okay, I'll go back and discuss it with my people. Su Ruoxuan stood up and walked towards the door. Song Lang was stunned and said, Ruoxian, if you want to leave, you have to eat first. Su Ruoxian said, No, I can't eat now. Then have a drink of water. Song Lang picked up the water cup and walked towards Su Ruoxuan attentively. Su Ruoxuan frowned and took the cup of water. Just then her phone suddenly rang. Su Ruoxuan put the cup of water on the table again and took out her phone. Seeing the phone number display, Su Ruoxuan's brows showed surprise. She quickly answered the call. Hello, Aj. On the other end of the phone, Chu Ji held the phone and said, I saw your car. Are you having dinner at the restaurant? You're here too. I'm in the private room. Come over here. Song Lang looked at the surprise that suddenly appeared on Su Ruoxuan's face, and his expression looked solemn. Chu Ji hung up the phone with a deep look in his eyes. He didn't want to meddle in other people's business. But Kaio Mei's words kept echoing in her ears. Could she really remain indifferent and allow Song Lang to deceive Su Ruoxuan? Now it seems that he can't do it. Maybe he has other ideas. Why would you give up something that belongs to you? At this moment, Li Qing's words loomed in his mind. Let's go to the private room, Chu Ji said to Su Jai, Yu Xing and Zheng Tan beside him. It was Su Jai who first discovered Su Ruoxuan. After much hesitation, Chu Ji finally made the call. A few people came to the private room and saw that there were only Su Ruoxuan and Song Lang in the room. Su Jai had a subtle expression. However, the other party had already divorced Chu Ji at this time, and he could not do anything about it. Hello, Mr. Su, Yu Xing and others greeted. Aj, are you coming here to eat too? Su Ruoxuan asked. Yes, reward them. They work day and night for the company, and I can't stand it anymore, Chu Ji said. Boss, you don't understand. You don't understand the happiness we have. Seeing our game become a big hit is the same feeling as seeing our children succeed. It's that sense of accomplishment of gaining one's own value that makes people fascinated. As for overtime, that's just a side effect, Zheng Tan also said. Su Ruoxian smiled and said, Hurry up and sit down to eat. Okay, Yu Xing and Zheng Tan were not polite. There was nothing for them to do anyway. They just came to join the crowd and have a meal. Su Ruoxuan looked at Chu Ji and was very surprised. She never expected that Chu Ji would take the initiative to call her. What are you talking about? Chu Ji asked knowingly. It's okay, we're just chatting casually, Su Ruoxian explained quickly. Then she said, "You should also sit down quickly." Su Ryukshuan looked at the seat next to her, feeling a little nervous. She didn't know whether Chu Ji would sit next to her. Song Lang narrowed his eyes at this time and actually said to Chu Ji, "Mr. Chu, come and sit here." He pulled out a chair, which was a little distance away from Su Ryukshuan. Chu Ji glanced at Song Lang and said, "I'll just sit here." Chu Ji sat directly next to Su Ryukshuan. He didn't know why he made this choice. He would never do that before. But ever since Kairo Mei said those words to him when he came back from Lingcheng, he felt like something was different about himself. Song Lang's face turned pale when he saw this. At this time, Su Jai rolled his eyes and sat on the other side of Su Ryukshuan. Song Lang was a little annoyed when he saw this, but he couldn't get angry. "I could only sit at the seat next to him." Chu Ji tapped his fingers lightly on the table, not knowing what to say for a moment. Su Ryukshuan was also nervous. She was afraid that Chu Ji would bring up the question again about why she was having dinner with Song Lang. Su Ryukshuan asked, "Do you have work in the afternoon?" "Yes, the companies are a bit scattered now. After finishing the game company's work in the morning, I have to go to the entertainment company in the afternoon." Su Jai next to him said, "Aj plans to rent a few floors of offices and move all the administrative departments together to make management easier, but he hasn't found a suitable location yet." Su Ryukshuan's eyes lit up when she heard this and said, "You can come to Su's building. I can arrange it for you. The entertainment company can also move here. I will be responsible for the equipment installation." Su Jai's eyes lit up and he looked at Chu Ji. Chu Ji said, "No, it's not very convenient." Su Jai shook his head and said nothing. Su Ryukshuan was a little annoyed. "I've given him a way out, why doesn't he take it? The more I think about it, the angrier I get." Chapter 134, Straightforward Chu Ji. Song Lang then asked, "Mr. Chu, is it a coincidence that you came here to eat this time, or was it intentional?" Chu Ji frowned and looked at Song Lang and asked, "What does Mr. Song mean by this?" "It's okay, I don't mean to look down on Mr. Chu. It's just that this is a high-end restaurant after all. The people who can eat here must be of high status," Song Lang said. Chu Ji frowned and looked at Song Lang with displeasure. This was also the first time he was dissatisfied with someone because of a few words. That time in Lingcheng seemed to have turned on a switch in him. "Mr. Song means that we are not qualified to eat here?" Chu Ji asked at this time. No, I didn't mean that. I just think it's too much of a coincidence," Song Lang said. Chu Ji looked at Su Ryukshuan and said, "I said I didn't follow you on purpose. Do you believe me?" Su Ryukshuan wanted to lift the corners of her mouth, but they were forced down again. "Well, I believe you. You are usually very busy and don't have time to do such boring things. As for why we met here, it was purely a coincidence. Chu Ji looked at Su Ryukshuan and always felt that her explanation was weird. What does that hint of uncontrollable surprise in his tone mean? Su Jai next to him said at this time, "Aj, didn't you say you have a coupon here?" "Yes, that's why I came here," said Chu Ji. "Tisk, coupons? Mr. Chu, although I'm not from Jinghai, I know that this restaurant never has so-called coupons. Can you find a better excuse?" Chu Ji scratched his head. "No." Su Ryukshuan next to her was shaking her shoulders. She could hardly hold it in anymore. She looked at Chu Ji with her bright eyes, filled with a hint of affection. Su Ryukshuan thought to herself, "This idiot can't even find a decent excuse to get close to me." But seeing him so embarrassed, she couldn't bear it and was about to speak. There was a knock on the door, and a waiter came in. "Is there anything else you need?" asked the waiter. Song Lang frowned at the waiter who came in. He seemed to have instructed them not to disturb him and Su Ryukshuan while they were eating. "What's wrong with this waiter?" Without mentioning Song Lang's doubts, Chu Ji said, "You came at the right time. Is this the coupon you have?" Chu Ji handed the coupon to the waiter. "It is actually a card, a black card with a gold border." The waiter took a closer look and immediately became respectful. "Sir, this is indeed our coupon. Please let me know if you need anything." Song Lang said, "How come? When did your restaurant have coupons?" The waiter said, "This is not a real coupon. It is a VIP card representing our restaurant's distinguished guests." "What?" Song Lang was shocked. Su Ryukshuan next to her also asked, "Membership card?" "Yes," said the waiter. Soon a man who looked like a manager came in and said to Chu Ji, "Sir, we are so sorry for the delay. You should have informed us in advance so that we can prepare a private room for you." Chu Ji was a little dazed. Su Jai and others opened their mouths wide. They also knew that this was a high-end restaurant, and they were a little nervous when they came. If Chu Ji hadn't insisted that there was a discount card, they really wouldn't have dared to come. The consumption here is at least several thousand yuan per time, not to mention the extra money. But what is the situation now? Chu Ji also wanted to know what was going on. How much discount can I get with this discount card? Chu Ji asked. The manager twitched his lips and said, Sir, you are joking. Your consumption is all free. What? Chu Ji was a little confused. Free. Su Jai, who was standing next to him, was dumbfounded when he looked at Chu Ji. Even Su Ruoxuan looked at Chu Ji in surprise. As the daughter of the Su family, she had never seen such treatment. Free of charge. Are you treating this restaurant as your own home? Song Lang's face turned gloomy. I originally wanted to slap Chu Ji in the face, but I didn't expect that the other party would show off his power. Chu Ji's expression also became solemn. The card was given by Sister Wonking, but she didn't say it could be free. He was also wondering why the coupon was a card, thinking it was an upgrade, but it turned out to not be a coupon at all. Chu Ji took back the card and said, I don't need anything. This gentleman will pay for all the expenses here. Chu Ji pointed at Song Lang. Take as much as you want. I'm not familiar with him, Chu Ji continued. Poof, Su Jai next to him twitched. So straightforward. He looked at Chu Ji with surprise and confusion. Is this still the Chu Ji he knew? I feel a lot darker. Su Ruoxuan quietly reached out her hand and twisted Chu Ji's waist hard, looking at Chu Ji with both amusement and displeasure. Su Ruoxian said, Okay, you guys go out first. We will call you if we need anything. The manager and the waiter hurried out of the room. Song Lang said disdainfully, Mr. Chu, you really know how to be frugal and manage your household. I just don't know if it will be the same when you bring your girlfriend out. Chu Ji said seriously, I have never taken my girlfriend out to eat. Song Lang was stunned. What kind of answer was this? But Su Ruoxuan found that she was in a particularly good mood at this moment. Eat, Su Ruoxuan said. Chu Ji was also hungry, so he started to eat. No longer pay attention to Song Lang. Song Lang's nose was crooked with anger. What's even more infuriating is that Su Ruoxuan actually picked up some food for Chu Ji. Chu Ji was stunned for a moment when he looked at the dishes that Su Ruoxuan picked up. He seemed to remember the scene of having dinner with Su Ruoxuan in the villa. At that time, Su Ruoxuan naturally picked up some food for him. Chu Ji did not refuse Su Ruoxuan's kindness and ate with big mouthfuls. Su Jai next to them raised his eyebrows at Yu Exing and the others. Yu Exing and the other person also looked at Su Ruoxuan and Chu Ji strangely. When they were almost done eating, Song Lang said angrily, I'll pay. I'm not like some people who would even eat at someone else's expense. Chu Ji took a sip of water with a slight embarrassment. Let's go, do you want to go with me? Su Ruoxuan looked at Chu Ji. Chu Ji hesitated for a moment. He really wanted to find an opportunity to talk to Su Ruoxuan about Song Lang. Okay, I'll go with you, Chu Ji nodded. Su Ruoxuan's eyes showed surprise when she heard that. Su Jai said, That's fine, we'll drive your car away. Su Jai took the key from Chu Ji and left with Yu Exing and Zheng Tan. When I got downstairs, Song Lang was already waiting there. Ruoxuan, I'll take you back, Song Lang said. Su Ruoxian said, No need, Chu Ji, come with me. Under Song Lang's ugly look, Chu Ji got into Su Ruoxuan's car and sat in the driver's seat. On the way, Chu Ji said, Boss Su, I want to talk about Song Lang. What? Su Ruoxuan was a little nervous. He and I were really talking about work this time. He wanted to join my company. I don't want Song Lang to join your company, Chu Ji said at this time. Still so straightforward. Chapter 135, I definitely didn't do anything. Chu Ji thought Su Ruoxuan would be angry, because in his impression Su Ruoxuan had always been domineering at work. If I interfere with her decision casually, she will probably not be happy with me. Sure enough, there was silence in the car for a long time. Chu Ji glanced at Su Ruoxuan secretly, but I found that the other party didn't seem angry about it. He even seemed to see a hint of joy flash across Su Ruoxuan's lips. Oh, in what capacity do you say this to me? Su Ruoxuan tried hard not to let the corners of her mouth curl up. Chu Ji fell silent after hearing this. Seeing this, Su Ruoxuan became angry again. Tell me, in what capacity do you say this? She demanded. Friend, Chu Ji answered cautiously. Friends, are you and I friends? Su Ruoxuan was dissatisfied with the answer. Seeing that Chu Ji stopped talking again, Su Ruoxuan turned her head and looked out the window angrily. Boss Su, where are you going back to? Go home, Su Ruoxuan said angrily. Oh. Chu Ji agreed and drove towards the villa. Seeing that Chu Ji didn't say anything, Su Ruoxuan twisted her body in annoyance. Then he said, Tell me, what position do you hold to say this? You just stopped me from cooperating with him. Isn't that a bit too overbearing? Who am I to you? Why do you control me like this? Chu Ji said, "Alas, I just don't like you working with him for no reason." Su Ryukshuan became quiet instantly. Chu Ji looked at Su Ryukshuan with a little trepidation, but he found that the other person was leaning his head and looking at him quietly. "Is there a flower on your face?" After passing through the city and turning onto a remote road, Chu Ji slammed on the brakes. He shook his head, feeling a little dizzy. And he felt hot. What's going on? His eyes became unfocused. Su Ryukshuan beside him also looked at Chu Ji and asked in confusion, "What's wrong with you?" She reached out and touched Chu Ji's forehead. Chu Ji's whole body shrank suddenly. "I'm fine." There were flashes of madness and rationality in Chu Ji's eyes. He flung open the door. "Mr. Su, the villa is in front. I won't go there. It will be easier for me to take a taxi if I go back from here. I'll leave first." Chu Ji tried his best to endure the strangeness in his body. Sweat was dripping down his forehead. Su Ryukshuan looked at Chu Ji suspiciously. "What's wrong with you? Are you angry with me?" Chu Ji did not answer. Strong rationality played an important role at this time. He said nothing happened. "Goodbye, President Su." After Chu Ji finished speaking, he strode towards the direction he came from. The footsteps seemed hurried. Su Ryukshuan also got out of the car, her eyes full of disappointment. Is he still unwilling to go back to the villa with her? Su Ryukshuan clasped her hands tightly and touched her shoulders. She felt an unprecedented loneliness. "Once you let go, will you never be able to go back?" Su Ryukshuan looked in Chu Ji's direction again. At this time, Chu Ji's eyes had become unfocused, but he still knew what he was going to do. That is to leave here as soon as possible. But he seemed to underestimate his physical discomfort. Intellectual and physical discomfort are in fierce conflict. Chu Ji felt like his soul had left his body. The soul is clear and is watching its body restlessly with a cold eyes. His body was manic, but it could not affect his powerful soul. Finally, at a certain moment, it was as if his soul had completely left his body. His eyes went dark and he fell to the ground with a thud. Zhu's manner. Zhu Wangking slowly drank the red wine in the glass. "Ryukshuan, I'm giving you a chance. If you can't seize it, then that's your problem." When Chu Ji woke up, he found himself at Su Ryukshuan's house. "Why am I here?" Chu Ji was shocked. He was lying on the bed and instantly recalled the scene before he fell into a coma. Just then he felt an arm on his chest. Chu Ji's whole body stiffened. He turned his head and saw Su Ryukshuan's beautiful face next to him. Chu Ji's eyes suddenly widened and he quickly stood up. Only then did I realize that he was only wearing pajamas. And the whiteness of Su Ryukshuan's chest was also revealed in front of him. Chu Ji covered his forehead and was unconscious. He had no memory of what he had done. A bad thought came to his mind. Could it be that she and I? No, it's impossible. Chu Ji shook his head repeatedly. This feeling was completely different from the one I had with Sister Wangking. I had no idea at all, and he definitely didn't do anything. He looked around and didn't see his clothes. When I opened the wardrobe, I found various men's clothes neatly hung inside, all of which were from the Hongai brand, and of course there were also luxury brands such as Armani. Chu Ji randomly picked out a set to put on. The clothes fit him perfectly, obviously tailored to his frame. After putting on his clothes, he hurriedly walked out of the house. After he left, Su Ryukshuan on the bed slowly opened her eyes. There was shyness in her eyes, and her cheeks were red. She was originally taking care of the unconscious Chu Ji, but she didn't expect that she would climb into his bed. But she slept very soundly and comfortably that night. This feeling was like a drug, and she didn't want to give it up. When she thought that she might never have another opportunity like today, she felt like she had lost half her life. She stood up in a panic, and her graceful figure brightened the whole room. At the same time, I was also annoyed and wondered why I had not just gone all out and made it a fact yesterday. At this time, Chu Ji walked downstairs in a panic. "Sir, are you awake?" said the old butler. "No, I'm no longer your son-in-law," Chu Ji said subconsciously. The old butler smiled but said nothing. Chu Ji hesitated to speak. "The son-in-law was drunk when he came back, and it was the young lady who took care of you all night," said the old housekeeper. Chu Ji asked, "Did you sleep very deeply when I came back?" The old housekeeper said, "Yes, if the young lady wasn't so strong, she wouldn't be able to hold you back." Chu Ji breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that. If he were in that state, he probably wouldn't be able to do anything. Chu Ji whispered, "It's okay, it's okay." The old housekeeper asked, "Does the uncle need anything?" No, Chu Ji said hurriedly, although he felt that he had not done anything to Su Ryukshuan. It was also a fact that Su Ryukshuan was sleeping next to him when he woke up. This made his feelings towards Su Ryukshuan even more complicated. The old butler left. Chu Ji thought about it and didn't wait for Su Ryukshuan to come down. He walked out of the house quickly as if he was going to escape. "Stop, you want to leave without saying a word?" Su Ryukshuan's voice rang out. Chu Ji's body froze, and he said without turning his head, "I have something else to do, I'm leaving first." Su Ryukshuan wanted to chase after him, but as soon as she went down the stairs, she couldn't help but gasp. She looked at her feet, which were red and swollen. When she walked out of the door, she saw Chu Ji driving away in her car. Su Ryukshuan bit her lip and slammed the door frame hard. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became, so she smashed everything she could in the living room. Chapter 136, Song Lang's Diligence. Chu Ji returned to the house he bought. He was the only one here. Chu Zhu lived in the school dormitory and had not returned. Chu Ji sat on the sofa and scratched his head, looking a little irritated. "What should I do? What should I do?" Finally, he lay down on the sofa dejectedly. "Fortunately, there is nothing between her and me." Chu Ji didn't go anywhere that day. Another night has passed. Su Ryukshuan got up and looked at herself in the mirror. She looked particularly charming today. It's like a flower covered with dew in the morning, so fresh and juicy. She looked at herself in the mirror in a daze, then snorted coldly, not knowing what she thought of. His face also looked extremely angry. "I treated you like this, but you didn't even say a word to me. I'm so mad at you." Su Ryukshuan came to Su's building angrily, but he saw Song Lang standing in the hall. Su Ryukshuan frowned, and her expression became even colder. She suspected that Chu Ji was ambushed yesterday. The most likely person is Song Lang. That is to say, Chu Ji came. If Chu Ji hadn't come and I drank that glass of water. Thinking of this, Su Ryukshuan's eyes turned dangerous when she looked at Song Lang. But this is only a possibility, because according to normal thinking logic, Song Lang wants to cooperate with me. If he drugged himself, even if he succeeded, he would be retaliated by the Su family and himself. This doesn't benefit him at all. He doesn't need to and shouldn't do this. Don't think that once you get your body, you will surrender. If you don't want to, the other party can only bear your endless anger. But if it wasn't him, then who else could it be? Could it be Chu Ji himself? Thinking of this possibility, Su Ryukshuan's face suddenly turned red. She then denied the answer, because Chu Ji had absolutely no need for that. "Who is it then?" Su Ryukshuan pondered. After taking another look at Song Lang, Su Ryukshuan showed a sly smile. "Why don't you use him again?" At this time, the two receptionists were looking at Song Lang and whispering. One of them stepped forward boldly and asked for an autograph. Song Lang, naturally, would not be stingy with his signature. The receptionist's face turned red with excitement when she got the autograph. A slight smile appeared on Song Lang's lips. "This guy is a top artist. He has good acting skills and good looks. I heard he is from the Song family in Lingcheng. He is rich and talented and is a perfect match for our President Su." "Yeah, I think so too. Compared to Xiao Han, Song Lang is so much better." Song Lang naturally heard these conversations, and the smile on his face became even more intense. Su Ryukshuan walked into the hall at this time. Seeing Su Ryukshuan coming in, Song Lang hurriedly went to greet her. "Ryukshuan, you're here." Su Ryukshuan asked, "Are you waiting for me?" Song Lang said, "Haha, since there's nothing else to do, I came a little early. By the way, did I bring you breakfast?" Song Lang picked up a thermos from the table next to him. The two receptionists next to them showed envious expressions. This was so thoughtful. Su Ryukshuan said expressionlessly, let's go to the office." Song Lang carried the thermos and followed Su Ryukshuan towards the elevator. Song Lang followed behind Su Ryukshuan with a growing smile on his face. He didn't see that Su Ryukshuan edited a text message and sent it out at this time. Not long after Su Ryukshuan got on the elevator, Xiao Han followed closely. He is still an artist in Su Ryukshuan's company, so the two receptionists did not stop him. However, they felt a little disgusted when they looked at Xiao Han's back. "Tusk, you said Chu Ji and President Su were such a perfect match, but he ruined their relationship." "That's right. It seems that President Su is interested in Song Lang this time. I'm afraid Xiao Han is here to mess things up again. It's simply shameless. Why did President Su have to recruit such a person to the company?" Xiao Han was in high spirits at this time. Cairo Mei had told him all the information she had heard. Song Lang is just a facade. Introducing oneself to others as the Song family of Lingcheng is simply a means of raising one's own status. The real Song Lang is far inferior to himself. He must expose Song Lang's true face today. Su Ryukshuan's office. Song Lang placed the thermos in front of Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan looked at the thermos flask somewhat dazed. It seemed that Chu Ji had also made lunch for him at that time. Song Lang opened the thermos. A fragrant smell wafted out of the thermos. "Try it, this is what I made myself," Song Lang said. Looking at Song Lang's expectant eyes, Su Ryukshuan said calmly, "I've eaten, I'm not hungry now." Song Lang looked slightly embarrassed. At this time, the secretary came over to deliver the documents. He sniffed the fragrance in the room and said, "Isn't this the smell of the 8 treasures porridge at Sanwei Yatang?" Su Ryukshuan glanced at Song Lang with a smile when she heard that. He just said that he brewed it himself. As expected, no man is a good person, especially the man with the surname Chu. Thinking of someone, Su Ryukshuan gritted her teeth. Song Lang was also slightly embarrassed at this time. After the secretary left, Su Ryukshuan asked, "Are you here to talk to me about joining my company this time?" Song Lang said, "Ryukshuan, are you willing to give me this opportunity?" Su Ryukshuan shook her head and was about to say something when a sneer sounded. "Song Lang, do you think you are qualified to join Ryukshuan's company?" Zio Han walked in from the door at this time. When she saw Zio Han, Su Ryukshuan's eyes flashed and a hint of amusement appeared at the corner of her mouth, but she didn't say anything. This undoubtedly boosted Zio Han's confidence. Song Lang asked, "I wonder what Mr. Zio means by this." Zio Han smiled coldly and said, "I mean, can you represent your company?" Song Lang narrowed his eyes slightly. Zio Han looked at Song Lang sarcastically. "If Mr. Song Lang can really represent your company, then please transfer all the shares of the company to me now. Can you do it?" Song Lang said, "Of course, but I need some time." Zio Han smiled sarcastically and said, "Time? I wonder how long you're talking about." Song Lang asked, "Mr. Zio Han seems to have a prejudice against me." Zio Han sneered, "Don't talk nonsense. Answer my question. Can you really represent the company behind you?" Song Lang said, "Of course, Mr. Zio Han, I don't know what you mean by questioning me now." "You know best what he means, Ryukshuan. Don't believe his lies. Everything he said is fake." "Fake? What's fake?" Su Ryukshuan asked casually. As she spoke, she took the time to check her phone, and when she saw there were no messages, a hint of annoyance flashed across her face. Zio Han didn't see Su Ryukshuan's expression. He pointed at Song Lang and said, "He said he can fully represent the company. This is false. Because he is just a puppet in his company, he has no say in the company at all." Chapter 137, Domineering Chu Ji. Song Lang's face changed when he heard this, and then he chuckled and said, "Mr. Zio, I don't know where you heard this, but my Song family is a wealthy family in Lingcheng after all. Are you saying that I am a puppet, or that I can't come up with tens of millions? I can mobilize 30 million right now. I wonder if Mr. Zio Han believes it." Zio Han felt a little unconfident when looking at the confident Song Lang. Could it be that the news Cairo May brought back was wrong? No, Cairo May would not lie to him. The other party was just bluffing. "Okay, transfer 30 million to me and let me see." "What if I was transferred here?" Song Lang asked. "I'll leave immediately if you can get me here. But what if you can't get 30 million? If I can't raise 30 million, I will never come to Sue's again." "That's it, I can't mobilize them. You have to call me Grandpa when you see me." Zio Han sneered. "Enough, Zio Han, what exactly do you want to say?" Su Ryukshuan looked at Zio Han with cold eyes. Zio Han was shocked and said quickly, "Ryukshuan, Song Lang has ulterior motives. He joined your company for a reason." Su Ryukshuan said, "Zio Han, do you have any evidence for what you said? Without evidence, you are just slandering me out of thin air." Zio Han was stunned. Where could he find evidence? Su Ryukshuan said, "Zio Han, it's working time now. Please go back to your job. You don't need to interfere in the matter between Song Lang and me." "Ryukshuan, listen to me. This Song Lang is really not a good guy." Su Ryukshuan's face became increasingly ugly. The last thing he wanted to see was Zio Han appearing here. Zio Han must leave as soon as possible. At this moment, in the hall below, Chu Ji walked in quickly. He thought about it all night and felt that he still had to face Su Ryukshuan. By the way, find out what happened between him and her. And on his way here, he received a text message from Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan actually said that if she didn't come, she would agree to Song Lang joining her company. Chu Ji seemed a little helpless, but he would not ignore Su Ryukshuan just because he was angry. The people behind Song Lang are so cruel and crazy that they can do anything. He can't just watch Su Ryukshuan jump into the fire pit. He drove Su Ryukshuan's car all the way to the company. Arriving at the front desk, Chu Ji asked, "Excuse me, is your CEO Su here?" The two receptionists naturally knew Chu Ji and were very surprised to see him. Mr. Chu, President Su said that if you come over you can go up any time, said a receptionist. Thank you then. Chu Ji took a deep breath and then walked straight towards the elevator entrance. After Chu Ji left, the two receptionists looked at each other. It's really lively now. Why is Mr. Chu here? I don't know, but Mr. Chu is still as handsome as ever and looks very secure, said a receptionist like a crazy fan. So who do you think is better, Mr. Chu or Mr. Song? That's hard to say, but I still prefer Mr. Chu. It's a pity that he and President Su are divorced. What a pity indeed. Chu Ji came to the door of Su Ruoxuan's office. He reached out to knock on the door. At this moment, Su Ruoxian's voice rang out. Whether or not to let Song Lang join the company is my business. Xiao Han, you are not qualified to question my decision. Get out now. Ruoxian, what I said is true. Song Lang is a liar. Even if he lied to me, I will admit it. It's not your turn to interfere in what's going on between Song Lang and me. Su Ruoxuan's voice sounded again. Chu Ji's face darkened when he heard this. Could it be that Su Ruoxuan really had feelings for Song Lang? Chu Ji didn't know what to feel for a moment. Just then the door suddenly opened. Xiao Han walked out with a grim face. He was slightly stunned when he saw Chu Ji outside the door. Then he snorted coldly and walked past Chu Ji. Chu Ji wanted to leave, but he felt that Su Ruoxuan would not listen to him. Su Ruoxuan also saw Chu Ji at this time, and a smile of success flashed in her eyes. Seeing Chu Ji was about to leave, she stood up suddenly. As Su Ruoxuan became anxious again. Chu Ji paused for a moment, then his eyes swept across Song Lang's face in the room. Song Lang's lips curled up slightly. For some unknown purpose, he stood next to Su Ruoxuan, who walked out of the desk, looking at Chu Ji provocatively. Chu Ji asked dully, Boss Su, do I have the right to interfere with your cooperation with Mr. Song? Seeing Chu Ji's gloomy face, the corners of Su Ruoxuan's mouth couldn't help but curl up, and then she hummed softly. It was a completely different attitude from when facing Xiao Han. If Xiao Han were here, he would probably be angry to death. Song Lang, who was standing next to him, felt a sense of crisis and quickly asked, Mr. Chu, do you have any thoughts on my cooperation with President Su? Chu Ji nodded and said, Indeed. Song Lang's expression changed. Su Ruoxuan was also stunned. He found that Chu Ji was indeed more domineering than before. But why do I like it more and more? Su Ruoxuan didn't say anything, but just looked at Chu Ji with interest. She really wanted to see what Chu Ji would do. At this time, Song Lang looked at Chu Ji with a hint of sarcasm. Who are you to question my cooperation with Ruoxian? Chu Ji was stunned for a moment. Su Ruoxuan had also asked the same question. Su Ruoxuan's eyes lit up, and she looked at Chu Ji quietly with anticipation in her eyes. Chu Ji frowned and took a step forward, facing Song Lang. I wonder if the identity of ex-husband is enough. Chu Ji didn't notice that the smile between Su Ruoxuan's brows became more and more intense. Song Lang narrowed his eyes slightly and suddenly smiled. Mr. Chu, do you also know that your identity is now a thing of the past? Chu Ji stared at Song Lang for a long moment, then said, Yes, it's a thing of the past. Chu Ji looked at Su Ruoxuan and sighed, feeling that he had no right to interfere with Su Ruoxuan's decision. Su Ruoxuan noticed the look Chu Ji was giving her, but she was angry and didn't say anything. Chu Ji shook his head helplessly upon seeing this. As expected, coming here this time was just to bring humiliation upon himself. Boss Su, it seems that I was a little abrupt in coming here this time. If possible, I still hope to cooperate with you, Boss Su. This may be my selfish desire. I wonder if Mr. Su is willing to give me a chance. Su Ruoxuan quickly turned her head away. She was about to laugh out loud. Song Lang next to him said with a hint of contempt, Mr. Chu, I'm not saying anything bad about you, but don't you think your company is too small? Such a small company is not helping Ruoxian, but dragging her down. I really want to ask how you can have the nerve to ask for this. Chu Ji frowned and looked at Song Lang. Cairo Mei's words rang in my ears again. Song Lang was just a puppet, a marionette. She could tell Cairo Mei the information she had found out, but the same thing applies. Without evidence, how could Su Ruoxuan believe it? On the contrary, would she feel that she was a troublemaker, just like Xiao Han who just left? After thinking about it, Chu Ji simply went straight to the point. Because I don't like you, is this reason okay? This was the first time Chu Ji expressed his likes and dislikes so directly. Chapter 138, Remarry me, and I'll listen to you. Just as Cairo Mei said, don't be too kind. You should take action when necessary. Song Lang almost laughed out of anger. I'm discussing cooperation with Ruoxian, and you come here and say you don't like me. What right do you have? What does my cooperation with Ruoxian have to do with you? Chu Ji shook his head, looked at Su Ruoxian and said, "It seems that I disturbed you. But I still mean that. I don't want you to cooperate with him because I don't like him." Chu Ji said this with confidence. Su Ruoxian's secretary, assistant, and others outside the door all opened their mouths wide. Why does Mr. Chu sound so domineering? Does he still have feelings for President Su? It seems so. This feeling is clearly jealousy. Inside the house, Su Ruoxian could hardly suppress the smile, but she still controlled her expression. Su Ruoxian said, "Your status as an ex-husband is not enough unless you." Chu Ji turned around and left. "I have conveyed my attitude. You can do whatever you want with the rest." Su Ruoxian was stunned. What was going on, just leaving like that? You stop right there," Su Ruoxian shouted. Unfortunately, Chu Ji ignored her and left. Su Ruoxian quickly chased after Chu Ji. In the elevator, Su Ruoxian grabbed the city lord's clothes, looked up at his eyes and said, "Tell me, why are you here saying this?" Chu Ji said, "According to the information I received, Song Lang is not a good person. Of course, I have no evidence. Believe it or not, it's up to you. So you came here to find me because you were worried about me." Chu Ji frowned but nodded. He did not deny that he had thought so. "I still say the same thing. If you want to control me, how can I use the title of my ex-husband to control me? If you remarry me, I will listen to you," Su Ruoxian said. But the elevator door opened. Outside the elevator, Su Zi was about to get on the elevator with a few people when he saw Su Ruoxian grabbing Chu Ji's clothes on his chest and almost lying on Chu Ji. Su Zi coughed and said, let's go to another elevator." After saying that, he turned and left. The others nearby quickly followed. Su Ruoxian's face flushed. "Okay, I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. And I suggest you stay away from Song Lang. I don't know much about Song Lang, but it's very likely that the forces behind him are involved in gangs and drugs. Of course, I don't have any evidence. You can say I am framing him." Chu Ji broke free from Su Ruoxian's hand and walked out of the hall. He didn't tell Su Ruoxian this at first because there was no evidence to support his words. This was just a guess given to him by Yue. To speak out something without evidence is to bring disgrace upon oneself. So if Su Ruoxian had shown any affection for Song Lang just now, he would have immediately turned around and left. As for what the Su family will do because of this, what does it have to do with him? He has a large family behind him, so there is no reason for him to be buried with the Su family. Fortunately, Su Ruoxian did not let him down. The reminder he just made was already a big risk. Once the news leaked out, he had no idea how those crazy people would retaliate against him and his family. Su Ruoxian stomped her feet in anger as she watched Chu Ji quickly walk away. But Chu Ji's words just now made her alert. If someone else said it, she might not believe it, even if that person was Zyro Han. But now that Chu Ji has said it, she has to think about it carefully. When I returned to the office, Song Lang was still waiting there. "Ruoxian, Song Lang, I'm afraid it's not appropriate for you and I to cooperate," Su Ruoxian said expressionlessly. "Why for him?" Song Lang said in disbelief. "Yes, you saw it too, my guy is narrow-minded," Su Ruoxian said. Song Lang's face turned pale and blue. He always thought that his opponent was Zyro Han. In his eyes, Zyro Han was just a waste. How could he be his opponent? But he never imagined that his real opponent was Chu Ji. With just one sentence from Chu Ji, Su Ruoxian, who was originally inclined to cooperate with him, ended her relationship. "Ruoxian, I'm not saying anything, but his company with less than 5 million in capital will not bring you any help. On the contrary, it will only drag you down. From a business perspective, you shouldn't cooperate with him, but my company is much stronger than his, even stronger than your current company. I really don't understand." Su Ruoxian said, "So, Song Lang, your company is stronger than mine and should be developing very well. There is no need for you to cooperate with me. As for Chu Ji, although his company is not big, I am very optimistic about it, and I hope I can be a help to him. I'm afraid you can't understand this," Su Ruoxian said. Song Lang said with an unpleasant expression, "I really can't understand, Ruoxian. He divorced you. Since it's a thing of the past, why do you still?" Su Ruoxian said, "To me, he is never the past tense. We have just started. Don't say what you just said in the future. I don't like to hear it." Su Ruoxian's expression turned cold. "If there is nothing else, you can go back. Also, don't do things like delivering porridge in the future," Su Ruoxian said. Song Lang left Su Ruoxian's office with a grim look on his face. Looking at Song Lang's back, Su Ruoxian's expression was cold. But then a smile appeared on his face again. "Humph, you said you didn't care. But when you heard I was working with others, you came running over to stop me, humph, so hypocritical. Even though your excuses were ridiculous, I still believed them reluctantly. Chuji came out at this time and was also scratching his head. He had said everything he needed to say, and if Su Ryukshuan insisted on cooperating with the other party, there was nothing he could do. Are you really going to remarry her? Thinking of this, Chuji seemed a little annoyed. When I returned to the game company, I found Su Zin there. The game company is developing very rapidly now, so Su Zin comes here relatively frequently. Chuji sat down on the chair and rubbed his forehead. Why do you look so worried? Our companies are doing well. Is there anything worth worrying about? Su Zin asked. Chuji leaned back and sighed. It's not the company's business. Nowadays, game companies have entered a stage of rapid development. It has become a considerable force in Jinghai. It is no longer the small workshop it used to be. Now it has even posed a threat to the Li family's business in this area. It even formed repression. He was gradually fulfilling his original promise to Su Zin. Are you worried that the Li family will do something? Don't worry about that. Ever since that bastard arranged for someone to kidnap me last time, the Su family has suppressed the Li family in all aspects. Now many of the Li family's businesses have been suppressed, and they don't have time to deal with us. Su Zin walked behind Chu Ji and wanted to massage his head. Chu Ji's body stiffened slightly, and he avoided Su Zin's hand a little awkwardly. Seeing this, Su Zin bit her lip, feeling a little embarrassed and annoyed. Chapter 139, Zio Han, was the only one not invited. Chu Ji said, I am not worried about the Li family. Even if the Li family wants to target us, it is nothing more than trying to poach people. I am mentally prepared for this. But don't forget that our company has never relied on one person, but a team. Unless he poaches my team, I can always form another team with Jinghai University. We have reached an agreement with Jinghai University. In the future, interns from Jinghai University will be given priority to intern with us. I even set up a gaming club at Jinghai University. Not only students majoring in gaming, but also other talented students can join this gaming club. Do you think I would still be afraid of him poaching people? Su Zin's eyes were full of admiration, and not just for the game. The same is true at the entertainment company. Many students from Jinghai University come here to record songs. Those songs are all composed by them, and Chu Ji provides the venue for free. If a song is selected, the profits will be shared with the compiler. Liu Jing is also a talented musician who can point out the weaknesses of the students from Jinghai University, which makes those students from Jinghai University who are pursuing the literary and artistic route flock to her. It can be said that their entertainment company has made a lot of money just from music. Su Zin was not very happy at first when Chu Ji gave Liu Jing 10% of the shares, but now she is convinced. With Nanshu around in chain stores and factories, there is even less to worry about. Nanshu is ambitious, and now she has launched a full-scale offensive against Jinghai's market. It is very likely that by the end of the year, the Sanwei Yatang chain stores will be present in every corner of Beijing. Sanwei Yatang's various seasonings also quickly occupied the Jinghai market and spread to other cities. Chu Ji's net worth has long exceeded 100 million. Su Zin could imagine the high society banquet at the end of the year, and Chu Ji must be the most dazzling new star. My journey has been too smooth. Although I admit that there is no problem with my plan, it seems strange if it is too smooth. Chu Ji frowned. He always felt that there was an invisible hand behind him, clearing the obstacles ahead for him. The Su family? But Su Wan said that she couldn't interfere in business affairs. If it's not Su Wan, then Su Ryukshuan is even less likely. Then who could it be? Chu Ji thought of Zhu Wonking. It was Zhu Wonking who was in charge of the decoration of his first chain store. Except for a few others, Zhu Wonking was also in charge of the decoration of almost all the remaining stores. He is not sure what Zhu Wonking does, but he feels that she is very busy every day. Even if she comes back in the evening, she will leave early in the morning. Maybe I should ask Sister Wonking what she does. Chu Ji's thoughts were a little scattered. Chu Ji asked again, by the way, Director Feng said that we will start shooting his movie soon. How are our preparations going? Don't worry, there's no problem. Li Qing will be fully responsible for the filming of the movie. Now we just have to wait for Director Feng to arrive with the script. Su Zin sat back in her seat with dissatisfaction and replied. Chu Ji nodded. Just then the phone rang. Chu Ji answered. Li Qing's voice came from the phone. Boss Su came to the company and said that you agreed to cooperate with her. Chu Ji was stunned and said, well, I did say let her wait for a while, I'll be there now. He didn't expect that Su Ryukshuan would choose him in the end. He felt complicated and didn't know what to do. Chu Ji stood up and walked out. Su Zin also followed. Su Zin said, "You should have a building of your own where all your offices can be put together, so you don't have to run back and forth." Chu Ji said, "It is indeed a good idea, but although we have a little money now, we should not think about buying land and building houses. A single piece of land costs hundreds of millions. We can't afford it." Su Zin said, "In fact, there was a piece of land at the beginning. The Su family wanted it, and the Zhang family also wanted it, but in the end it was taken by the one from the Zhu family. But this one is still idle. I wonder what that person is going to do." "The Zhu family." "Yes, the Zhu family. The Zhu family is much more powerful than our Su family," Su Zin introduced. Chu Ji suddenly realized that he thought Sister Wonking was from the Zhu family. Zhu Wonking lives in an ordinary residential area, not a manor or anything like that, so she is definitely not a member of the Zhu family. I brought Su Zin to the entertainment company, and as soon as I entered the office, I saw Su Ryu sitting on the sofa. Li Qing and Liu Jing were there to keep them company. "Mr. Su," Chu Ji spoke first. Su Ryukshuan raised her eyebrows, seeming a little dissatisfied with the title. "Sign the contract." Su Ryukshuan pushed the contract in front of her. Chu Ji smiled bitterly and said, "Boss Su is too anxious. You have such a big company moving here, we should have a good discussion, right?" "No need. After the merger, you own 40% of the new company, I own 30%. Su Zin owns 20%, and Liu Jing still owns 10%. Chu Ji was speechless and said, "Have you already discussed it when I'm not here?" Liu Jing said, "I didn't discuss it, but I still get 10% after the merger, so I'll make a lot of money." "I agree." Su Zin said, "Okay, this plan is very reasonable." Chu Ji shook his head and said, "But 40% is too much for me. After all, this company is not comparable to your company, President Su. You must be the boss, otherwise the cooperation will be invalid," Su Zin said firmly. Su Ryukshuan also said, "Did you hear that? But that's what I meant. I'm also in charge of the group's affairs. It will be easier for me if I let you manage this company." Chu Ji met Su Ryukshuan's meaningful gaze. Seeing this, he signed the contract decisively. A smile appeared on Su Ryukshuan's lips. Su Zin said at the side, "We agreed before that we don't want Zyro Han, lest he do anything to our female artists." Su Ryukshuan's face darkened. "Did Yang Lan and the others say that?" Su Zin said, "Of course it's true. Zyro Han did something naughty more than once during the filming. Otherwise, why would Yang Lan and Chen Lu ask you to terminate the contract?" Su Ryukshuan's face became increasingly ugly. "I will take care of Zyro Han's affairs, don't worry about that," Su Ryukshuan said. Then Su Ryukshuan suddenly smiled and said, "To celebrate our cooperation, you won't refuse to come to my house tonight, right?" Chu Ji said, "It's troublesome at home, let's stay at the hotel." Su Ryukshuan glanced at Chu Ji angrily. Chu Ji felt guilty, but he really didn't dare to go back to the villa now. The transfer of the contract must be notarized at a notary office. By the time everything was done, it was already evening. Su Zin had already booked a hotel. We directly booked a large flat in the hotel. People from both companies were invited. The only person who was not invited was Zyro Han. Chapter 140 he already knew. Just when Chu Ji and Su Ryukshuan were holding a banquet, Zyro Han and Song Lang sat together in a bar. Song Lang looked at Zyro Han sarcastically. "Mr. Zyro, you have been with Su Ryukshuan for so many years, but it seems that you are not very important. Can you just abandon her?" Zyro Han's face turned pale. Su Ryukshuan directly made him independent and gave him millions of dollars in support. And Su Ryukshuan didn't want the money. But Zyro Han also knew that this money marked the end of the relationship between him and Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan will no longer give him any support from now on. The relationship between them finally came to an end. Zyro Han looked at Song Lang with a sneer. "Song Lang, you know what kind of person you are. Do you have the qualifications to say that about me? At least I can make my own decisions, and I have my own company, but what do you have? You are just a dog kept by someone. What right do you have to criticize me?" Song Lang's face was as gloomy as water. He looked at Zyro Han with resentment. Zyro Han said sarcastically, "What? You can't stand a few words? You will fail in this mission, and your fate will not be good, right?" Song Lang sneered and said, "Do you think I will hang myself on a tree?" Zyro Han narrowed his eyes slightly. At this time, Song Lang waved slightly to the side. Zyro Han was stunned. He turned his head and saw someone who looked vaguely familiar. Zyro Han thought for a moment and suddenly asked, "Li Yao from the Li family." Song Lang looked at Zyro Han and said, Without the Su family, we still have the Lee family, right? I can even bring down the Su family through the Lee family. This time I came to you because I want to join forces with you. After the success, not only Su Ryuoxian, but also the three sisters of the Su family will be your playthings. What do you think? Ziohen thought of Su Zin, Su Wan, and Su Ryuoxian, and a hint of greed flashed in his eyes. Cooperate. That's right, cooperate and short the Su family. Song Lang smiled grimly. Ziohen narrowed his eyes slightly. Not to mention that Ziohen and Song Lang were planning to take action against the Su family. In the hotel, Chu Ji was surrounded by several women and forced to drink. Chu Zhu shook her head speechlessly. None of these women have pure motives. But with my brother's intelligence, it is impossible that he did not anticipate this situation. Sure enough, Sujai, Yu Xing, and others came over. Then he pulled Chu Ji out from the encirclement of several women. Seeing Chu Ji drunk, Sujai said to Yu Xing and Zheng Tan, "Your elder Chu Ji has a good memory and can remember everything he sees. But he has a big problem, which is that he will forget everything after drinking. You should complain if you have grievances and take revenge if you have grudges." Yu Xing sighed twice and said, "Master Chu Zhexu is really blind to have a bad friend like you." Haha, everyone laughed. Chu Ji was not actually so drunk that he didn't know anything. After Sujai put him aside, he took out his cell phone and checked, and there were no missed calls. He dialed Zhu Wonking's phone number, and his thumb moved back and forth on the dial key hesitantly. Sister Wonking didn't come, which made him feel a little disappointed. Just then, a person appeared behind him, a woman with a graceful figure. She saw Chu Ji's cell phone from behind, and also saw the phone number. There was a gentle light in her bright eyes. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly, and she felt that the world became brighter because of her. "Want to call me?" Zhu Wonking said. Chu Ji was stunned. He looked behind him and saw Zhu Wonking's peerless face. Chu Ji was filled with joy. "Sister Wonking. Haha, you thought I wasn't coming, so you're unhappy." "A little bit." Zhu Wonking touched Chu Ji's nose lovingly. Then she took Chu Ji's hand and walked to the side. Coming to a secluded corner, Zhu Wonking grabbed Chu Ji's collar and pushed him into the corner. Chu Ji's face turned red and he said in a low voice, "Sister Wonking." Zhu Wonking stood on tiptoe and kissed Chu Ji's cheek. "I came here to say goodbye to you." Zhu Wonking reached out and touched Chu Ji's face. Chu Ji's face turned pale in an instant. "Why?" Zhu Wonking looked at Chu Ji with some distress. "You knew it a long time ago, right?" Chu Ji nodded. That's right, he knew from the beginning that every night when he stayed at Sister Wonking's house, Sister Wonking was with him. He was obsessed with that feeling, and he numbed himself to the fact that it was just a dream, so that he could feel at ease and come over again. So when Yunmo called him dad that day, he agreed. What made him happy was that Sister Wonking also agreed. He had decided to propose to her after tonight, but he didn't expect that she would leave him. Zhu Wonking said, "Aj, I am very happy to be with you, and I also want to stay by your side for the rest of my life. But I also have things I need to do. This time I have to go abroad and handle the affairs in Europe in person." Chu Ji's throat was a little dry. "Can you not leave?" Zhu Wonking reached out her hand and stroked Chu Ji's face again, then continued. "Chu Ji, I'm older than you. We're not suitable for each other. In fact, the one that suits you best is Su Ryuoxian. Because the Su family is strong enough and has enough ability to provide you with protection after I leave. Try to become stronger. Only when you become strong enough can I stay by your side forever." Zhu Wonking hooked Chu Ji's neck and took him to the small room next door. When the banquet was almost over, Sujai saw Chu Ji, who looked a little dazed, walking towards him. "Where did you go just now?" Sujai asked. Chu Ji said, "It's okay, I took a rest in the next room." Sujai had no doubts either. At this time, Su Ryuoxian came over. "Chu Ji, please take me back." Chu Ji nodded and said, "Okay." Su Ryuoxian was a little surprised. She was prepared to be rejected, but she didn't expect Chu Ji to agree. Chu Ji didn't know why he agreed. "But I agreed." Just like he couldn't refuse Sister Wonking, he seemed unable to refuse Su Ryuoxian, who might have a relationship with him. But both of them were drunk, so Chu Ji could only call for a designated driver. "Drive all the way to the villa." The designated driver left, but Su Ryuoxian and Chu Ji did not get out of the car. Su Ryuoxian asked cautiously, "Do you want to go up and sit for a while?" Chu Ji said, "Okay." Su Ryuoxian was more and more surprised, and her hands were shaking as she opened the car door. Arriving at the villa, the housekeeper was a little surprised to see Chu Ji, son-in-law. This time Chu Ji did not refute the title. The housekeeper should arrange a nanny to clean up the room for my son-in-law, Su Ryukshuan ordered. Okay, miss, I'll arrange it right away, the butler left excitedly. Chuji said, Su. Call my name. Su Ryukshuan looked at Chuji. Ryukshuan, you've drunk quite a bit of wine. Go upstairs and clean up and go to bed early, Chuji said. Don't worry, I'll go up with you later. Chapter 141, Zio Han's Invitation. Chuji quickly refused. No, I don't live here, just ask the housekeeper to send me back. Su Ryukshuan's expression changed slightly. Why? Chuji looked at her helplessly. Ryukshuan, after all, we are divorced. Since we are divorced, it is not appropriate for me to live here. We can remarry, Su Ryukshuan said. Chuji shook his head. Ryukshuan, there are many problems between us. What can I do if I can't solve these problems and remarry? Su Ryukshuan looked at Chuji with a grim face. Chuji said, I don't know what happened that day, but I think you and I haven't reached that stage yet. So let's not talk about remarriage anymore. Su Ryukshuan looked at Chuji quietly and suddenly pointed to the door and said, Get out, get out. Chuji shook his head, stood up and walked out the door. The housekeeper then said, Miss, can I go see your son-in-law off? Su Ryukshuan didn't say anything. The old butler sighed helplessly and walked out the door. Su Ryukshuan sat quietly on the sofa. At this time the nanny came down and said, Miss, the son-in-law's room has been cleaned up. The nanny waited for a while, but Su Ryukshuan didn't respond. Only then did she realize that her uncle was no longer there. Seeing this, the nanny stopped talking and left on her own. Hey, what do you think this is? The nanny whispered. After the nanny left, Su Ryukshuan suddenly overturned the coffee table. At this time, when Chuji was on his way back, the old housekeeper glanced at Chuji and said, Sir, the young lady is sincere to you. Why do you reject her again and again? Chuji said, Old housekeeper, please don't call me son-in-law anymore. The things between me and your young lady can't be explained in just a few words. The old housekeeper sighed and continued, Is it because of Zio Han? Son-in-law, you know that the young lady has never let Zio Han into the villa. The young lady and Zio Han are not what you think. Chuji shook his head. I don't really care what your young lady thinks or what her relationship is with Zio Han or even Song Lang. Since your daughter has divorced me, she is free. She has the right to choose her own life. I also have my own life right. There was one thing he didn't say, which was that he already had someone he liked, and that was Zhu Wangqing. He and Zhu Wangqing knew each other earlier than anyone thought. When Zhu Wangqing appeared in his life, he was at his lowest point. Zhu Wangqing has always been like an intimate older sister, caring for him, loving him, and helping him solve his problems. It can be said that Zhu Wangqing played a big role in helping him get over his relationship with Qin Wanshu. Maybe it's a transfer of emotions or something else. But he was very clear about his feelings. He liked Zhu Wangqing, not Su Ryukshuan. Since you don't like her, remarrying her would be irresponsible to him and Su Ryukshuan. Of course, it is also unfair to Zhu Wangqing. When the old butler heard Chuji's words, his heart skipped a beat. He always thought that Chuji still had feelings for Su Ryukshuan. But just now the other party actually said in person that he didn't care who Su Ryukshuan dated. Therefore, we can judge from this that our young lady is really just an ordinary person to Chuji, or perhaps just a friend. How so? The old butler didn't know what to say for a moment. When I got home, I saw Chuzu was back too. Brother, our winter vacation is coming soon. When do you plan to go home this year? Chuzu asked. Well, not yet. I have a lot of things to deal with here. Oh, Chuzu looked a little disappointed. Chuji said, Don't worry, we will definitely go back by the end of the year. Chuzu said, How about bringing our parents over so we can celebrate the new year in the city? Do you think Dad would agree? Chuzu lowered her head. In the eyes of her parents' generation, the city was not home. It is in the countryside, where the ancestral graves are located and where the roots are. The new year must be celebrated in the hometown. But there's nothing to do after the autumn harvest. How about letting our parents come over and stay for a few days? Chuji said. Chuzu quickly took out her cell phone and made a call. After a while, he came back with a frustrated look on his face. My parents don't want to come. Chuji shook his head speechlessly. But my parents said someone mailed a lot of things to our house and asked if you knew about it. Someone mailed something to my house. Who? Chuzu said, You don't know either. Chuji shook his head. He frowned and thought, if it was someone close to him, they would probably tell him. He took out his phone and called. Su Ryukshuan was very angry at this time, and she was so angry that she almost demolished the house. Just then the phone rang. Su Ryukshuan looked over subconsciously, and when she saw the name above, all her anger disappeared instantly. Now you know to call me. Why should I answer? Su Ryukshuan snorted coldly, but her hand pressed on the answer button. Ryukshian, did you mail something to my home? Yes, what's wrong? Su Ryukshuan admitted. In her mind, they were her parents-in-law, so she naturally had to take good care of them. There were a lot of things mailed this time, including massage chairs, nutritional supplements, even bedding and various furniture. Her original intention was to renovate the old house as well. But we have to wait until next spring. Hearing Su Ryukshian's admission, Chuji said, "Thank you." You called just to say this? Su Ryukshuan's tone turned unfriendly again. Yes, I still have to thank you no matter what, said Chuji. Is the next sentence going to be paying me back? Su Ryukshuan's eyebrows raised on the other end of the phone. How much is it? You bastard, Su Ryukshuan roared. Then I'll treat you to a meal, Ryukshian, Chuji said. I don't want it, eat it yourself. Su Ryukshuan hung up the phone with a snap. After hanging up the phone, Su Ryukshuan was both angry and amused. She picked up her phone again and sent a text message to Chuji. Come see me tomorrow evening. Looking at the message on the phone, Chuji smacked his lips. The next day, Su Ryukshuan came to work as usual. As soon as I entered the hall, I saw Zio-Han waiting there. Zio-Han, Su Ryukshuan frowned. Ryukshian, I have something to talk to you about. Zio-Han, I think I have explained everything to you very clearly, right? Su Ryukshuan said. Zio-Han said, Ryukshian, I'm not talking about this. I'm here to say goodbye to you. Bid farewell. Yes, I'm going to go out of town to shoot a movie, and I may not be back in Jinghai in the near future. I came here specially to say goodbye to you. Do you have time to have lunch at noon? No need, I got it. I wish you a safe journey, Su Ryukshuan said. Ryukshian, after all, we have been through thick and thin together. Have you forgotten what happened that day? I just have this small wish you won't refuse it, right? Su Ryukshuan's impatience subsided a little after hearing this. Okay, I'll be there at noon. Zio-Han's eyes lit up with joy. Okay, I'll wait for you at noon. Su Ryukshuan nodded helplessly. Zio-Han turned and left with a sly smile on his face. Su Ryukshuan looked at Zio-Han's back and shook her head slightly. I hope we can live our own lives in the future and not bother each other anymore. Chapter 142, Two Different People. It was soon noon. Su Ryukshuan received a message from Zio-Han. She packed up and left the office. After Chuji finished his work, he suddenly received an unexpected call. Let's have lunch together at noon, Kyo-mei's slightly charming voice sounded. Okay, where are you? I'll come find you, Chuji said. No matter what, Kyo-mei helped me a lot, so I have to give her some face. On the other end of the phone, hearing Chuji's words, Kyo-mei couldn't help but licked her lips with a smile on her face. I'll send you the location, come over, hurry, said Kyo-mei. After hanging up the phone, Kyo-mei held the phone in her arms, as if only this could ease her longing for Chuji. She put on a hat with a butterfly-shaped decoration on it. As her head shook, the wings fluttered as if the butterfly came to life. He glanced at the room next door, where Zio-Han had just walked in. Not long after, she saw Su Ryukshuan also enter the restaurant, and then walk towards the private room. Kyo-mei showed a hint of sneer at the corner of her mouth. Su Ryukshian, you are really hopeless. After a while, Chuji also hurried to the restaurant. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Kyo-mei was okay. You were so anxious, I thought something had happened. Haha, my family runs a restaurant. Why don't you come to my place? I'll give you a free meal. He was grateful to Kyo-mei. If it weren't for her, Li Qing's life would probably have been ruined. So no matter how Kyo-mei treated him in the past, this kindness alone was enough for him to remember for the rest of his life. There are views here that other restaurants can't see, Kyo-mei said meaningfully. She looked at Chuji with eyes full of honey. Chuji looked at Kyo-mei's hat. Very beautiful. Kyo-mei felt her whole body soften when she heard that. But now is not the time to discuss my hat. You have to be prepared. At the same time in the private room, Su Ryukshian looked at Zio-Han opposite her and said, Congratulations on getting a new script. Be down to earth. I believe you will have your own place. Zio-Han's smile was very forced. Ryukshuan, I'm going to be away for a short time this time and may not be able to come back. You have to take good care of yourself, Zio-Han said affectionately. Don't worry, I'm not that little girl anymore, Su Ryukshuan said. Zio-Han picked up the wine glass and said, I wish me a new beginning. Let's have a drink. Su Ryukshian frowned and said, I have work to do in the afternoon, so I won't drink. Zio-Han's eyes flashed. Then I'll order you a cup of coffee. The coffee was served quickly. Su Ryukshian took the coffee and said, I wish you good luck in your work. Su Ryukshuan took a sip of coffee. Zio-Han narrowed his eyes slightly, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Ryukshuan, I fell in love with you from the first moment I saw you. I'm very glad that I was discovered and admitted to Jinghai, Zio-Han said. Su Ryukshuan looked at Zio-Han and couldn't help but sigh. At the beginning, Zio-Han was indeed talented and was said to be a guitar master selected from a township. Zio-Han is capable enough to be valued by the master. But after a few years, Zio-Han's abilities seemed to have stagnated or even regressed. She didn't know why, even though she had heard the news that the master had severed his relationship with Zio-Han. At that time, Zio-Han's explanation was that the master was too utilitarian and treated him as a cash cow. She did not investigate whether this was true or not, because she believed Zio-Han's words at the time. It was only later when she heard that the master was a man of good character and great talent, and was praised by many people, that she began to have a little doubt about Zio-Han's words, but only a little. I have never asked you which town you were chosen by that master, Su Ryukshuan asked. Liyuan Town, Daifeng Village, Zio-Han said. Su Ryukshuan's fingers stiffened slightly when she heard this, and she looked up at Zio-Han. Zio-Han said proudly, "It was a school performance. I was the only one chosen by the teacher out of more than 1,000 people in the school." Su Ryukshuan asked, "When is it?" Zio-Han was a little stunned, and after thinking carefully, he said, "I'm not very clear about the details. It seems to have happened 12 years ago. I can't remember the details." Zio-Han's eyes flickered. Su Ryukshuan narrowed her eyes slightly. That place was Chu Ji's hometown. She couldn't help but recall that Chu Zhu had told her that Chu Ji had also participated in a performance at that time, which was a guitar performance. His guitar was broken by another performer, and that person is very rich. Is it the same show? She sent someone to investigate the incident based on the school's response. That kind of large-scale event was only held once, just to welcome an artist. Could it be that? Su Ryukshuan's eyes turned cold as she looked at Zio-Han. Could it be that the person who broke Chu Ji's guitar was Zio-Han? But Chu Zhu said the other person's surname was Zhao. If you remove the radical, wouldn't it be Zio? Su Ryukshuan looked at Zio-Han suddenly. If her guess was true, then Zio-Han had ruined Chu Ji's chance to succeed. What a precious opportunity that was. With Chu Ji's character and abilities, his current achievements would be so brilliant. He knew that the master was now a professor at a top university. Zio-Han seemed to have noticed Su Ryukshuan's gaze as well. With an embarrassed look on his face, he said, "Ryukshuan, why are you looking at me like that?" "Zio-Han, let me ask you, who are you?" Zio-Han was slightly stunned, and then his expression turned ugly. "Ryukshuan, why do you ask that?" Su Ryukshuan's eyes were stern. "Answer me." Zio-Han said, "I am Zio-Han." Su Ryukshuan wanted to ask something, when she suddenly felt her eyelids feel heavy. The whole person started to feel strange. Su Ryukshuan wanted to get up, but fell limply into her seat before she could stand up. Zio-Han looked at Su Ryukshuan with a sinister smile on his face. "Haha, let's see who will come to save you today, you bitch. I'm so crazy about you. But you actually like that mud-legged guy. I will make you into a slut today, and I will make your seductive behavior spread all over the internet." Su Ryukshuan struggled to leave here, but the door was blocked by Zio-Han. Zio-Han glanced at Su Ryukshuan's delicate body, and his breathing became heavy. He walked slowly towards Su Ryukshuan, then reached out his hand to grab the fullness of her chest. But Zio-Han didn't see that Su Ryukshuan's eyes also turned red at this time, and a hint of cruelty spread in her pupils. Just when Zio-Han's hand was about to touch her, Su Ryukshuan suddenly reached out and grabbed Zio-Han's fingers. Then he suddenly flicked back. Zio-Han's heart-wrenching voice rang out. He looked at Su Ryukshuan, but saw a Su Ryukshuan who was completely different from before. The other person's eyes were cold and ferocious, completely different from the usual Su Ryukshuan. Chapter 143, Su Ryukshuan's Past. How could this be? Zio-Han roared in his heart. "Ryukshuan, I was wrong. Please let me go because I saved you before." Zio-Han begged for mercy. But at this moment, Su Ryukshuan couldn't listen at all. With a click, Su Ryukshuan broke Zio-Han's fingers cleanly and efficiently. Zio-Han's face was twisted in pain, but Su Ryukshuan did not let him go. Seeing this, Zio-Han took out a dagger from his pocket and stabbed Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan kicked out at this time and kicked Zio-Han in the crotch. Zio-Han's miserable voice with a changed tone sounded again. Just then, the door was knocked open. Chu Ji rushed in. His eyes turned red when he heard Cairo may tell him what Zio-Han was going to do. He rushed into the room and saw Zio-Han holding a knife. Without thinking, he picked up the stool next to him and smashed it towards Xiao Han. Xiao Han's hands were controlled by Su Ruoxuan, and he couldn't escape even if he wanted to. With a loud crack, the entire chair was broken into pieces. Xiao Han was hit hard on the head. His eyes rolled back, and he lay on the ground without a sound. Ruoxuan, how are you? Ruoxuan. Chu Ji ignored Xiao Han and looked at Su Ruoxuan. Su Ruoxuan mechanically turned her head to look at Chu Ji and blinked. She let go of Xiao Han, hugged Chu Ji, and then fainted. Chu Ji rushed out of the room holding Su Ruoxuan. At this time, Cairo Mei came to the door of the private room and saw Xiao Han lying like a dead dog. There was a hint of disgust at the corner of her mouth, but he still took out his cell phone and calmly called the ambulance. Hospital. Chu Ji has been staying by Su Ruoxuan's side. He knew that people were evil, but he didn't expect Xiao Han to be so cruel. He actually attempted to rape Su Ruoxuan. What a beast! Su's father and others had already come, and Su Zi directly took Xiao Han to court. Su Wan didn't know where she got the surveillance video from. The entire process of Xiao Han giving Su Ruoxuan the drug and taking out the dagger to stab her was recorded in full. Xiao Han was sent in. It is said that he died in prison that day because of a fight. Of course, that's a story for later. When Su Ruoxuan woke up, she saw Chu Ji next to her. She subconsciously grabbed Chu Ji's hand. Ruoxuan, are you awake? Su Ruoxuan looked at Chu Ji without saying anything. Ruoxuan, do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Chu Ji asked. But Su Ruoxuan still didn't speak. Chu Ji felt something was wrong and quickly called a doctor. The doctor examined her carefully and found nothing wrong, but Su Ruoxuan just refused to speak, and she would become very anxious whenever Chu Ji was out of her sight, and has a tendency to violence. Father Su rushed over after hearing this. Seeing Su Ruoxuan's current state, he wanted to kill Xiao Han immediately. The doctor suggested that we go to the psychiatric department for a checkup. Father Su then said, see a psychiatrist. No need, Chuz, just take care of her for the time being. Chu Ji said, Uncle, let's go see a doctor. No need, I know what happened. She was like this when Ruoxian's mother passed away that day. Just stay with her for a while and she will be fine. Father Su's thoughts couldn't help but go back to the day when Ruoxian's mother passed away. Su Ruoxuan was still young at that time. Watching her mother die in front of her was a huge blow to her. From that day on, Su Ruoxuan has been like this, silent, afraid of everything, afraid of losing. She held on tightly to the toy her mother bought for her, and held it while eating and sleeping. Once he can't see the toy, he will become very irritable, not only violent but also self-harming. It scared him. Su Ruoxuan dropped out of school for a while because of this, and the situation did not improve until 2 years later. Su Ruoxuan looks almost the same now as she did then, except that the object of her dependence has changed from toys to Chu Ji. But he believes the situation will improve soon. Seeing Su Ruoxuan's expression, Chu Ji had no choice but to agree. Father Su sighed and said, okay, I'll leave Ruoxian to you, I still trust you. Father Su got up and left the hospital. Chu Ji said to Su Ruoxuan helplessly, let's go home. Su Ruoxian nodded and said, okay. When I got home, I found Chu Zu was back. Chu Zu was a little surprised to see Su Ruoxuan, but she soon discovered that something was wrong with Su Ruoxuan, because Su Ruoxuan looked the same as usual, but she didn't talk much to her, and her eyes were always on her brother. Whenever she couldn't see her brother for a while, she would become particularly anxious. Chu Zu was almost scared to death. Brother, how could this sister-in-law become like this? Chu Ji frowned and said, the doctor said it was caused by stimulation, and it will be fine after a while. Real? Of course, she will live with us during this period. Please take care of her more when you are at home, Chu Ji said. Okay, actually my sister-in-law is very nice to me, Chu Zu said. Chu Ji went to cook, and Su Ruoxuan followed him into the kitchen. Chu Zu looked a little dazed. That's fine, but it's troublesome when it's time to sleep. Su Ruoxuan firmly refused to go to bed alone, even if Chu Zu accompanied her. Ruoxian, you are an adult, not a child anymore. What's the matter with asking me to sleep with you? Chu Ji's rejection made Su Ruoxuan even more annoyed. No, you have to sleep with me, Su Ruoxuan said, almost roaring. Chu Zu quickly said, promise. My brother agreed. Then Chu Zu pulled Chu Ji's sleeve and said, sister-in-law, you are lacking a sense of security. Do you want to call your friends over? Will you feel better? Chu Ji thought about it and called Ning Rongrong. Ning Rongrong rushed over and observed Su Ruoxian's condition and said, it feels like she has a dependent personality disorder. Chu Ji asked, is there any cure? Ning Rongrong asked, Aren't you receiving treatment? She feels safe around you, so you should spend more time with her, and then gradually extend the time you don't see her. After a certain period of time, things will get better. Well, I'll write you a plan. Chuji took Ning Rongrong's plan and looked at it, speechless. 1 year. Ning Rongrong said, yes, this is already very short. You know that mental illnesses are difficult to deal with. Chuji was speechless. Su Ruoxuan said a few words to Ning Rongrong, but her eyes were always on Chuji. Looking at Su Ruoxuan's eyes, Chuji finally softened his heart. 1 year is enough. Ning Rongrong looked at Su Ruoxian and sighed. Since she entered the door, Su Ruoxuan's gaze has never stayed on her for more than 5 seconds. The rest of the time was spent on Chuji. When I talked to her, she could answer fluently and seemed to be no different from before. But Su Ruoxuan didn't even look at him. Why was her eyes always on Chuji? Ning Rongrong sighed and said, Ruoxian, how much do you like me to become like this? Chapter 144, Experience in Managing a Group Company. Ning Rongrong looked at the time and said, it's getting late, I should go too. Chuji, just go along with her in everything and don't irritate her, okay? Then Ning Rongrong left Chuji. As soon as Ning Rongrong left, Su Zin came again. As soon as Su Zin entered the room, she met Su Ruoxuan's sharp gaze. Su Zin was frightened. Su Zin said stubbornly, don't you look fine? Su Ruoxuan stood up and walked towards Su Zin. You are not welcome here? Su Ruoxuan was like an angry little leopard. Chuji next to him was startled. Didn't it say that there is a tendency towards violence in this situation? Su Zin screamed in fright, rushed out of the door and closed it. At this time, Chuji also hugged Su Ruoxuan in his arms. Su Ruoxuan instantly became quiet, her face flushed. Chuji showed helplessness. The violence just now did not seem to be fake. Judging from the posture just now, Su Ruoxuan really dared to beat Su Zin. Chuzu said, well, I can't bear it anymore. I want to sleep, brother. You can do whatever you want. Chuzu closed the door and went to bed. She had an exam the next day, and she had to get enough sleep. Chuji looked at Su Ruoxuan at this time. Then go take a shower, Chuji said. Come with me to take a shower. Su Ruoxuan grabbed Chuji's hand. There were 2 black lines on Chuji's forehead, and it felt like Su Ruoxian had completely returned to her childhood. No, how can I, a man, take a bath with you? You're still my ex-husband. You also said it was my ex-husband. This is absolutely not okay. So I'll just stand outside the bathroom door, is that okay? Seeing Chuji's firm attitude, Su Ruoxian was helpless. After a lot of trouble, I finally finished taking a shower. Chuji also rushed forward in a hurry. But sleeping became a problem again. He couldn't bring Su Ruoxuan into his room. Chuji thought about it and decided to sleep in the living room. He let Su Ruoxuan sleep on the sofa, and he slept on the floor. No words were spoken that night. When he woke up, he found Su Ruoxuan entangled with him like an octopus. No wonder I had a nightmare all night. In the dream, I was entangled by a beautiful snake. When the quilt was lifted, a piece of white nakedness was revealed in front of Chuji. It made his mouth dry. If Chuji hadn't seen that her pajamas were neatly arranged, he would have suspected that he had done something to Su Ruoxuan. When I got up, I found that Chuzu had already gone to school. Could it be that she saw everything? Chuji was very upset. After dinner, Chuji took Su Ruoxuan to Nanshu first. Then I went to Su Zin. Su Ruoxuan saw that Su Zin's eyes suddenly became dangerous. Su Zin also felt Su Ruoxuan's condition. She was so scared that she ran out of the office. It seems that Su Ruoxuan brought a lot of shadow to Su Zin when she was a child. No wonder Su Zin always wants to compete with Su Ruoxuan. Chuji looked at the combative Su Ruoxian speechlessly and said, why are you like this to Su Zin? No reason, I just don't like her, Su Ruoxuan said. Chuji was speechless. At this moment, Su Ruoxuan's phone suddenly rang, and Su Ruoxuan answered it irritably. It was Su Zi who called. The Su family had important matters that needed Su Ruoxuan to go back and handle. No reply. Su Ruoxuan threw the phone away in annoyance. Chuji was quick to dive and catch the phone in his hand. Chuji said into the phone, Mr. Su, how can Ryu Xian handle affairs like this? Su Zi said helplessly, but Ryu Xian has always been handling these matters. I have only been in charge of the Su Corporation for a short time and cannot handle them all. Chuji said, then why don't we just find a manager to come up? Where can we find someone? Besides, Ruoxian is just relying on you. She's not stupid. Can't you bring her along to handle the documents? Chuji was speechless. Did he have to go to work at Su's? Fortunately, there is someone to take care of his company, so there will be no problem if I am away for a while. Chuji said to Su Ruoxian, what do you think? I don't care as long as you are here. Su Ryukshuan said. Chuji thought about it and decided that since Su Ryukshuan and Su Zin didn't get along anyway, he might as well take Su Ryukshuan away. As soon as I entered Su's building, I was met with strange looks. It was the first time that people from Su's company saw Chuji and Su Ryukshuan coming to the company together. The two front desk bosses had their mouths open and didn't come back to their senses for a long time. Other people from the Su group who were passing by also froze in place, looking at this scene in disbelief. Some people who were familiar with Chuji gave him a thumbs up. Chuji's old face turned red, and he grabbed Su Ryukshuan's hand and walked quickly into the elevator. Su Ryukshuan seemed to be walking too fast and suddenly fell on Chuji's back. Chuji felt the two firm lumps behind him, and his throat felt a little dry. He quickly straightened Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan seemed to have tasted the sweetness, and with a smile on her face, she stayed on Chuji again. Chuji pushed it open again. At this time, Su Ryukshuan became anxious again. Chuji had no choice but to let her go. The elevator door opened, and Suzy appeared in front of him. Suzy was stunned for a moment, coughed, and moved closer to Chuji and said, "Pay attention to the impact, don't do it in the office, Have you had enough of living?" Su Ryukshuan threatened. Suzy froze. Chuji was also confused. He took Su Ryukshuan out of the elevator. Suzy hurriedly walked into the elevator, facing Su Ryukshuan's gaze, and then quickly pressed the down button. At this moment, outside Su Ryukshuan's office, the originally bustling scene suddenly became quiet. Snap! A clerk-like person next to him dropped the document in his hand to the ground. The clerk stared blankly at Chuji, and the hand that Su Ryukshuan was holding on Chuji's arm. Chuji breathed a sigh of relief, only after he pulled Su Ryukshuan into the office. At this time, the staff outside Su Ryukshuan's office looked at each other with expressions as if they had seen a ghost. Tusk, why do I feel that they are pretty good? They are a good match. Indeed, after all, Chuji and our President Su are the best match. I really hope they can live happily ever after. Chuji said to Su Ryukshuan at this time. Ryukshuan, please hurry up and deal with these documents. Su Ryukshuan sat down at her seat and flipped through the documents in front of her. But within 2 minutes, she threw the document away. She scratched her head irritably, like a madman. The secretaries who entered the room were so frightened by Su Ryukshuan's state that they froze in place. Chuji frowned. Don't you even want to look at the documents? Chuji picked up the document and placed it in front of Su Ryukshuan. Take your time, there's no rush. Su Ryukshuan pushed the document aside, looked at Chuji angrily and said, I can't read a single word. You can say I did it on purpose, but I just can't read it. Chuji was stunned. How could he handle the work like this? Chuji picked up the document helplessly and looked at it. How about this? I'll read it and you can give your instructions. Su Ryukshuan nodded. Chuji picked up the document and began to read. Su Ryukshuan indeed became much quieter. After listening to Chuji's reading, she made her own comments and opinions, which Chuji wrote on the document. At first, there was nothing, but in the end, Chuji felt his throat was smoking, and this method was too inefficient. Chuji looked at Su Ryukshuan and said, This is not a solution. How about I just give the instructions? Whatever you want. I'm just a manager now. It's nothing too important. Just give your instructions. Chuji took a deep breath. To some extent, this was his first time managing a large group like Su Corporation. This experience was very rare. Chapter 145, What Identity? Chuji was not polite either. He picked up the document and stopped reading from the beginning. He just briefly stated the key points and gave his own suggestions. Let Su Ryukshuan give guidance. In the afternoon, unless Chuji encountered something particularly sensitive, he would ask Su Ryukshuan for her opinion and handle the rest of the documents himself. This went on for several days. Su Ryukshuan's eyes became brighter and brighter as she looked at Chuji. Chuji is making great progress. It's only been 3 days, just 3 days, and he already has the ability to handle the affairs of a group on his own. This kind of growth is terrifying. Suzy has been in the company for more than half a year, but now he is not as good as Chuji's finger. Even Su Ryukshuan herself took several months to get the hang of it. Even so, others still say that he is a child of destiny. Because talents like Suzy are normal, it will take them several years to control a group. But now, Chuji is definitely an exception. As you are really outstanding, even better than I thought. Su Ryukshuan looked at Chuji with burning eyes. Chuji didn't care much about it. He could feel his own growth just like when he was in school. Not to mention, the Su group is too big. Even though Su Ryukshuan is no longer the president, she still has a lot of things to deal with. Because of the special nature of her identity, she is actually almost the same as the president. Similarly, the documents that only the president can handle have to be handled by Su Ryukshuan. Otherwise, the new president alone would not be able to handle all these things properly. Chuji handled them one by one and used Su Ryukshuan's seal for those that required a signature. Before I knew it, I had almost finished processing the files here today. At this time, the secretary came over. Chuji said, "These are processed documents. Follow the instructions above. In addition, I feel that there is a problem with a report from the Southern Economic Zone. I will check it out when I have time." The secretary quickly wrote it down. Chuji arranged things one by one in an orderly manner. The secretary looked at Chuji with some admiration. Chuji usually handles problems in one go. Then when arranging things, you don't have to look at any reports at all. Everything will be done naturally and in an orderly manner. The secretary felt that she had never been so relaxed. The secretary felt that it was a real pleasure to listen to Chuji's arrangements. After arranging the things to be dealt with, Chuji looked at his assistant and asked, "Is there anything else that needs to be dealt with?" The assistant quickly replied, "Mr. Chu, there is a meeting that Mr. Su will attend this afternoon. What do you think?" Chuji looked at Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan said irritably, "No, I'm too lazy to watch them." Chuji was embarrassed when he saw this. He rubbed his forehead and said, "Can't Suzy open it?" "Manager Suzy has a business trip out today," the assistant replied. Chuji thought for a moment and said, "Well, give me the meeting materials and I'll take a look." The secretary quickly handed over the information. Chuji took a look and found out that it was a plan to expand sales to the southeastern countries. Chuji took a few glances and said, "It would be a waste to just distribute the goods, and it's not suitable in the long run. My suggestion is to build a factory directly in Southeast Asia, where labor is much cheaper and costs will be greatly reduced. Arrange people to go to Southeast Asia to negotiate on the condition of solving their employment problems. Garment factories are labor-intensive industries and can solve many of their employment problems. As a condition, they want us to use the land for free for at least 10 years or even 15 years, and then immediately invest in building a factory. With the factory, we will have an absolute advantage there and completely open up the Southeast market." Chuji looked at Su Ryukshuan and asked, "What do you think, Ryukshuan?" Su Ryukshuan nodded. "Very good, very bold, I have never thought of this." Chuji looked at his assistant and said, "Forget about the meeting. Just pass it on and let them execute it." The secretary looked at Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan said, "Listen to him." The secretary leaves. Chuji looked at Su Ryukshuan in surprise. "Don't you think my idea is a bit risky?" Su Ryukshuan said, "I don't think so. You must be sure of yourself by doing this." Chuji said, "Yes, I am sure that I can build a factory without paying for it, and I can get a lot of benefits." Su Ryukshuan looked at the confident Chuji with a somewhat obsessed look. This man also has a domineering side, and he is trying to make up for the inferiority complex brought about by his background. Chuji asked tentatively at this time, "Ryukshuan, can you now?" "No," Su Ryukshuan's brows were filled with anxiety. Okay, just pretend I didn't say anything and we'll go home together later." Su Ryukshuan finally got better. Chuji originally wanted to tentatively ask Su Ryukshuan to return to her home, but now it seems to have failed. He tried it and made an excuse to be away for more than an hour. When he came back, Su Ryukshuan almost turned the office upside down. The employees outside were all terrified. Chuji looked at Su Ryukshuan in that state, and he knew that she really had mental problems. After processing the documents, it's almost time to get off work. He looked at Su Ryukshuan and said, "I didn't expect your work to be so heavy." At this time, Su Ryukshuan's assistant twitched his mouth and said, "Mr. Chu, you are dealing with documents that have been accumulated for 3 days." Chuji was slightly embarrassed when he heard this. "Really? I hope there won't be any problems." The assistant said, "Mr. Chu, you handled it very well." At this time, Father Su also heard the news from the group. After evaluating Chuji's plan in detail, he couldn't help but sighed. What a talent. "Then, Chairman, what about this factory building in Southeast Asia?" "Do as he says. According to his speculation, we will not lose money this time building the factory. We can even get policy support from the local government. Not only will we not lose money, but we will make money. It's amazing," Father Su exclaimed. "Okay, Chairman." The man turned and left. Time passed day by day, and before he knew it, he had been handling work for Su Ryukshuan for nearly a month. Chu Ji recently discovered that people in Su's company have become much more respectful to him. Even the managers of the design and advertising departments became much more reserved when facing him. Some people even call him Mr. Chu. Chu Ji tried to correct it at first, but later he just became too lazy to do it. Chu Ji can now also attend meetings on behalf of Su Ruoxuan. But this also caused dissatisfaction among some people. For example, some of the old people in the Su family who think they are senior. At this time, at a meeting, Chu Ji suggested the merger and reorganization of the northern market departments, because he found that the northern market was too chaotic and far from meeting his expectations. Chu Ji suggested that those disorderly departments should be reorganized and planned, implement a regional contracting system, and lay off some employees who are incapable of getting by. But this resolution was boycotted as soon as he finished speaking. At this time, a sarcastic voice sounded. Mr. Chu, in what capacity are you promoting this plan? Chapter 146, I didn't kill the chicken. Chu Ji was stunned when he heard this. The voice continued. Mr. Chu, after all, you are just an outsider. If you say to lay off, then layoffs will be done. Then will those who rely on us for food be willing? What do their family eat and drink? Don't talk nonsense when your upper lip touches your lower lip. This is the Su group, not your Chu family. Someone nearby looked at the middle-aged man who was speaking in surprise. Manager Luo, isn't that too much? Someone said dissatisfiedly. Manager Luo said coldly. Past. I don't think so. He is just a yellow-haired boy. He thinks he is so great just 2 years after graduating. Has he investigated the market in the north? Who does he think he is? Everyone looked at that man with ugly expressions. Chu Ji's ability was unquestionable, and the other party's practice of ranking people based on seniority was simply disgusting. Chu Ji's face was calm, because he had known that this day would come. He looked at the middle-aged man. Manager Luo, right? Yes, it's me. When I was following Su, you were playing in the mud somewhere. Manager Luo looked at Chu Ji with disdain. Chu Ji smiled slightly and said, Mr. Luo, you just said that I didn't investigate the northern market. That's right. Chu Ji shook his head. I have actually already investigated it, and I have the investigation materials here. Since Mr. Luo has raised doubts, let's take a look at the materials. Chu Ji nodded to the assistant next to him. The assistant took out a stack of information and distributed it to everyone one by one. Of course, Manager Luo also has one. When he looked at the content above, cold sweat ran down his forehead. Manager Luo, you are in charge of the northern market. You must be very clear about how we, not your Su Corporation, planned the northern market in the first place. But you relied on the reputation of the Su's and Hongai brands to arbitrarily delegate profits to distributors. Do you want me to tell you how much you have deducted from them? Not only that, how much of the subsidy that the headquarters gave you to open up the northern market have you distributed? Manager Luo was sweating profusely on his forehead. Manager Luo stood up angrily and pointed at Chu Ji and said, Chu Ji, stop spreading rumors here. I have worked hard for the Su Corporation. You are slandering me. As an outsider, what qualifications do you have to question me here? That's right, Chu Ji, you're going too far. First, you're not a member of the Su family, and second, you're not Mr. Su's husband. Who are you to accuse a veteran? Someone else in the corner spoke with disdain. Chu Ji looked at the man and said, Manager He, are you feeling guilty? You know how the Northwest market compares, right? The man's face changed and he said, Chu Ji, you are so insolent. Chu Ji shook his head and said, Actually, you are right about one thing, that is, I am just an outsider, and everything I say is a suggestion, not an order. You don't have to listen, it's your Su's business anyway. Well, there's no point in saying more since you're against it. I can't do anything about it, so let's stop here today. Chu Ji got up and left. The fact that he is not from the Su group is a fatal flaw. He can handle documents on behalf of Su Ruoxuan, and he even has a way to deal with Manager Luo and Manager He. But are you qualified to do this? No one in the Su family said anything, so why should he? When I returned to the office, I saw Su Ruoxuan watching the surveillance camera in the conference room. This was also the solution Chu Ji came up with. He didn't want anyone to see Su Ruoxuan's current appearance during the meeting, so he suggested installing surveillance in the conference room. This way, Su Ruoxuan can see me through the surveillance, which is better than following me closely. Chu Ji sat on the sofa with a calm expression. He wasn't angry about being questioned. After all, he didn't consider Su's property as his own. I am just providing Su with my own advice within my ability. If the Su family doesn't want to execute it, or how they want to execute it is Su's business, he has no right to interfere and doesn't want to interfere. As the Su family grew older, naturally there would be problems. He could just deal with the problem, but his identity was not suitable for doing this kind of thing. It can only be done through Su Zi or others. And by saying this to Su Zi, he would not think that I was spreading rumors. After all, Su Zi's relationship with them is much better than his own. Chu Ji, who was thinking with his eyes closed, did not notice that Su Ruoxuan sneered when she stared at Manager Luo and Manager He in the surveillance video. At this time, the assistant also came in, seeming to be hesitant to speak. "Is there anything wrong?" Chu Ji asked. "Mr. Chu, I think you are right. They are just taking advantage of their age." Chu Ji said, "They have the qualifications to take advantage of their seniority. Forget it, let's not talk about this matter. Do you still have work to do today? I have a client from Europe. Do you have time to meet him?" Chu Ji shook his head and said, "No, I am an outsider after all. The negotiation results will be questioned no matter what." The assistant shook his head helplessly. The assistant looked at Su Ruoxuan. At this moment, Su Ruoxuan's eyes flickered, but she didn't say anything. The assistant sighed and walked out of the office. Chu Ji turned his head and looked out the window, a little absent-minded. Su Ruoxuan looked at Chu Ji quietly, watching his face being coated with a layer of golden light by Xian. The room was very quiet. Su Ruoxuan's eyes became blurred. Chu Ji didn't come to his senses until he got off work. He turned his head and looked at Su Ruoxuan. Looking at Su Ruoxuan's bright eyes, he found it hard to imagine that she was a person with mental problems. He smiled brightly and said in a warm voice, "Let's go home." Su Ruoxuan stood up, walked to his side, grabbed his hand, and looked up at him. "You've done a great job. I'll take care of the rest," Su Ruoxuan said. Chu Ji was stunned for a moment, but didn't care much. The next day, Chu Ji brought Su Ruoxuan to the Su building as usual. But this time, he felt that the atmosphere was a little strange. He was seen whispering a little. Chu Ji frowned. When he arrived at the office, he called his secretary over and asked, "What happened in the company?" The secretary was somewhat surprised and asked, "Mr. Chu, don't you know?" Chu Ji frowned and asked, "Know what?" The secretary said, "Manager Luo and Manager He were fired by the chairman." Chu Ji's hands paused as he sorted the documents. He looked up at the secretary, then he looked at Su Ruoxuan. "Why is this happening?" Chu Ji asked. Su Ruoxuan signaled the secretary to answer. The secretary said, "Because the company has found evidence that they have embezzled a huge amount of company money." Chu Ji was silent. He asked his secretary to go out. Then he thought for a moment and walked out of the office. All the employees who saw Chu Ji stood up and greeted him with great respect. Chu Ji walked back, "Killing the chicken to scare the monkey, but I didn't kill the chicken," Chu Ji sighed. Chapter 147. Refusing to become President Chu. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Su Zi walked in. Chu Ji said, "Sit down, it seems that you have something important to tell me." Su Zi laughed and said, "You have only worked here for less than a month, but do you know how much benefit you have brought us? How much waste you have eliminated, and how much you have improved our company's strength?" Chu Ji didn't say anything. "Let's not talk about other things. We estimated that according to your suggestion, the value of a piece of land in Southeast Asia would make all our investment back. In order to boost the local economy and increase the employment rate, the lease period is 20 years. They build the factory, and we only need to deliver the equipment. In addition, you handled other things very well and greatly improved the efficiency of various departments, which we had overlooked before. And this time, for the northern market, 100 million yuan of funds were recovered. Chu Ji, are you willing to join Su Corporation? You can fully represent Ruoxian in the future and become the real CEO Chu." Chu Ji looked at Su Ruoxuan. Su Ruoxuan looked at Chu Ji with some expectation. Chu Ji frowned. Su Zi also looked at Chu Ji, and then was a little surprised. He didn't see any surprise on Chu Ji's face. His calm expression made him feel a little uneasy. "Mr. Su, your proposal is very attractive, but you seem to have forgotten that I have my own business and I am the boss. Why should I come to work for Su's? Even if I become the president of Su Corporation, wouldn't I still be a senior employee of Su Corporation?" Chu Ji held his chin with the back of his hand and said, "Although my company cannot be compared with Su's, I have the final say in everything. I am free and comfortable." Su Zi was a little stunned, then a wry smile appeared on his face. "It seems that my mission has failed," Su Zi said. Chu Ji shook his head and said, "Mr. Su, I can't stay in Su's forever, so please choose someone to replace Ruoxian as soon as possible." After saying that, Chu Ji threw himself into his work. This incident between Manager Luo and Manager He gave him a wake-up call. After all, he is an outsider, and his identity cannot be confused. Seeing this, Suzy walked out of Chuji's office helplessly. Suzy returned to his office and called his father. "Uncle, Chuji has no intention of working for Su Corporation." Father Su sighed. He had guessed this result a long time ago. As long as he doesn't remarry Su Ryukshuan, he will never become a member of the Su family in the true sense. However, he really admired Chuji's abilities more and more. Chuji refreshed his senses again and again. Now he had to admit that letting go of Chuji was the worst thing the Su family had ever done. "Uncle, what should we do now? It would be a shame to give up," Suzy said. "What else can I do if I don't give up? If he doesn't want to work for Su's, then it's not legitimate for him to work there. He knows this himself, so it's only a matter of time before he leaves. Actually, it all depends on Ryukshuan. If Ryukshuan can capture Chu's heart, everything will be fine." Chuji took Su Ryukshuan back home. "Ryukshuan, go take a shower. I'll go cook and we'll eat later." Chuji prepared hot water for Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan said, "Why don't you take a shower with me today?" Chuji refused without hesitation. "Wash it yourself." Su Ryukshuan showed a cunning look in her eyes and walked towards the bathroom, which made Chuji feel relieved. At least he didn't have to wait for her at the bathroom door now. Chuji went into the kitchen and prepared to make something to eat. Suddenly, there was a scream from the bathroom. Chuji was startled and ran into the bathroom without thinking. But he saw Su Ryukshuan struggling in the bathtub. Chuji was startled and grabbed Su Ryukshuan into his arms. The smooth and delicate skin made him unable to let go. "Help me wash." Su Ryukshuan looked at Chuji with a red face and held him tightly. Chuji looked at the fair and tender body in front of him, and his mouth became dry. But he already has Sister Wonking. He was confused before, but recently he finally found out about what happened between him and Sister Wonking, so he cannot let Sister Wonking down. Chuji put Su Ryukshuan back into the water. The foam on the water covered her delicate and sinful body. "Ryukshuan, don't make such jokes in the future." Chuji looked at Su Ryukshuan calmly. Su Ryukshuan bit her lips, feeling somewhat unwilling, annoyed, and a little flustered. She felt that she couldn't win Chuji's heart back. She really shouldn't have divorced Chuji. If she didn't, she would still be tied to him because of the marriage contract. But they divorced, and that most powerful bond disappeared. She felt that she couldn't pull Chuji back to her side again by herself. Chuji got up, walked out of the bathroom, and closed the door. Su Ryukshuan looked at the door and felt that it divided them into two worlds. Su Ryukshuan's brows were filled with panic. "After dinner, I cleaned up. As usual, Chuji lay on the floor and got into bed. Su Ryukshuan came to the sofa. The sofa is very wide, like a bed, but she didn't feel any warmth when she lay on it. In the middle of the night, Su Ryukshuan quietly got up and lay down beside Chuji. The next day was Sunday. Chuji slept in for a rare time. When I woke up, Su Ryukshuan was sleeping soundly. When I looked up, I saw Su Wan sitting on the sofa in the living room. Su Wan looked at him and Su Ryukshuan beside him quietly, with an inexplicable look in her eyes. I wonder what she was thinking. Chuji turned his head and saw Su Ryukshuan beside him. Chuji's face froze, and then he said to Su Wan, "We didn't do anything." Su Wan said, "I know." Chuji breathed a sigh of relief. It would be bad to be treated as a hooligan. "I'll go wash up and you wake her up." Chuji got up and left. Su Wan said, "After you wash up, go make me some breakfast. I'm hungry." "Okay, no problem." Chuji walked into the kitchen. Su Wan woke up Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan took Su Wan into Chuji's room with a dissatisfied look on her face. "What's the matter?" Su Wan looked at Su Ryukshuan and said, "How long do you plan to pretend?" Su Ryukshuan sneered and said, "You are still so direct, but who told you that I was pretending?" Su Wan said, "You look normal." Su Ryukshuan did not answer Su Wan's words, but asked, "How is the investigation going for you?" Su Ryukshuan stretched lazily, her graceful figure enchanting and charming. Su Wan looked at her with some jealousy. These days, Su Ryukshuan seemed to have been reborn, and she looked even younger than her sister. It has been found out. Xiao Han's original name was Zhao Bin. He was originally from the Zhao family and was an illegitimate child of the Zhao family. His original purpose in approaching you was to get the Su family's property. And that so-called hero saving the beauty was just a big drama directed and performed by the other party. Are you surprised? Chapter 148, Xiao Han's short prison life. Su Wan took out a photo of Zhao Bin and handed it to Su Ryukshuan. Su Ryukshuan frowned as she looked at the person above. He looked nothing like Xiao Han. "Isn't it? That's why you asked people to check, but there was no news." Zhao Bin had plastic surgery and changed his name after the surgery. The Zhao family, they still won't give up. How can we give up? Let's not talk about the Zhu family. Didn't our four great families get to where we are today by annexing the Zhao family's assets? However, the Zhao family is very patient. The last time they attacked Chu Ji, they failed and disappeared in Jinghai. But I think it must be the Zhu family who took action. But according to the latest investigation, the Zhao family is cooperating with a very large force abroad, and they will not give up. Su Wan continued. Xiao Han was not well behaved in prison. I heard that he suffered a lot. He was dragged into a small, dark room by those criminals. I heard that he was screaming miserably, and that part of his body was broken by your kick. There was not much change in Su Ruoxuan's expression. At this time in the prison, Xiao Han looked with resentment at the man who was basking in the sun not far away and looked like a gorilla. It was he who made him spend a night worse than death. I won't let him go. I am a member of the Zhao family, a direct descendant of the Zhao family. The Zhao family will definitely find a way to get me out. When I get out, I will definitely arrange for someone to kill that guy. And of course that bitch Su Ruoxuan. She actually kicked herself to death, which is unforgivable. It's almost there. It should be very soon. The Zhao family will contact me soon. At this time, a prisoner next to him was staring at Xiao Han with fiery eyes. When Xiao Han had plastic surgery, he made himself look like a little puppy. His androgynous appearance made him successful in the entertainment industry. Now, without the symbols of masculinity, Xiao Han looks even more delicate. At least in the eyes of these prisoners, Xiao Han is a beauty to behold. The prisoner gave a look to the man next to him. The man nodded slightly, and at this moment, Xiao Han found that he was surrounded. A trace of panic appeared in his heart. He wanted to call for help, but before he could open his mouth, he was dragged into the bathroom. Xiao Han's face was full of despair. His eyes were wide open, and he felt that his life was worse than death. He has to endure it, he must endure it. But he forgot that he was no longer a man. Would the Zhao family take risks for a waste like him? 1 month, a whole month, Xiao Han lived a life worse than death. But no one contacted him. The Zhao family seemed to have forgotten him. Finally, he became desperate and knew that he had been abandoned by the Zhao family. Haha, thinking about how glorious Xiao Han was once, he ended up like this. He had once been so close to Su Ruoxuan, and he felt that he would definitely be in charge of everything in the Su family. Then, with the help of the Su family and the Zhao family, he will hopefully become the head of the Zhao family. I have imagined that scene more than once, but he didn't expect this result. The camera that he had intended to use to record the scenes between him and Su Ruoxuan became his biggest evidence of crime. Ridiculous, ridiculous. Xiao Han looked at the chopsticks he used for eating and secretly hid one. That night, Xiao Han stood in front of the gorilla-like man. Looking at the sleeping gorilla, Xiao Han's eyes were filled with resentment. He waved the chopsticks in his hand and stabbed it towards the gorilla's eyes. A scream was heard, and the prison became chaotic. When the prison guards suppressed the riot, they found Xiao Han's body. He had his head smashed in by an enraged gorilla-like being. His eyes were wide open. He died with his eyes open. It was the night when Su Wan and Su Ruoxuan were talking. Su Wan's words made Su Ruoxuan silent. The appearance of the Zhao family made her feel a sense of crisis, that a storm was about to come. According to the description of the previous generation, the Zhao family was once at its peak and surpassed the other 4 wealthy families. During its peak period, the Zhu family had to stand aside. The young man from the Zhao family even dared to tease the one from the Zhu family. Unfortunately, the one from the Zhu family was a monster. He used his weak strength to join forces with other families to attack the Zhao family. As a result, the huge Zhao family was wiped out. In other words, they offended the one from the Zhu family. If they had offended someone who was less evil, the Zhao family would not have fallen. There are also many coincidences here. Even God is helping the Zhu family. It can be seen that the Zhao family is so powerful that even God cannot stand it. In other words, it was only because the Zhao family declined that the 4 great families were able to rise rapidly. They also seized the Zhao family's property. Su Wan interrupted Su Ruoxian's thoughts. For such a person, you spent so much resources, and in the end, Chu Ji left you. Do you feel it's a loss? Su Wan looked at Su Ruoxuan sarcastically. Su Ruoxuan said, "It was the past. I did have fantasies about Xiao Han before, I admit that, but in the end I thought it through, and my feeling towards him was more of gratitude. His intentions were impure, and I had never fallen in love with him, for which I should feel fortunate. As for Aj, I am now very sure that I like him, I love him, and I have also lost him. But I will get him back, Su-won. I know your feelings for him, I won't stop you, but don't try to stop me. Aren't you afraid that I've already had a relationship with him? Su Ryuoxian chuckled and said, So what? This only proves how good Aj is. You, including the other women, will only be Aj's bedmates in the future. You guys serve Aji well. I am so happy, how can I be angry? Su-won looked at Su Ryuoxian steadily and said, I think you are indeed not mentally normal. You have always eaten alone, but now you know how to share. Su Ryuoxian sneered. She took off her pajamas and prepared to get her clothes. Suddenly, Su-won noticed that something was wrong with Su Ryuoxian. Su Ryuoxian's face was pale, and her eyes were panicked. She stood up suddenly and walked towards the door. Su-won was a little stunned. Sister, what's wrong with you? Get out of the way. Su Ryuoxian looked at Su-won fiercely. Su-won was shocked. Su Ryuoxian hurried to the bedroom door, leaned on the door frame and looked towards the kitchen. When she found Chu-ji in the kitchen, the panic on her face disappeared like the tide, and she became relaxed. Su-won watched this scene in shock. The look Su Ryuoxian displayed just now didn't seem like she was pretending at all. In other words, she really has psychological problems. No wonder someone as smart as Aj didn't notice Su Ryuoxian's disguise, because it wasn't a disguise at all. Sister, Su-won shouted. Huh, Su Ryuoxian answered, but she didn't turn her head, her eyes were still on Chu-ji. You, what's wrong with me? I'm fine, you don't have to worry about me. Su Ryuoxian snorted coldly. At this time, Chu-ji called them out for dinner. Su Ryuoxian immediately walked out with a smile on her face. Chu-ji's cheeks twitched as he looked at Su Ryuoxian's exposed white thighs. He took her and walked into the room. Then he said to Su-won, Find some clothes for your sister to wear. When Su Ryuoxian came out again, she was already dressed up. Su-won's eyes kept scanning between Chu-ji and Su Ryuoxian. Chu-ji looked at Su-won and said, Hurry up and eat. Su-won ate a few mouthfuls of food and said to Chu-ji, Why don't I move in too? It will be inconvenient for you to take care of her. Chu-ji's eyes lit up. Okay. Not good, Su Ryuoxian suddenly said from the side, and then looked at Su-won with a fierce look. Su-won snorted coldly and shoveled rice into her mouth. Chu-ji felt helpless. Chapter 149, Bringing the Three Su Sisters Home. At this time, I was in a villa in Jinghai. Song Lang sat up from the bed. Sleeping next to him was Li Yao from the Li family. He glanced at Li Yao, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Then he felt helpless. What the hell, you're still guarding your chastity for someone even in this state? You're crazy, Song Lang muttered. That's right, although he slept here yesterday and shared the same bed with Li Yao, he did not take that step. In order to maintain his own image, Song Lang did not use any force. It was not because he did not dare to, but because he was afraid of failing. At the same time, he had absolute confidence in himself. He believed that he could use his own strength to make Li Yao take the initiative to ask for sex. Just thinking about it makes me feel very accomplished. At this time, Li Yao also opened her eyes and looked at Song Lang standing next to the window, with a smile on her lips. Are you awake? Did you sleep well last night? Song Lang asked. Very good. Song Lang said, I didn't sleep well. Li Yao was stunned and asked, Why? How can I sleep well when I'm guarding such a beauty like you and can't do anything? Song Lang said. Li Yao's face turned red, and then she said, Wait until we get married, and I'll follow you after we get married. Li Yao got up and went to the restaurant to eat. During the meal, Li Yao said, I'll take you to the company today and give you a position as a department manager. What do you think? Song Lang said, Okay, as long as I can help you, I'm willing to be a cleaner. Li Yao smiled sweetly. Don't worry, I promise that one day you will be able to take the position of CEO. In addition to Li Yao, the Li family has two older brothers, one of whom is Li Ping. The other one is Li Gan. However, Li Gan was beaten to pulp by Su Ryuoxian. The Li family placed their hopes on Li Ping. However, Li Ping has been making mistakes one after another recently, and his actions against Su Xin have been discovered by the Su family. Now the Su family is biting the Li family like a mad dog. The Su family alone is enough for the Li family to deal with, but there is also Chu-ji. His company grew rapidly and severely squeezed the Li family's business. Now it has posed a great threat to the Li family. Especially in terms of gaming, it was almost a total defeat. Because of Chu-ji, they suffered a direct loss of several $100 million in this regard in the fourth quarter. Thinking of the way Chu-ji looked when she first met him, Li Yao felt a little regretful. Why didn't you just step on him to death? No, my brother and Su Zin were married at the beginning, but I didn't expect them to end up like this. I heard that Su Zin is now in Chu Ji's arms. She is a slut. Li Yao thought viciously in her heart. Suddenly Li Yao looked towards Song Lang. Her eyes were full of tenderness and love. Our Song Lang was much better, unlike Chu Ji who had so many women around him. If Song Lang were to take over gaming and entertainment matters and completely defeat Chu Ji in the business world, wouldn't that prove Song Lang's ability? Her family would not object to her and Song Lang being together, and she could even support Song Lang to the position of president. Okay, let's do it. Li Yao made up her mind. She looked up at Song Lang and said, Ah Lang, I heard that director Feng is going to personally direct a movie for Chu Ji, and the script is favored by director Feng. Is that true? Song Lang said, Yes, that Chu Ji is really lucky. I don't have any acting skills, and I'm not even a film and television major. I just won the favor of director Feng and was valued by director Feng. I don't accept it. Li Yao said, How about I give you a chance? Song Lang raised his head. What? At this time, Chu Ji was worrying about how to get home. The end of the year is almost here. But Su Ruoxuan's condition showed no signs of improvement. Although she looks no different from a normal person. Chu Zhu beside him said, Then take it back with you. Sister-in-law spent last year at our house anyway, so what's the difference between this year and the present? Chu Ji frowned and said, That's different. At that time, Ruoxian and I were still husband and wife, but now we are divorced. It's not appropriate to go again. What's inappropriate about it? Why don't we just remarry now? Su Ruoxuan said. Chu Zhu next to him also looked at Chu Ji with sparkling eyes. Brother, I think it's okay. You two are living together now, why don't you just remarry? In the past, she thought Su Ruoxuan had made a fundamental mistake, but now she knew that nothing had ever happened between her sister-in-law and that Xiao Han, and they had never even loved each other. This was another matter. Chu Ji rubbed his forehead. If it were in the past, he might have remarried Su Ruoxuan, but he has already had a relationship with Sister Wongking, so what's the point of remarrying Su Ruoxuan? Su Ruoxuan looked at Chu Ji quietly. Seeing the rejection in his eyes, she looked lonely. After all, she could not get into his heart. Seeing this, Chu Zhu's sympathy overflowed. Brother, what do you mean? My sister-in-law is like this. Why are you still holding it in? Do you still have any sympathy? Chu Ji's face froze and he said, Don't mention remarriage anymore. Chu Zhu said, You make me so angry, but you can still take my sister-in-law back. Just announce to the public that you have remarried. Chu Ji finally nodded. She looked at Su Ruoxian. Okay, I'll take you back and eat quickly. Chu Ji looked at Su Ruoxuan. His eyes became deep. I couldn't help but hear what Zhu Wongking said to me when she left. Aj, I'm not suitable for you, not only because of my age, but also because of many other things. Su Ruoxian is the most helpful marriage partner for you. If you want to help me, you can't avoid relying on the Su family. Otherwise, your growth will still be too slow. Chu Ji was in deep thought. He didn't know what Sister Wongking did. Sister Wongking didn't tell her this. But with his current worth, he is still too weak in Sister Wongking's eyes. Even the Su family was only reluctantly favored, so how huge must Sister Wongking's wealth be? It turns out that the Zhu mentioned by Sister Wongking is the Zhu family in Jinghai. I have found the reason why everything has been smooth sailing for me. Seeing her brother standing there in a daze, Chu Zhu waved her hand in front of him and said, Brother, what are you thinking about? Chu Ji woke up with a start and said, No, nothing. Tusk, I can see you're worried, yet you say it's nothing. Chu Zhu was speechless. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Su Zin is here. She breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that Su Ruoxuan didn't go crazy. Have you eaten? Let's eat together, Chu Ji said. Su Zin naturally sat at the dining table and started eating. Chu Zhu served Su Zin a bowl of porridge. Sister Su Zin, my brother and I are discussing going home for the new year, Chu Zhu said. Su Zin's eyes dimmed when she heard this. Do you want to go too? Chu Ji asked. Is it okay? Su Zin asked in surprise. Well, call Su Wan and let's go back together, Chu Ji said. Since you only need one, you might as well bring two more. Chu Zhu opened her mouth wide and really wanted to give her brother a thumbs up. Just go back when you say you will. After explaining all the company's affairs clearly, Chu Ji took the three sisters of the Su family and started the journey home. Chapter 150, Father Su's Invitation. After returning home, Chu Mo was a little dazed when he saw Su Ruoxuan and others getting off the car. Forget about Su Ruoxuan and Su Wan. They also spent the new year here last year. But what about Su Zin? However, Chu's mother did not dare to ask more questions. You can only ask people to get off the bus. Pulling Chuji aside, Chumo asked anxiously, "Son, what's going on?" Chuji's eyes flickered and he said, "Ryuoxian and I remarried and her two sisters were worried, so they followed us here." "What, you remarried?" asked Chu's mother. "Well, I just remarried before I came back," said Chuji. Father Chu puffed on his cigarette, then sighed and said, "You're grown up now, you can do whatever you want." Chuji looked at his parents apologetically. It really made them worry about it. However, with so many people coming, accommodation becomes a problem. Su Ryuoxian said at this time, "Mom, next year I will arrange for someone to renovate the ancestral house. You must not refuse." Mother Chu looked at Chuji. Chuji said, "That's what I meant. You don't need to build something extravagant. 2 floors are enough. Find a better apartment and install floor heating. Then you don't have to worry about the winter." Mother Chu nodded in agreement. Su Ryuoxian was very happy because Chu's mother accepted the call of mom. That night, Chuji and Su Ryuoxian slept together because of the lie. However, Su Ryuoxian slept on the bed, and Chuji still slept on the floor. Su Zin and Su Wan both moved into Chuzu's room. Although it's a bit crowded, it's not a big problem. Several beauties came to Chuji's house, which also caused a sensation. But most of them know that Su Ryuoxian is Chuji's wife. But Su Wan and Su Zin don't have a partner, and these neighbors are very concerned about them. They all called their children of school age back home and went to visit Chuji's home. Su Wan and Su Zin were too lazy to deal with these people, so they took Chuzu to the county town to go shopping. Su Ryuoxian also helped Chumo steam steamed buns and some other New Year's treats. But there is one thing: Chuji must be by your side. If Chuji is not around for more than 5 minutes, Su Ryuoxian becomes restless and looks for Chuji all over the yard. Only then did Chu's mother realize that something was wrong with Su Ryuoxian. After Chuji explained, Chu's mother sighed, took Su Ryuoxian's hand and looked at her with tears in her eyes. At this time, Chu's father said, "Since you're remarried, treat her well. If you do something weird again, I'll break your legs." Chuji's whole body froze. Why did he feel like he was trapped in his own web? Chuzu, Su Wan, and others stayed in the county town for 2 days. Then he came back with lots of bags. Before the neighbors come over, Su Wan and Su Zin drove to the county town again. They found that as long as they were there, Chuji would have a hard time that year. Fortunately, the county town is not far from here, only a dozen minutes drive away. Chuji would run back and forth between the two places whenever he had nothing to do, trying to take care of both. The day of New Year's Eve, Chuji returned home from the county town. Su Wan watched Chuji and Su Ryuoxian leave with her fingers tightly gripping the door frame. Su Zin watched from behind and asked, "What are you going to do in the future? Are you going to just follow him around like this?" Su Wan's body trembled. She didn't turn around but asked, "What about you? Don't tell me you followed him back just for something new." Su Zin looked a little flustered when she heard this. Then he stiffened his neck and said, "I just like him. What's wrong? I have never concealed it." Su Wan said, "I haven't concealed it either, but he doesn't think so." Su Zin sat on the sofa and said, "We 3 sisters have fallen into his hands. Can you not plant it?" Su Zin snorted coldly and said nothing more. Finally waited until the 3rd year of junior high school. Chuji was driven out by his mother and father. In rural areas, it is customary to invite the son-in-law on the 4th day of the new year, and the Su family held a banquet last year. So Chu's mother felt that the Su family must still hold a family banquet. So let Chuji go to Jinghai earlier. Chuji thought about it and didn't explain, so he took the 3 sisters of the Su family and headed towards Jinghai. Before I arrived in Jinghai, Su's father called me. It was not meant for the 3 sisters of the Su family. It was a call to Chuji. "As you must come to the family banquet tomorrow." Chuji showed a difficult expression on his face. "Uncle, I'm afraid this is not appropriate." "What's inappropriate? Just come if I ask you to. What will happen to Ryuoxian if you don't come?" said Su's father. Chuji turned his head and looked at Su Ryuoxian beside him. Su Ryuoxian said, "I hope you agree." "Okay, I'll go," Chuji agreed. The 3 women all looked delighted. When we returned to Jinghai, it was already late. The next day, Chuji got up early. He cleaned up himself first, and then helped Su Ryuoxian clean up. By the time Su Zin and Su Wan came up, it was already past 9 o'clock in the morning. Then they rushed towards the Su family. "Happy New Year to Mr. Su." Of course, all those who came here this time are from the Su family. At the very least, they are related. Unlike last time, this time Chuji clearly felt that the Su family was much more polite to him. This may be because Chuji used drastic measures to cut off some of the Su family's cancers in a clean and decisive manner. Su's father's attitude is there, although Chu Ji is not the official manager of Su's company. But whatever he proposed, Su's father would always support it without hesitation. Not to mention the northern market. It is really surprising that Chu Ji judged that there were problems with the southern operations based on just one report. It also removed the big termite for the Su family. Otherwise, Su's company would have no idea how much loss it would incur every year. Su Ruoxuan stayed by Chu Ji's side to deal with these relatives and friends. To outsiders, Su Ruoxuan is no different from ordinary people. So they naturally thought that Su Ruoxuan and Chu Ji had resumed their relationship, and now it was nothing more than a greeting in advance. "Haha, we're just waiting to attend your wedding, Chuj and Ruoxuan," someone joked. Su Ruoxuan's cheeks blushed, and she looked at Chu Ji lovingly. Chu Ji smiled but didn't explain anything. At this time, in a corner, Su Zin's mother pulled Su Zin over. "Su Zin, come here, let me introduce you. This is your Aunt Lu's son, Lu Feng. He is 30 years old this year, very promising, and has opened his own company. He is still unmarried. Would you like to sit down and chat?" Lu Feng looks mature and steady, wearing a well-fitting silver-gray suit, like a successful person. "Su Zin, we should have met when we were kids." Lu Feng extended his hand to Su Zin. Lu Feng looked at Su Zin with fiery eyes. I have to say that Su Zin is now a ripe peach, exuding an alluring scent wherever she goes. Both her figure and appearance are perfect choices. Putting aside the fact that she was divorced, Su Zin was the most beautiful and most popular one in the Su family. Chapter 151, Prejudice. Su Zin did not shake hands with Lu Feng but said to Lu Feng, "Really? I don't have any impression of you, then I should call you Brother Lu." Lu Feng laughed and said, "Su Zin, how about we go out and talk?" Su Zin's mother said, "Yes, you young people should interact more. Go out and talk, it's quiet outside." Su Zin said, "No need, just stay here, it's fine." Su Zin sat down. Lu Feng smiled awkwardly and sat down as well. "You opened a company, what does it do?" Su Zin asked. "It's not a big company, just a foreign trade company. The annual profit is decent, tens of millions," said Lu Feng. "It's really good to be able to earn tens of millions a year," said Su Zin. Lu Feng puffed out his chest proudly. Lu Feng asked, "I heard that you have 2 companies under you. What do they do?" "Didn't my mother tell you?" "Aunt said she wasn't very clear," said Lu Feng. Su Zin said, "It's not a big company, just a gaming company and entertainment company." Lu Feng heard this and said, "Game and entertainment companies. It shouldn't be easy to run, right? I heard that the entertainment company's profits are not very good. Do you need my help?" Su Zin looked at Lu Feng with some amusement. Is this what his mother told him? There was a hint of amusement in Su Zin's eyes. "There's no need for that. Although we don't make much money, we're not at the point of bankruptcy yet," Su Zin said. Lu Feng said, "How about this? I will invest 2 million in you and buy 30% of your company's shares. If you want, I can also help you manage the company. Apart from other things, my management ability is still good." Su Zin almost laughed. 2 million, it's not even enough to buy the copyright of a game. How could he say that? Not to mention other things. The 2 small casual games that Chu Ji brought back alone are worth far more than this price. Not to mention the 2 large games with annual revenues of hundreds of millions. How did he open his mouth? And the other party seemed very confident and generous. He thought this was a great care for her, right? Su Zin said, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to sell my shares." Su Zin looked in Chu Ji's direction while speaking. "It turns out that he has grown so big without me noticing. In the eyes of parents, earning tens of millions every year is already excellent. What about Chu Ji, who makes hundreds of millions every year?" He seemed to have noticed Su Ruoxuan's gaze. Lu Feng asked, "I heard that Chu Ji's family is from the countryside." Su Zin was stunned, turned her head to look at Lu Feng, frowning. "So you don't like him either?" Seeing Su Zin frowning, Lu Feng thought he was right. "What do you want to say?" Su Zin asked. "I just sigh that he, who came from the countryside, can have such good luck and be valued by Mr. Su. However, this kind of Phoenix man has a narrow vision and is not a good match." Su Zin's face darkened. "Do you know him?" Su Zin asked. "You don't need to understand this. I've seen too many men who rely on women to get to the top. They have no ambition and use vanity to cover up their inferiority. Apart from their looks, they are simply useless." Lu Feng looked at Chu Ji with disdain. There was a hint of giving orders in his tone. Su Zin looked at Lu Feng and said, "Then what do you think of people like you who speak ill of others behind their backs? What's the mentality of stepping on others to highlight yourself?" Lu Feng's face froze and he said awkwardly, "Su Zin, don't think too much. I just speak my mind because I have seen too many people like that." Oh, can you tell me a few? Lu Feng stopped talking. Most of the people he mentioned were just hearsay. How could he have seen them in real life? Su Zin chuckled and said, Lu Feng, do you know that my family was also a peasant family 3 generations ago? You probably don't know. But for a city person like you whose ancestors have lived in Jinghai, I, Su Zin, can't even reach your level. I'm afraid of being called a phoenix girl. Su Zin snorted coldly, stood up and walked to the side. Lu Feng's expression changed, and then became extremely gloomy. At this time, Su Zin's mother came to Su Zin and said, How is it? He is not bad, why don't you chat with him more? What are you talking about? People are looking down on you, why are you still rushing forward? Su Zin said angrily. Su Zin's mother was slightly stunned. What was going on? He was just the boss of a small company, how dare he look down on his daughter? Su Zin's mother's face turned unhappy and she asked, Is there some misunderstanding here? Misunderstanding? You can go ask him what he and I talked about. Su Zin's mother really went there. Then Su Zin's mother came back and said, I heard about it. What they said is true. Isn't Chu Ji just a peasant? I heard that he is now acting lawless in the company, relying on Ruoxian's support. It's really ridiculous. Su Zin looked at her mother speechlessly and said, You can talk to your father and see how he reacts. If he thinks you are right, I will go and have a good talk with him. What do you think? Go if you want. I think you are just looking for trouble. How can a woman not get married at such an age? Su Zin's mother went to find Su Zin's father. Su Zin shook her head speechlessly. Su Zin's father was talking to several family members at this time. At this time, he saw his wife coming over and asked, What's wrong? Why are you so angry? It's your daughter's fault, Su Zin's mother said. The people around are all family members, so there is no need to avoid them. They are just standing there watching the joke. Su Zin's father said speechlessly, What happened again? Su Zin's mother said at this time, It just so happens that you are all members of the Su family, not outsiders. You can judge for yourself. Several members of the Su family became even more interested, seeing that her words had attracted the attention of several members of the Su family. Su Zin's mother did not hesitate to tell them the exact conversation between Lu Feng and Su Zin. Su Zin's father's face looked unhappy. The other members of the Su family were also at a loss whether to laugh or cry. One of them coughed and walked away leisurely. Su Zin's mother was anxious. Don't leave, tell me, isn't what Lu Feng said reasonable? He didn't treat us as outsiders. Look at what Su Zin did. He actually left us there. How can that be? Su Zin's father snorted coldly at this time. I think you are the one who is talking nonsense. You have long hair but little knowledge. If you don't know, don't come out and embarrass yourself. When Su Zin's mother heard this, she became anxious. When had she ever suffered such humiliation? Now her son Su Zi has entered the Su family and holds great power. She now feels very powerful, and even her husband cannot say that to her. Chu Ji is from the countryside, how could this be false? Su Zin's mother shouted. Now everyone in the living room heard it. Chapter 152, Arrogance. Chu Ji, who was not far away, froze when he heard this. The smile also became forced. Su's father also heard it, and his face suddenly darkened. He looked in the direction of Su Zin's parents with an unfriendly expression. Su Zin's father became anxious and grabbed his wife and walked out of the living room. Coming to a corner outside, Su Zin's father said with a livid face, Do you know what you are talking about? What, am I not telling the truth? Su Zin's mother stuck her head out. At this time, Su Zi also hurried over. Su Zin's father said to his son, Go and tell your snobbish mother how much Chu Ji has contributed to our Su corporation. Why does he rely on our Su group? If it weren't for Ruoxian's willingness to care about us, it's really nonsense. Su Zin's father left angrily. Su Zi looked at his angry mother and said helplessly, Mom, how can you say that when you don't know anything? I'm wrong, isn't he from the countryside? Isn't he just showing off because of Ruoxian's support? Where did I say wrong? Su Zi said speechlessly. Do you know how much Chu Ji has contributed to the development of our Su Corporation? I won't talk about the past. Just recently, he managed the Su Corporation for Ruoxian, which saved us hundreds of millions of expenses last year. The plan he proposed for layout in the southeastern countries was very fruitful, with conservative estimates putting the revenue at several billion. This is still short-term. His eyes are directly looking into decades later. This is a long-term profit channel worth more than tens of billions. During this period, he eliminated several termites for our Su company. Do you know how much loss these termites cause our Su company every year? That's several hundred million every year. Who can do this? I can't do it anyway. The new CEO is not as capable as Ruoxian and can't do it either. Even Ruoxian hasn't done it. You said he has no vision, no ability, no vision. Are you scolding him or scolding our Su family for being a bunch of good-for-nothings? Su Zin's mother's face was a little stiff, but she still said stubbornly, "That's because he hooked up with Ruoxian. Without Ruoxian, what would he be? Without Ruoxian, he still has more than 200 chain stores, a large factory, an entertainment company, and a gaming company. The profits these bring him every year are also in the billions. If it weren't for Ruoxian, he wouldn't even bother to join Su's. I can't tell you the details because it concerns Ruoxian, but you have to understand one thing. It's us at the Su family who want to keep him, but he doesn't want to." Su Zi looked at his mother speechlessly. After this incident, I'm afraid Chu Ji will not stay in Su's company anymore. Nowadays, wealthy families do look down on those who come from peasant families. It seems that associating with them would lower one's own status. This is not an isolated case. It is a common phenomenon. This may also be the reason why Chu Ji has always been unwilling to work for Su's company and even unwilling to remarry Ruoxuan. Su Zi entered the living room and was met with Su Ruoxuan's cold gaze. Su Zi was stunned for a moment, feeling speechless and helpless. As for Lu Feng, he has been asked to leave now. It is estimated that Lu Feng will be put on the Su family's blacklist in the future. A small boss who relied on his family and the Su group to barely achieve a gross income of 10 million and a net profit of only a few million. I don't know where he got the confidence from to laugh at Chu Ji. Apart from anything else, the fact that he could say such things in such an occasion shows that he is not a good person. Su Zi initially thought this person was pretty good, with a mature and steady look, but he didn't expect that he was just a facade. Su Zin looked at Chu Ji worriedly at this time. Chu Ji seemed to look no different from before, but people who were familiar with him knew how forced Chu Ji's smile was at this moment. If it happened to Su Pin, it would be better, because he is a second-generation rich man. It is not surprising for him to say anything. But this time it was the elder who said this, which was a complete denial of Chu Ji. Chu Ji sighed in his heart at this moment. Sure enough, the level gap is there. No matter how hard you try, it won't stop others from looking down on you. He now wants to leave. He doesn't owe the Su family anything, so why should he stay here and suffer? But as soon as the thought came to his mind, Su Ruoxuan held his hand. He turned his head and saw the pleading in Su Ruoxuan's eyes. Chu Ji sighed secretly. I don't owe the Su company anything. They can say whatever they want. I just need to do my best. When Su Ruoxuan gets better, I won't have to come to the Su company anymore. With the decision made, Chu Ji felt much more relieved. Continue to maintain relationships with the Su family with a smile. Su Wan came to Su Zin and said, "Haha, from now on, I'm afraid Aj will never set foot in my Su family again." Su Zin looked frighteningly pale, because it was her mother who said this. This sentence almost cut off the possibility of further development between her and Chu Ji, and she couldn't accept it. Su Wan continued, "Sister, hurry up and find someone to marry, otherwise I don't know what else my aunt will do." Su Zin's face turned paler. Chu Ji barely managed to finish the banquet. He didn't drink a drop of alcohol to stay sober. After the banquet, he firmly refused Su's father's request to talk to him and left with Su Ruoxuan. He felt that he and the Su family had nothing to say to each other. This time, Su Zin's mother's words were most likely her own. But Chu Ji would not think so, because it was obvious that Su Zin's mother's impression of him was deeply rooted. From this, he could also judge that most people in the Su family had the same impression of him. In this case, there is no need for me to have too much involvement with the Su family. As for the advice given to him by Sister Wonking, he was afraid he couldn't do it. When he got home, Chu Ji felt more tired than the previous day at work. It's not physical fatigue, but mental fatigue. Su Ruoxian hugged his arm and whispered, "I'm sorry I made you feel wronged." Chu Ji said, "It's not your fault, there's no need to blame yourself. It's just that I can't live here anymore. This is the house Su Zin gave me to express her gratitude. I can't just stay here and not move out. If people knew about this, I'm afraid there would be a quarrel again. Anyway, my younger sister has already enrolled in school, so I plan to return the house to Su Zin. What do you think?" "Okay, we can just buy a new one," Su Ruoxuan said indifferently. Chu Ji nodded and immediately started looking for housing information. He wants to buy a house near Jinghai University. He thought that Chu Zhu would go to school there in the future, and it would be convenient for her to go home, just like here. Just when Chu Ji was thinking about buying a house and moving out. In the Su family, Su Zin's mother still does not feel the slightest bit guilty about her actions, although he was stunned by Su Zi's words during the day. But then she thought about it and felt that it was impossible. Chapter 153, Lu Feng's Trick. Su Xin's mother said, "When Lu Feng left, he told me that Chu Ji, a poor student from the countryside, had no chance to have this ability. Someone must be helping him. I think that person must be Ruoxian. If Ruoxian hadn't helped him clear the obstacles, how could he have developed so smoothly?" Su Xin's father looked at his wife speechlessly and asked, "Why do you think it will be like this?" "Haha, just look at that Zyro hand and you'll know. How did Ruoxian help Aang back then? Now that Ruoxian likes Chuzh, of course she will help Chuzh like she helped Ziohan. I think all this is Ruoxian's plan," Su Xin's mother analyzed complacently. Su Xin was somewhat speechless and said, "Then why did Chu Ji divorce her? Shouldn't he hold on to Ru Xian like Ziohan did? This is where that guy's cleverness lies. He is much smarter than Ziohan. This is called retreating in order to advance," said Su Xin's mother. "Okay, you don't understand the situation at all. Everything is just your guess. You are simply judging others by your own standards," said Su Xin's father. "Humph, that guy is not a good guy anyway. Lu Feng is a serious young talent. Zinner, you can't let him go." "Mom, don't worry about my affairs. I'm leaving." Su Xin really couldn't understand her mother's train of thought. "If you don't provoke Chu Ji, he will come to the Su family, just kidding." 2 days passed. Chu Ji finally found a suitable house. It is not far from Jinghai University, and also not far from where Nanchu rents a house. The area is not large. Of course, this is relative to Su Xin's large flat. The actual area of this house is about 130 square meters, with 4 bedrooms, a kitchen and living room, and 3 bathrooms. The total amount is over 1 million. Chu Ji signed the contract with the landlord that day, and after all the procedures were completed, he called Nan Shu and Su Wan to tell them the news. Because it was second-hand, and the original landlord had done a good job of decorating it, Chu Ji felt that there was no need to renovate it, and it was still habitable. Chu Ji decided to move in recently. "I wanted to tell Su Xin as well, but I thought it would be better for me to go back and talk to him in person. Let's celebrate after I officially move in 2 days, Chu Ji said to Su Ruoxian beside him. Of course, Su Ruoxian had no objection. She felt that as long as she was with Chu Ji, she could do anything. After returning to his original house, Chu Ji packed up a bit, but there weren't many things left. Chu Zu actually has more things, so he cleaned it up. "I found a moving company." Chu Ji planned to move all of Chu Zu's things away first. The car arrived after a while. Chu Ji said to Su Ruoxian, "Wait for me at home, bring people up." Su Ruoxian nodded. She can still endure this short period of time. But after 5 minutes, Su Ruoxian discovered that Chu Ji had not returned yet. A suffocating feeling of abandonment enveloped her, and she became panic-stricken and anxious. She ran out the door in panic. She wanted to find Chu Ji. When she came downstairs, she heard a noisy quarrel. She walked out of the unit door. He actually saw his aunt, Su Xin's mother, insulting Chu Ji. "You little white face, you actually cheated our family's house. You said you were so capable, and my daughter still protected you. Bah, you are just a mud leg. You are not even as good as Zyro Han. Get out of my daughter's house immediately, 100,000. If Lu Feng hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known that my daughter would sell you the house for 100,000 yuan. Tell me what 100,000 yuan is enough for? You are a country bumpkin. You are disgusting. No matter how much others value you, I think you are just a pig with a green onion stuck in its nose. Why are you pretending to be so important?" Lu Feng beside him watched this scene with a smile. It was he who told Su Xin's mother that Su Xin sold the house for 100,000 yuan. As for the fact that the house was originally related to the Li family, he did not mention it at all about Su Xin asking Chu Ji for help. Chu Ji frowned and looked at Su Xin's mother and said, "Aunt, I think you misunderstood. Things are not as you said. I didn't intend to occupy the house here. Su Xin and I are just helping each other." Lu Feng stepped forward and grabbed Chu Ji by the collar and said, "You little jerk, don't think I don't know what you are thinking. Aren't you just relying on the fact that you saved Su Xin once and then asking for benefits from Su Xin? You are simply a sinister villain. You are exactly the same as Zyro Han, which is disgusting. Why are you wasting so much time talking to him? It's such a waste of time." Su Xin's mother actually swung the bag in her hand and hit Chu Ji on the head. "Stop!" Su Ruoxian shouted and rushed over here. But the bag still hit Chu Ji's forehead. Su Ruoxian's eyes suddenly turned red when she saw this. She rushed over and kicked Lu Feng on the waist, sending him flying. Then he suddenly looked at Su Xin's mother. Su Xin's mother met Su Ruoxian's eyes, and was so scared that she quickly stepped back and sat down on the ground. Su Ryukshuan ignored her and walked towards Lu Feng. He started punching and kicking Lu Feng. Lu Feng was beaten so hard that he kept begging for mercy and crying for his parents. The people watching nearby were shocked. At this time, Chu Ji stepped forward and hugged Su Ryukshuan. Only when Chu Ji held her in his arms did Su Ryukshuan regain clarity. Chu Ji looked at Su Zin's mother and said, "Aunt, you saw the two people next to you, right? I asked them to move. I have already bought a house and I am moving out now. Don't worry, I promise I won't take advantage of Su Zin at all." The two people from the moving company said, "We are indeed the ones hired by this gentleman to move." There was a red and swollen spot on Chu Ji's forehead, but it was not serious. As for Lu Feng, he probably has to go back and lie down for 2 days. Chu Ji originally wanted to tell Su Zin, but given the current situation, it would be better to just move out. In order to prevent Su Zin's mother from getting suspicious, he directly took out the contract, signed it, and said to Su Zin's mother, "I have prepared the contract, just ask Su Zin to sign it. From now on, the house here has nothing to do with me." Su Zin's mother looked at the contract in her hand, then watched the people from the moving company load all the things into the car, her face turning blue and red. It seems that Chu Ji really has no intention of occupying this place. Su Ryukshuan looked at Su Zin's mother and Lu Feng with cold eyes. Lu Feng was so scared that he didn't even dare to raise his head. He deliberately brought Su Zin's mother here when Su Zin was not here. But he didn't expect that instead of Su Zin, there was still Su Ryukshuan, which was a mistake. Chu Ji left after moving his things. He left quickly and decisively, and as for the house key, he gave it directly to Su Zin's mother. It shows that he has absolutely no intention of coveting the house. Just after Chu Ji drove away, Su Zin drove back in a hurry. Chapter 154, Do You Really Think I Have No Temper? Seeing her mother and Lu Feng, Su Zin felt a little shaky. "Why are you here? Who told you I live here?" Su Zin asked with red eyes. Su Zin's mother glanced at Lu Feng subconsciously. Su Zin looked at Lu Feng suddenly. "You actually investigated me." Lu Feng's eyes flickered. "Su Zin, I'm just afraid that you'll be cheated. Why are you meddling in other people's business? Who are you? Do I know you well?" Su Zin said coldly. Lu Feng looked a little embarrassed when he heard that. Su Zin continued, "Who do you think you are? I am willing to be deceived. What does it have to do with you? Don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Let me tell you, even if all the men in the world were dead, I wouldn't even look at you." Su Zin is still as sharp-tongued as ever. Lu Feng's face turned pale and blue. "What did you do to Chu Ji?" Su Zin looked at her mother. "How can you talk to me like that? Even if Chu Ji is not a liar, he is just a country bumpkin. Just leave." "Gone, you chased him away," Su Zin exclaimed. At this time, she saw the key in her mother's hand, which was the key to the house. Su Zin snatched the key and checked it carefully, her face as pale as paper. "He said he wanted to leave, I just hit him," said Su Zin's mother. "What, you hit him again?" Su Zin's voice trembled. At this time, someone nearby said, "Yeah, it's still 2 against 1. If no one helps, that person will be in big trouble." Su Zin's face turned pale, and she quickly took out her cell phone to call Chu Ji. But it was Su Ryukshuan who answered the phone. "Don't bother him anymore. He's busy moving now and has no time to talk to you." After the call was hung up, Su Zin stood there in a daze as if she was stupid. She looked up and glanced at Lu Feng with resentment. All this was instigated by this man. I was really too kind to him at the beginning. "Lu Feng, very good, very good. You have offended me this time. I will make it difficult for you to survive in Jinghai. Just wait and see." When the news reached Su's, Father Su was stunned for a long time. Su Zin's father closed his eyes in despair. Time and time again, it seems that the Su family and Chu Ji are really not destined to be together. When Su Zin's father saw Su Zin's mother, he just looked at her quietly without saying a word. At this moment, Su Zin's mother seemed to realize what a stupid thing she had done. The business world is like a battlefield. Our Su family may seem prosperous on the surface, but every step we take is full of undercurrents and crises. Do you know what having an excellent helmsman means to our Su family? In all these years, apart from the Zhu family, is there any aristocratic family that has existed for 100 years in Jinghai? Why? It is because there is a lack of a helmsman who can see a way out in the fog. Let's forget about Su Zi from our Su family, who has mediocre abilities. Ryu Xian is the most outstanding, but she still lives in fear every day and has to think twice before making every decision. Even so, Ryukshuan can only ensure that our Su family does not decline so quickly. Later, Chu Ji appeared. First, he brought the planning proposal, and then the current series of measures made our Su family prosper. Do you know what this means? This means that Chu Ji has the ability to be a helmsman. He is much better than Ryu Xian and is far better than your son. Our Su family tried every possible means to get Chu Ji to join us. Why? Isn't it for you and me, the Su family? What are you doing now? Tell me what you are doing. You have blocked such a talented person from entering the door. Our Su family finally managed to ease the relationship with him, but you ruined it. It's all ruined this time. You are disgusted with yourself for having such a good life, right? Su Zin's mother opened her mouth and said in a stammering voice. But Lu Feng said, Lu Feng, why does Lu Feng talk to you? What qualifications does he have to talk to you? Why do you believe him and not your son or your daughter? This time, Su Zin's mother remained silent. At the same time, in a corner of a bar, a person walked up to Lu Feng. It was Song Lang. Haha, you did a good job this time, Song Lang said. Thank you for the compliment, brother Song. You see, my mission is accomplished. What about this business? Don't worry, I'll leave it to you, Song Lang said. Haha, thank you, brother Song, Lu Feng laughed. Song Lang had a sarcastic smile on his face and said with disdain in his heart, I can give you the business, but can you still do this business if the Su family is targeting you? You are such an idiot. You didn't offend Chu Ji this time, but the entire Su family. Without the support of the Su family, you are nothing. At this time, Chu Ji packed up his things and took a shower, feeling refreshed all over. Okay, this will be our permanent home from now on, said Chu Ji. Su Ruoxian next to her said with sparkling eyes, Ours. Chu Ji looked around the house and nodded. This is the house that normal people live in. Su Zin's place is too spacious, and the bigger the house, the better. The original owner of this house decorated it in a Chinese style, and I believe my parents will like it too. After a while, Nan Shu, Su Wan, Su Jai, and others came. Congratulations to Chu Ji on his new home. After playing until midnight, Su Jai, Yu Xing, Zheng Tan, and others left first. Then Liu Jing took Li Qing, who was reluctant to leave, and left. In the end, only Su Wan and Nan Shu were left. Su Wan sat on the sofa and looked at Chu Ji and said, This time, Lu Feng made a bad move. The Su family has now completely ended their cooperation with the Lu family. Without the Su family, the probability of other companies in Jinghai cooperating with him would be much smaller. It's ridiculous that Lu Feng still thinks that his success is all due to himself, but he doesn't know that 90% of his customers are just for the Su family behind him. The Lu family is related to Su Zin's mother, so the Su family gave appropriate support to the Lu family. But after this incident, the Su family no longer has any affection for the Lu family. Su Zi, in particular, was very angry that Lu Feng used his mother as a tool. He publicly stated that he had ended his cooperation with the Lu family, and the Lu family would probably be very sad in the future. Chu Ji's eyes were deep, and no one knew what he was thinking at this moment. Even Su Wan suddenly realized that she seemed to be unable to understand Chu Ji. Chu Ji looked at Su Wan and Nan Shu and said, One of our junior students once proposed an idea. What? He's talking about the cross-border trade platform. Su Wan was stunned for a moment. You also want to do foreign trade. Is it not possible? Our game users now number in the hundreds of millions, so it's not difficult to promote our platform software. Since foreign trade makes a lot of money, why don't I give it a try? Chu Ji said in a gloomy tone. Not only does he want to give it a try, he also wants to take control of the entire Jinghai's foreign trade in his own hands. He can cooperate with the Su family and the Qin family. Since he has the resources, why not use them? Do it as you think. Chu Ji stood up and walked towards the study. Do you really think he has no temper? He wants to let Lu Feng know what it means to be desperate. Chapter 155, Sharpening the Knife. Su Wan and Nan Shu looked at each other. Have you noticed that Aj seems to have become more domineering than before? Nan Shu said. Indeed, he used to do business in a quiet and an active way, but now he is in urgent need of success and achievements, so he has become more skilled and domineering. Su Wan suddenly smiled. This is the most perfect Chu Ji in my heart. He used to live cautiously, but now it's time for some changes. Nan Shu's expression also became serious. Since he wants to succeed, we must push him to that position even if we die of exhaustion. Su Ruoxian, who had been silent, said, Push. How come you don't know that he is the one pulling you? Just don't hold him back. Chu Ji personally promoted this matter and set up a foreign trade department in the game company. Everything was going on in an orderly manner. He gave this foreign trade department a name, Hari Baba. On the day of the Lantern Festival, Chu Ji had already built the skeleton of the company. Just after the Lantern Festival, Chu Ji suddenly received a call from Li Qing. We just contacted Director Feng. He said that he gave that work to someone else, and I'm afraid he can't cooperate with us anymore, Li Qing said anxiously. Chu Ji narrowed his eyes slightly. No hurry, tell me in detail. After a while, Chu Ji whispered, Li family, Song Lang. Tisk, Song Lang suffered a setback at the Su family, so now he turns his attention to the Li family. Chu Ji chuckled. Oh, why are you still laughing? We will suffer a great loss if we lose this opportunity, Li Qing said anxiously. Chu Ji said, I will go to find Director Feng myself. Chu Ji went directly to Director Feng's office. Director Feng looked at Chu Ji and asked helplessly, Did you receive the message? Chu Ji said, I received the message. I won't ask the reason. I guess Director Feng has your own difficulties. Director Feng looked at Chu Ji with some surprise when he heard this. He thought about many things that would happen when he met Chu Ji. But I never expected this to be the case. I'm here to look for Director Feng to work with me. Of course, this is not about the script you mentioned, Chu Ji said. Tell me what you want, I'll help if I can. Chu Ji said, You have read the script of the movie that Xiao Han filmed, right? Yes, that script is good, I like it very much, but it was changed beyond recognition by Xiao Han, and the core values are gone. Why did you think of telling me this? As long as I get your permission, I just want to borrow your name for this cooperation. My name. I plan to reshoot this movie. Although Director Feng cannot direct it personally, I would like to put your name on it. I can only give you a guidance title. Director Guidance? Director Feng hesitated for a moment, then raised his head and pointed at Chu Ji speechlessly, saying, You kid, you always come up with unique ideas. Chu Ji said, Of course, I will give you a share, but not as much as the director. Okay, I agree. It was my fault in the first place. Don't worry, I won't just risk my life for this guidance. I will come and give guidance in person when there is a chance. Chu Ji and Director Feng shook hands cordially. Watching Chu Ji leave, Director Feng sighed. This is a man who is capable of great things. When he encounters a problem, the first thing he thinks of is a solution, not blaming others. Chu Ji went straight back to the entertainment company. Liu Jing and Li Qing came over. They have been preparing for the filming of this movie for a long time. If Director Feng doesn't come, all their pre-production work will be in vain. How's it going? Has Director Feng changed his mind? Chu Ji said, I didn't ask Director Feng to change his mind, did I? Then what should we do? Li Qing asked. Of course we are going to shoot a movie too, but it's not going to be based on Director Feng's script. We are going to reshoot the one that Xiao Han originally shot, Chu Ji said. Li Qing and others were stunned when they heard this. Chu Ji said, That's a campus drama. It doesn't require much investment. It's very suitable for us. And aren't we going to use students from Jinghai University's acting major? We might as well arrange the filming location at Jinghai University, so that students from the Department of Performance can film without leaving the campus. Liu Jing, who was standing next to him, glanced at Chu Ji and said, Chu Ji, you are really smart. You have waived the venue fee and even the students in the acting department don't have to pay for the performance. You have really calculated everything. Li Qing twisted Chu Ji's arm in annoyance. Why didn't you say you had a solution earlier? You made me worry for so long. Chu Ji laughed and said, We still have to pay the performance fee. We can't let the juniors work for nothing. Things were settled, and the entertainment company began to work in an orderly manner. Li Qing and Liu Jing went to the school in person to discuss the matter. They are already the celebrities in the school, and both teachers and students respect them. The discussion went smoothly, and Li Qing decided to go all out and let your own mentor direct the movie. Li Qing's instructor readily agreed. It is an opportunity not easy to find to be able to direct the event personally and let the students experience it for themselves. Liu Jing next to her was shocked. How could this be done? This Li Qing was no ordinary person. She had some of Chu Ji's style. The remaining burden falls on Liu Jing, who has to find the most suitable music for the film in the shortest time possible. Just when Chu Ji was preparing in full swing. At the Li family, Li Yao and Song Lang were depressed. They thought they would see Chu Ji run into a wall and then beg for help from everyone. Even Li Yao imagined the scene where Chu Ji would come to her and beg her for help. I have rehearsed in my mind more than once how to mock Chu Ji. But now it's good. The other party didn't seem to care about this matter, as if it had never happened. Their entertainment company is clearly preparing for the filming. But what's the point of preparing all those things without a script? Li Yao didn't get the results she wanted, which made her a little crazy. Send someone to keep an eye on Chu Ji and see what tricks he is up to, Li Yao said to the person next to him. Song Lang frowned and looked at Li Yao, wanting to say something but didn't open his mouth. he found that Li Yao paid too much attention to Chu Ji. What was Chu Ji doing? He didn't take the movie as anything important at all. The script is there and it's excellent. We have a director and he's a university professor. Isn't that excellent? We have the actors and they are students themselves, so they don't even need to act like themselves. They can just play themselves. Li Qing and Liu Jing are both very capable and can take care of all aspects. Why do you still worry about those things? He now puts all his energy into the trading platform. As the advertisements were released, more and more people began to use their trading platform. He has been visiting Su and Qin these days, and they have given him some marginal trade that they don't take care of, which is enough for him to be busy. Some people said why he is now asking the Su family and the Qin family for help. Only a fool would not use the resources. Chu Ji has never been a fool. He found it troublesome before, and he still feels the same now. Cooperating with the Qin and Su companies can save him from a lot of trouble. Even if he has no relationship with the Su and Qin families, he will find ways to contact them. Isn't this the so-called running business? At this time, Lu Feng didn't know that Chu Ji was already sharpening his knife for him. Chapter 156, Chu Ji's Chain. This was Chu Ji's all-round encirclement and suppression of Lu Feng. Lu Feng is now extremely worried, because he found that he can't rent a boat. Song Lang set a time limit for his business. If the goods could not be loaded on board on time, their cooperation would be invalid. At this time, a man walked into the office. "Boss, it still doesn't work. Most of the cargo ships that cooperated with us before were related to the Su family. They are not accepting our business now, and those who have any connection with Qin's company are not accepting our business either." Lu Feng slapped the table. The face is distorted. At this time, a middle-aged man pushed open the door and walked in. Seeing the person coming, Lu Feng was slightly stunned and asked, "Dad." Pa Lu Feng's father slapped Lu Feng on the head. "If your mother hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known that you had done such a big thing behind my back. Who do you think is responsible for our Lu family getting to this point? Is it me or you? It's the Su family. We got to where we are now thanks to the Su family. Now tell me what you did. You offended the Su family for a little bit of profit. I have seen stupid people, but I have never seen anyone as stupid as you. What, do you think you can rival the Su family after making this big deal and don't need their help? You idiot." Lu Feng was a little confused, and then he said, "What Su family? My company earns tens of millions a year because of my own hard work. What does it have to do with the Su family?" Lu Feng's father almost laughed out of anger when he heard this. "Your efforts are great. Now please give me some effort. You signed a contract with them. The goods cannot be delivered to Europe in time. Do you know how much the compensation is? Even if we sell all the Lu family's goods, it won't be enough, you idiot." Lu Feng's face turned pale. He picked up the phone and called his former partners and friends. But either the call couldn't get through, or they just said a few perfunctory words without saying anything substantive. Lu Feng sat down on the chair dejectedly. Lu Feng's father snorted coldly and walked out of the house. He still had to go to the Su family to apologize. Considering their past friendship, they could let them go. Lu Feng walked out of the office in a daze. The employees outside the office looked at him strangely. The news that Lu Feng led people to beat Chu Ji was widely spread. Because of Chu Ji's identity, not only did he handle Su's affairs on behalf of Su Ruoxuan, but his relationship with Su Ruoxuan was also talked about by people. So Chu Ji is also considered a celebrity. Naturally, many people paid attention to him. The news that Lu Feng beat Chu Ji out of jealousy, and then was beaten by Su Ruoxuan had already spread. What do you think the boss is thinking? That's right, the Su family has been offended immediately. What kind of family is the Su family? Could it be that they can't see that he is using people as pawns? I heard that Chu Ji never went to work at the Su building again, and a lot of problems happened at the Su building in just a few days. Now the Su family hates their boss so much that they have lost an excellent future president. Lu Feng left his office and drove to the vicinity of Chu Ji's company. He sat in the car and watched Chu Ji and a woman come out talking and laughing. That woman was neither Su Ruoxuan nor Su Zin, but it was a beauty he had never seen before, wearing glasses, intellectual and charming. Tusk, senior sister, it's a shame to only give you 10% of the shares given your ability. What, do you feel guilty? Liu Jing said. No, I'm just afraid that you'll be snatched away by someone else. Liu Jing raised the corners of her mouth and said coquettishly, I'm glad you know. Then tie me up tightly so that no one can miss me. Senior sister, you are joking. I want to tie you up tightly. Senior sister, you have to let me, right? I didn't say no, why don't you try it? How do you like it tied? Chu coughed. I haven't studied this before. I'll talk about it after I've studied it. Tusk, Liu Jing covered her mouth and laughed secretly. Okay, I'll wait for you. I'll give you a test myself. Okay, no, what I mean is, you go and do your work. I want to go take a look at the factory, Chu Ji said with a blushing face. Liu Jing covered her mouth and laughed, then waved and walked towards her car. Chu Ji walked to the side. Su Ruoxuan was still waiting in the car. Chu Ji did not see a car rushing towards his position. Liu Jing's attention had actually always been on Chu Ji, and she was the first to notice something was wrong. Her face turned pale and she said sternly, Chu Ji, be careful. Chu Ji looked up suddenly and saw a car coming towards him at a very fast speed. He also saw Lu Feng's distorted face in the cab. Just then there was a loud bang. A truck hit the car. Lu Feng's car was knocked over. The truck driver got out of the truck and touched his head. Damn, do you know how to drive? How could such a fucking accident happen? The truck driver was driving normally. Lu Feng was trying to cross the sidewalk diagonally to hit Chu Ji. The truck driver was badly cheated by Lu Feng this time. The driver called the police. At this moment, Liu Jing ran over and hugged Chu Ji. Are you okay? You scared me to death. Chu Ji said, I'm fine. Liu Jing hugged him, her body shaking a little. Chu Ji was a little embarrassed. The fullness of Liu Jing's chest made it difficult for him to breathe. He looked in Su Ruoxuan's direction. Seeing that Su Ruoxuan had already gotten out of the car, she held onto the door and fell softly to the ground. Chu Ji ran over quickly. This time it was Su Ruoxuan who hugged Chu Ji. She felt her heart stop beating after what she saw just now. Fortunately, Chu Ji was fine. That person did it on purpose, Liu Jing said. I know that's Lu Feng, he's desperate. Chu Ji's eyes were gloomy. He still underestimated the evil in people's hearts. Chu Ji looked in the direction of Lu Feng. He was seen being pulled from the car by paramedics. His entire legs and feet have been deformed, and I don't know if he can be saved. However, seeing that the other party still had the energy to give him that resentful look, there was a high probability that he would not die. Since you can't die, then just beat yourself to death. Chu Ji's eyes became dangerous, an emotion he had never experienced before. Chu Ji took Su Ruoxuan home. He stayed at home for 3 days and didn't go out. The others were inevitably a little worried. Nanshu and Su Wan both came over but were turned away. On the morning of the 4th day, Chu Ji went to work as usual. But Nanshu felt that Chu Ji had changed. He was still the same person, but his temperament had completely changed. From the previous sunny and cheerful atmosphere, it has become like a deep abyss, with the aura of a tiger. He still had a smile on his face, seemingly the same as usual, but she could not detect Chu Ji's thoughts. I guess even Chu Ji himself doesn't know that after this incident, he is no longer the simple-minded person he used to be. Chapter 157, Why do you think so? Nanshu looked at Su Wan. Do you feel it? Su Wan said, Of course, but this is the quality that a strong person should have. In Jinghai, where people eat each other, people who are too simple and kind will not live long. Chu Ji still goes to get off work every day and seems to have returned to normal. But no one knew that the Jinghai Lu family had disappeared from Jinghai. Originally, Lu Feng's father went to the Su family in person to plead for mercy, and the Su family slightly relented. But after this incident, the Su family immediately cut off ties with the Lu family. Without waiting for the Su family to take action, Chu Ji began to seize the Lu family's business in all aspects. The Lu family is not a big family, but that is relative to the Su family. To ordinary people, the Lu family is still a large family with assets worth billions. He also owns a lot of industries. By the time someone noticed something was wrong, Chu Ji had almost taken over the Lu family. Chu Ji sat in front of Lu Feng at this time, and Lu Feng was still sitting in a wheelchair. This is the office of Lu Feng's foreign trade company. This is also Chu Ji's last stop. He's going to take back this trading company today. He waved to the side, and one of Lu Feng's former assistants immediately came forward and placed a contract in front of Lu Feng. Lu Feng looked at the woman who had flirted with him and stood respectfully behind Chu Ji. Chu Ji looked at Lu Feng and said, I estimated that your company is worth 1 million. This price should be the most reasonable. Of course, you don't have to sell it to me, but other people will probably only pay a few 100,000. Lu Feng looked at Chu Ji opposite him with a resentful look and said with gritted teeth, I would never sell it to you even if I sold it to a dog. 1 million, how would you give it to a beggar? This trading company is very large. An annual income of tens of millions is an exaggeration, but it is still close to 10 million. Chu Ji nodded and said, "Okay, assistant, shave that part off of him." The assistant quickly took out another contract. "Except for your share, your company is worth at most $600,000. I've already paid for it, and now I'm the boss here. Lu Feng, I am telling you now as your boss that after discussing with several other shareholders, our unanimous decision is that you are fired." Upon hearing this, Lu Feng's eyes turned red and he wished he could eat Chu Ji. Chu Ji said indifferently, "I'll give you time to complete the handover. 1 day, you only have 1 day, that's it." Then Chu Ji looked at the assistant beside him and said, "Notify all members that we are going to have a meeting." Chu Ji stood up and walked to the door. He turned to look at Lu Feng and said, "Oh, you don't have to participate." Chu Ji walked out. Less than 5 minutes into the meeting, a man ran into the conference room. "Boss," Lu Feng fell down the stairs. "Oh, how could you be so careless? Did you call the police?" Chu Ji looked surprised. "I have reported it." "That's good, let the paramedics handle it and don't touch him," Chu Ji said playfully. The ambulance came and took the person away. However, he died before reaching the hospital. When Chu Ji got the news, his eyes narrowed slightly. He lay down in the boss chair and turned his head to look out the window. No one knew what he was thinking. At this time, the Li family, Li Yao, also got the news. She sneered at this time and said, "Chu Ji, you have learned to be cruel and ruthless." Song Lang narrowed his eyes as he looked at Lu Yao, who was sitting behind the desk and dressed beautifully. "Yao, are you paying too much attention to him? HMPH, he has caused my brother to be afraid to return to the country. I wish he could kneel in front of me right now," Li Yao said, gritting her teeth. Then she looked at Song Lang and asked, "How's the movie going?" Song Lang smiled and said, "Director Feng will be here tomorrow. I believe that after this shoot, my popularity will definitely increase." Li Yao frowned and looked at Song Lang. "You should learn from Chu Ji and stop wasting your time on this kind of thing. Can you still be an artist for the rest of your life? A man should have his own career instead of being a showman who attracts attention." Song Lang's face turned ugly when he heard this. Li Yao didn't care but asked, "How are you managing the 2 companies given to you?" Song Lang said, "Don't worry, I can easily handle the 2 companies." Li Yao nodded. After all, she was a member of the Song family, so she shouldn't be unable to manage 2 small companies. "When we have time, I think we should go back to Lingcheng to meet your family. You have always been with me, and I must give an explanation to your family." Li Yao looked at Song Lang with a hint of tenderness. Song Lang's face froze. "There's no rush. I'll take you back when the opportunity is right." Li Yao said, "Then you better hurry up. I am very traditional. I believe in the parents' orders and the matchmaker's words. Our marriage should also be blessed by each other's parents." Song Lang smiled, but it was a little forced. Suddenly, Song Lang loosened his collar and said to Li Yao, "I'm going to the bathroom." Li Yao didn't care. Song Lang came to the bathroom and immediately locked the door in panic. Then he tremblingly took out a syringe with a clear liquid in it from his pocket. He took off his coat, exposing his arm, and inserted the needle. Then a look of relief appeared on his face. Just when Song Lang was enjoying it, someone came in from outside and placed 2 reports on Li Yao's desk. "Mr. Li, here are the recent revenue reports of the 2 companies managed by Manager Song that you requested." Li Yao took the report and took a look at it, then frowned. "Is the report accurate?" "Yes, we have counted it repeatedly, and there is no problem," said the visitor. Li Yao's face turned ugly. "This shouldn't be the case. Both companies are developing very well. How come their revenue has dropped so much compared to the same period?" Li Yao wondered. At this time, there was a noise from the toilet. Li Yao said to the person who came, "You go out first." The man left. Li Yao put the report in the drawer. At this time, Song Lang walked in. Li Yao said nonchalantly, "Director Feng is a famous director and has great prestige in the entertainment industry. You should build a good relationship with Director Feng. Maybe we will have many opportunities to cooperate with him. If you can bring Director Feng into our company, it would be even better." Song Lang said, "Okay, leave it to me. I will try my best to get Director Feng to join us." Li Yao nodded. "Well, Director Feng will be here tomorrow. You go to the entertainment company to take a look and see if there is anything that is not prepared. You have to supervise it." Song Lang was stunned and said, "Yao, I want to accompany you more." Li Yao stood up and touched Song Lang's face. She liked this handsome face very much. Of course, it would be even better if it was Chu Ji. Li Yao was shocked. Why would she think so? Chapter 158, Never Trusted. "Go ahead and don't let anything go wrong this time," Li Yao said. Song Lang had no choice but to leave and go to the entertainment company. After Song Lang left, Li Yao pressed the phone on the table and said, "Arrange a car and go out with me." Li Yao took his people away. Soon the door opened again. Song Lang walked in quietly and came to Li Yao's desk and looked through something carefully. Then he opened the drawer of Li Yao's desk. "I saw those 2 reports." Song Lang looked at the 2 reports with a gloomy expression. "That damn bitch actually investigated me. It turns out she never trusted me at all." Song Lang's face twisted. Then he sneered. "I wanted to take it slow and conquer you slowly, but since you don't appreciate it, don't blame me for using some tricks." Song Lang put the report back, turned around and left. At this time, Li Yao brought people to a company under the jurisdiction of Song Lang. When he came out, his face was as gloomy as water. She said nothing and rushed to another company again. Then she gave up completely. Li Yao's assistant said, "Boss Li, Manager Song doesn't seem to know much about how to run a company." Because of Song Lang's big mouth, everyone knows that Song Lang is the son of the Song family in Lingcheng. He also owns 3 companies and earns hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Everyone felt that just 2 companies were no problem at all for Song Lang. But now it seems that is not the case. Li Yao's face was gloomy, and then he said, "Don't make this matter public for now, understand?" "Okay, Mr. Li," the assistant agreed quickly. Li Yao looked solemn. She really likes Song Lang. "I like Song Lang's appearance, I like Song Lang's romance, and I like his inspiration." Especially when she learned that Song Lang was not only a well-known artist, but also a member of the Song family. She became curious about Song Lang. Filming is also a chore. While managing 3 companies, Song Lang still finds time to film. Li Yao found this very inspiring, so she had a good impression of him and unconsciously wanted to get close to him. But now she felt that the filter in front of her eyes had disappeared. Song Lang seems to be no different, but she was unwilling to give up Song Lang just because of this. He may still be worrying about his company in Lingcheng and really has no time to manage things here. "Maybe I'm pushing him too hard." Li Yao found an excuse for him. When they returned to the company headquarters, Song Lang came up to them and said, "Yaya, where have you been? I missed you when I didn't see you for a while. Is there no problem with the entertainment company?" "No, I checked." Li Yao nodded. "That's good." At this time, Song Lang said, "Yaya, Director Feng will come over tomorrow. After I get familiar with the process, I want to treat Director Feng to a meal. You can come too." Li Yao looked at Song Lang's expectant eyes and said, "Okay." Song Lang's eyes flickered, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. After walking 2 steps, Li Yao suddenly said, "Why don't we ask Chu Ji to come over as well?" Song Lang asked, "Why?" Li Yao sneered and said, "I want to see with my own eyes how he will react if I steal his script and his director. I won't invite him directly. You can ask Director Feng to invite him over." Song Lang smiled and said, "Okay, I also want to see what his expression will be when the duck flies away from his mouth. Just thinking about it makes me feel relieved, ha ha ha." "Achoo," Chuji sneezed. He looked at Su Ruoxian next to him and said, "Ruoxian, when are you going to work at Su's?" Su Ruoxian asked, "Are you chasing me away?" "No, it's not like that. I'm so happy to have a beautiful woman accompany me every day. But it's not a big deal for you to follow me like this, right?" Chuji's home. Chuji looked at Su Ruoxian with a twinkling eye. Now Chuji feels that these days, Su Ruoxian is able to leave him for longer and longer periods of time. 50 minutes from that meeting. By this afternoon, Chuji felt that Su Ruoxian should have recovered. "Then shouldn't you be happy that I'm not leaving?" Su Ruoxian said. "Okay, you can go back whenever you want," Chuji said. A smile appeared on Su Ruoxian's face. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Chuji opened the door, and Su Wan and Nan Shu came. They were all holding vegetables in their hands, and Nan Shu was even holding a bundle of beer. Chuji raised his eyebrows. "Is today a special day?" "Isn't this to celebrate my sister's recovery?" Su Wan said. Su Ruoxian glanced at Su Wan coldly. "Are you reminding me?" The 2 people were on the verge of a fight in an instant. Su Zin also came over, but Su Zin looked apologetic when facing Chu Ji. Her mother's behavior made her unable to face Chu Ji. Of course, Chu Ji would not vent his anger on Su Zin for this. He teased, "Why does it feel like Su Zin is much more reserved?" You know what? A reserved Su Zin is still very attractive. Su Zin blushed instantly when she heard this, and then, ignoring the murderous looks from the women around her, she hugged Chu Ji and said, "I'm sorry." Chu Ji patted her on the back and said, "It's okay. It's human nature. Parents all want their children to live a good life. I am indeed from the countryside. Isn't it normal for Aunt to have doubts?" Su Ruoxian stepped forward and pulled Su Zin off Chu Ji. then blocked Chu Ji behind her and said, "Stay away from him." Su Ruoxuan seemed to have always been at odds with Su Zin, and when her condition was serious, she chased Su Zin and beat her. It's a little better now that I didn't get started right away. This is great progress. Nan Shu looked at the three sisters of the Su family standing next to Chu Ji and felt that they were a good match for Chu Ji. For no reason, she felt a little inferior, but she immediately discarded this idea because she was already clear about her position, which was Chu Ji's retreat. Even if no one in the world wants Chu Ji anymore, she will still want him to love him. Chu Ji has not forgotten Nan Shu. He took the things from her hand and said, "Come on, come with me to the kitchen to help." Nan Shu's face suddenly brightened up. "I can too." The three sisters of the Su family spoke at the same time. Chu Ji said, "I only trust Nan Shu in this regard." Nan Shu's eyes became bright, and she happily followed Chu Ji to the kitchen. Nan Shu knew that she would always be the most trusted person in Chu Ji's heart. That's enough. At this time, the Su family, Su Zi is reporting what's happening in the group to his father. Su Zi is very busy these days because Chu Ji is not coming, but it is difficult to find someone to replace him. Besides, Ruoxuan's condition has improved, and she will probably be able to go back to work soon, so there is no need for that. So the recent burden falls on Su Zi. As for Su Pin, he was completely abandoned. "Uncle, I am really powerless regarding the company's affairs in Southeast Asia. Many things there were originally handled by Chu Ji himself, but those things are difficult for me to understand, let alone implement. Father Su was helpless. Let Ruoxian come back as soon as possible." At this time, Su Zi's father looked embarrassed. Chuz should bear a great responsibility for leaving his wife. If that incident had not happened, the Su family's losses there would not have been so great. Chapter 159, Seeing Cairo May Again. Su Zi returned home and saw his mother sighing silently. Seeing this, Su Zin's mother hesitated to speak. Only now did she realize that Chu Ji was so capable. Even her own son could not understand those plans, which showed that Chu Ji was truly talented. He is not at all the country bumpkin that Lu Feng described, who knows nothing and can only show off. But she seemed to understand it a little late. But how could she have imagined that Lu Feng, whom she had almost watched grow up, would deceive her and use her? Su Zin's father looked at his wife and said, "Ah, are you satisfied now?" The Su family saw the opportunity to take off Dai. According to Chu Ji's prediction, we will be able to occupy the entire Southeast Asian market within 3 years. But with Chu Ji's departure, this project will be postponed for at least 2 years. 2 years, after 2 years, the opportunity will be gone. Su Zin's mother didn't say anything. Su Zi said, "Dad, don't talk about this. In the end, it is Lu Feng who is the weird one, who would have thought that someone who usually looks so smart would be so stupid. He actually attacked Chu Ji and almost let him succeed. How could it be possible to hide the fact that Lu Feng hit Chu Ji with his car? Now that the Lu family has gone bankrupt, there will probably be no so-called Lu family in Jinghai in the future. Not to mention Su Zin's mother's regret." The next day, Chu Ji received a call from Director Feng, saying that there was a banquet in the evening and he wanted to invite Chu Ji to attend. Chu Ji did not doubt him. Besides, he still needed to cooperate with Director Feng, so he had to give Director Feng face. "Director Feng asked you to attend the banquet." Li Qing was puzzled. If it was about their movie, they should have received a notification. Chu Ji's eyes flickered as he said, "I don't think this is what Director Feng meant. Director Feng has just vaguely pointed out that this banquet was hosted by the Li family. The Li family is trying to show off in front of me. If we don't go, why should we endure their anger?" Li Qing immediately said dissatisfiedly. Chu Ji shook his head and said, "I still have to go. The Li family targeting me is the Li family's business, but Director Feng is still good to us. If I don't go, Director Feng won't say anything. But if I go, do you think Director Feng will take better care of us in the future?" Liu Jing next to him said, "Indeed, Director Feng is not a fool. He naturally knows the Li family's little tricks. The Li family's actions will only make Director Feng dissatisfied." Chu Ji said, "So I must go this time." Li Qing said, "I'll go with you." "No, I can go by myself. The Li family is targeting me. Why do you want to suffer this?" Chu Ji looked at Su Ruoxian, who was standing beside him, and said, "And Ruoxian, you don't have to go this time either." Su Ruoxian frowned. Chu Ji said, "I will take you back to the company today. I will pick you up at noon. We will have dinner and then you can go back to the company. You can go home by yourself in the evening, okay?" Su Ruoxian looked at Chu Ji. How could she bear it when he spoke to her so gently? She could have lasted a whole day. but now she felt she couldn't even last 5 minutes without looking at him. Okay, she couldn't bring herself to reject Chu Ji. Chu Ji touched Su Ryukshuan's head as if he was touching a child. This made Su Ryukshuan a little embarrassed and annoyed. Let's talk about it when we get back. Chu Ji's body stiffened. He forgot that Su Ryukshuan just had mental problems, not stupid. She was still herself. It's just that she has been acting like a child without her own opinion recently, causing him to forget Su Ryukshuan's true identity for a moment. This is a strong woman, the real president of Su Corporation. Seeing Chu Ji being humiliated, Li Qing and Liu Jing beside him laughed secretly. Chu Ji brought Su Ryukshuan to the company. At Su Ryukshuan's request, Chu Ji sent her to the office again before leaving. Su Ji also breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Su Ryukshuan coming back to work. Su Ryukshuan sat in her seat and frowned as she looked at the document in front of her. She felt unable to concentrate, and her mind was full of Chu Ji. But she also knew that this was wrong, so she forced herself to focus on the documents. She only processed 5 documents in the morning. The whole person became extremely anxious. The secretary standing beside him was trembling with fear. Fortunately, Chu Ji arrived in time at noon, and the anxiety between Su Ryukshuan's brows receded like the tide. Chu Ji said, "Not bad, you actually processed so many files." These words gave Su Ryukshuan great confidence. She processed 10 documents in the afternoon. Although it was less than half of what she had done before, it was still a big improvement. After finishing work, Su Ryukshuan immediately drove to Chu Ji's house. At this time, Chu Ji also came to the banquet hosted by the Li family. When he arrived at the banquet venue, he saw an unexpected person. "Cairo Mei, Miss Cairo, you are here too," Chu Ji said to Cairo Mei, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Cairo Mei said at this time, "The Li family is going to invite me to be Song Lang's assistant." Chu Ji frowned. "You agreed?" Cairo Mei said, "Do you think I would agree? I just came here to join in the fun for the sake of face." Xiao Han was imprisoned, and his company was naturally disbanded. As Xiao Han's assistant, Cairo Mei naturally lost her job. The reason why Xiao Han was able to become relatively famous among second-rate artists was because of Cairo Mei. Otherwise, with his plastic surgery face, rubbish acting skills, and arrogant attitude, how could he become a well-known artist? If Xiao Han relies on himself, he would be lucky enough to survive in the entertainment industry. So putting aside Cairo Mei's character, her abilities are really good. Li Yao appreciated this very much, so she invited her. Chu Ji said, "Are you interested in coming to my place?" "Okay, you said it, don't go back on your word." Cairo Mei agreed without even thinking about it. Chu Ji touched his chin and said, "You are not coming to this party just because I am coming, right?" Cairo Mei chuckled like a seductive fox. "You really guessed it right. I will take over now. From now on, I will be your personal assistant all round. Just tell me what you need me to do." Cairo Mei leaned close to Chu Ji's ear and said something meaningful. Chu Ji got goosebumps. "I'm not Xiao Han." Cairo Mei rolled her eyes. "It would be great if you were like Xiao Han," Cairo Mei murmured. I don't know what she was thinking about, but her face flushed charmingly. At this time, not far away, Song Lang and Li Yao looked at Cairo Mei with an unhappy expression as she was talking and laughing with Chu Ji. Especially Song Lang. He had just used all his charm to get Cairo Mei to be his assistant. In his opinion, no matter his background, appearance, talent, or status in the entertainment industry, Xiao Han could compare to him. If I invite her, I'm sure she won't refuse. But when Cairo Mei was talking to him just now, she avoided the question. There was no definite intention to follow him. Song Lang originally thought that Cairo Mei was being coquettish until Chu Ji appeared. He felt something was wrong when Cairo Mei walked towards Chu Ji without hesitation. Chapter 160, let him recognize the gap. Li Yao glanced at Song Lang and said, "Go and listen to what they are saying." Cairo Mei has been in the entertainment industry for a long time and was able to support that loser Xiao Han to become a famous artist. This shows that this woman is very capable. You are missing such a person by your side. With him, your future development will definitely be smooth sailing. Li Yao doesn't like Xiao Han, but she really admires Cairo Mei. Especially after knowing what kind of person Xiao Han was, she admired Cairo Mei even more. Such a person can actually support that kind of trash. This ability is extraordinary. This is a talented person, and Li Yao feels that he must grasp him in his own hands. Song Lang picked up a goblet and walked towards Cairo Mei and Chu Ji. Chu Ji also saw Song Lang approaching and generously extended his hand to Song Lang and said, "Mr. Song, we meet again." Song Lang sneered and ignored Chu Ji's outstretched hand. Yes, we meet again. Chu Ji, what do you think when you see Director Feng here with me? Song Lang looked at Chu Ji provocatively. At the same time, this sentence was also said to Cairo Mei. Even someone like Director Feng chooses to work with him, Song Lang instead of Chu Ji. I believe anyone can see the gap between them. In Song Lang's opinion, Chu Ji is always a country bumpkin who is not worthy of being on the stage. Chu Ji didn't care about Song Lang's ignoring him. He withdrew his hand naturally and didn't feel embarrassed about it, because he had already expected this situation. I congratulate you for coming here. This is the second time Director Feng has worked with you. I hope you can perform Director Feng's work perfectly. Song Lang's face looked unhappy. Are you preaching to me? Chu Ji was startled and said, you can understand it that way. Song Lang's expression changed suddenly. Do you have the qualifications? Chu Ji said, I can't control you, I'm just expressing my opinion, haha, Mr. Song, come on. Chu Ji walked to the side. Cairo Mei smiled brightly. She didn't expect Chu Ji to have such a dark side. Seeing Chu Ji walking away, she hurriedly took steps and twisted her waist to catch up with him. Song Lang's cheek twitched, and he said to Cairo Mei, Miss Cairo, I don't know what you think of my proposal just now, but don't worry about the treatment. It will definitely not be worse than what you had before. Cairo Mei turned her head and looked at Song Lang with a playful look in her eyes. Song Lang continued, Miss Cairo, Director Feng is now cooperating with our league group. I believe Miss Cairo knows who will have a better future. Miss Cairo, opportunities don't always come. I hope you'll think it over before answering. Cairo Mei smiled and said, Manager Song, I have already discussed this with President Chu. From now on, I will become President Chu's assistant. I will not consider this for Manager Song. Song Lang's already ugly face turned ashen when he heard this. Ms. Cairo, you must have heard a saying that choice is more important than hard work. I hope Miss Cairo will think twice. Cairo Mei chuckled and said, I know this very well, so I chose Mr. Chu's right. Song Lang's fingers holding the wine glass turned white, and he looked at Cairo Mei, who had turned around with some resentment in his eyes. Cairo Mei snorted coldly. She would have to be stupid to be an assistant to someone suspected of drug involvement. At this time, not far away, Li Yao was watching this scene quietly. She saw Chu Ji extending his hand to greet Song Ji. Song Lang ignored Chu Ji, but this made Song Lang seem very narrow-minded and cheap. At this time, a woman walked up to Li Yao and said, Yi Yao, are you really going to marry this Song Lang? Li Yao narrowed her eyes slightly. Yi Yao, Song Lang is not bad. He has a good family background and good looks, but why do I feel like he is always lacking something compared to Chu Ji? Mana, Li Yao said. Yes, it's just that they lack magnanimity. Song Lang's magnanimity is far inferior to Chu Ji's, said the woman, who is also Li Yao's best friend. Li Yao's eyes darkened slightly. I didn't feel anything before, because all the young men she had met before were not as good as Song Lang. Su Zi from the Su family and Qin Lang from the Qin family are both rare talents, but they are still inferior to Song Lang. Not to mention Xiao Han, who she thought was a bad person from the beginning. But at this moment, Song Lang and Chu Ji stood together, and she had to admit that Chu Ji's entire demeanor completely crushed Song Lang. Both of them look similar, and there is no question of who is more handsome. But Chu Ji's temperament, that elegant yet domineering temperament, really made her eyes light up. Li Yao looked towards Song Lang and saw his distorted face. Li Yao shook her head. She felt that Song Lang was becoming more and more narrow-minded and lacked vision. For some reason, Song Lang no longer made her feel excited at this moment. The qualities that I used to think of him as being able to endure hardships, having a broad mind, being decisive, and being humble, have all disappeared at this moment, especially compared with Chu Ji. It seems not only narrow-minded but also a bit vulgar. What's wrong? Did you fail? Li Yao came in front of Song Lang. Song Lang didn't notice that Li Yao's gaze towards him had become much colder than before. Song Lang said, That woman Cairo Mei doesn't know the difference between Chu Ji and me. Li Yao said, Gap, what exactly is the gap? I want to know too. Chu Ji found Director Feng at this time. Director Feng looked at Chu Ji and said, I thought you weren't coming. I don't care about the Li family. What I care about is you, Director Feng, Chu Ji said. Director Feng was stunned for a moment when he heard this, and then looked at Chu Ji deeply. I have sorted out my understanding of your work. I will have someone send it to you tomorrow. You can refer to it. To be honest, that work is better than the one I have. Chu Ji raised his eyebrows and said, I believe in Director Feng's ability, and I also believe in Director Feng's character. Director Feng's worry disappeared upon hearing this, and he couldn't help but return to his previous state and chuckled. Director Feng, what are you so happy about? Li Yao walked over at this time. Following behind him was Song Lang, whose face was ashen. Boss Li, Director Feng and I were just chatting about family matters. Chu Ji looked at Li Yao and continued. I didn't expect that Boss Li is already the CEO of the Li family at such a young age. Chu Ji admires him. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji and said, Really? How about you come over and help me? Chu Ji was stunned for a moment, then said, Boss Li is joking. Song Lang, who was standing next to him, said gloomily, Just know that it was a joke. Don't lose sight of your own identity. Chu Ji laughed and said, Don't worry about this, Mr. Song. I still have self-knowledge. At this time, Li Yao looked at Song Lang with dissatisfaction. Song Lang's words made him look cheap. Li Yao now doubts Song Lang's background. As a direct descendant of the Song family, his upbringing should not be so poor. Director Feng next to him also looked at Song Lang with disdain. There was also a hint of sarcasm in Cairo May's eyes. This kind of person may appear glamorous on the surface, but who knows how dirty he is in secret. Chapter 161, The Gap Between Who and Who. At this time, a young man came over and said, That's right. Mr. Song owns 3 companies with an annual income of several hundred million. Only a person like Mr. Song is worthy of Yao. Chu Ji had never seen him before. Song Lang showed a proud look. Chu Ji said, Indeed, I am not as talented as Mr. Song. Cairo May said at this time, Our President Chu only has 3 companies and 1 factory. The annual profit of a gaming company is only a few hundred million, and the annual revenue of hundreds of chain stores, that is, Sanwei Yatang, is only about 100 million. That entertainment company hasn't made any movies yet, but has only released dozens of albums. The most popular albums have only sold tens of millions of copies, so they don't make much money. In the end, the factory made even less money, with only tens of millions in profit each year, and it had to support hundreds of workers. By this calculation, our Mr. Chu is indeed not that outstanding, and is indeed far inferior to Mr. Song. The young man who was walking by had a stiff expression on his face. Isn't this awesome? Are you showing off? The young man looked embarrassed at this time. The game company alone is no worse than Song Lang's company. Cairo May looked at Song Lang with a playful look and said, I wonder what Mr. Song's company is called. Is it in Lingcheng? Or in Jinghai? I'll go visit and learn from it when I have time. Song Lang's face froze when he heard this. Li Yao next to him also looked at Song Lang. She was also very curious about what Song Lang's 3 companies did. She had been hearing Song Lang say that he had 3 companies under him, but he was not really clear about what they did specifically. He only knew that one of them was an entertainment company. But if it is an entertainment company, according to him, it has more foundation than his own Li family's entertainment company. So why does he have to come to Jinghai? Song Lang then said, I have an entertainment company, you know this, and the other 2 are also key enterprises of my Song family, and they are related to real estate. Everyone's doubts were cleared up. Indeed, real estate does make money now. Sometimes a piece of land costs hundreds of millions of dollars. Chu Ji said, then I'm curious who is in charge of these companies. Mr. Song has been in Jinghai all this time and doesn't want to go back to take care of the companies. Unlike me, although I have many excellent talents under me, some things are still decided by me as the boss, so I am not as leisurely as Mr. Song every day. Song Lang snorted coldly and didn't respond. There was a hint of sarcasm in Chu Ji's eyes. It was Li Yao, who was in love, who had never considered this matter. If you think about it carefully, which boss with hundreds of millions of dollars wouldn't go home for several months or half a year? Is this possible? Chu Ji glanced at Li Yao, hoping that this woman wouldn't be that stupid. Li Yao met Chu Ji's eyes and glared back at him fiercely. Chu Ji was somewhat speechless. This woman must have some problem. At this time, Song Lang looked at Director Feng beside him and said with a turn of his eyes, Director Feng, I heard that this script was carefully selected by Director Feng. Director Feng said, Yes, this script was indeed carefully selected by me. Song Lang looked at Chu Ji with a provocative look. Thank you, Director Feng, for bringing such an excellent script here, Song Lang said. It seems that Director Feng thinks highly of me and our entertainment company. Unlike some people, a small company with only a few people actually dream of taking over your film. Chu Ji touched his nose. Is this talking about him? What's wrong with this Song Lang? He won't give up unless someone tries to suppress him. Director Feng didn't say anything. Song Lang didn't know what the specific matter was, so he was simply asking a question even though he already knew the answer. I clearly promised Chu Ji, but now I have to cooperate with Song Lang. Now the other party is using this point to belittle Chu Ji, which is simply disgusting. Chu Ji said, I really can't compare with Mr. Song in this regard. Mr. Song's fame is far higher than mine. At this time, Kairo Mei said, Boss Chu, I heard that our drama is about to start filming. Director Feng praised the drama highly and even accepted the Su family's invitation to direct the drama himself. Is that true? Chu Ji looked at Kairo Mei. Seeing Kairo Mei's expression, Chu Ji was stunned for a moment and said, That's indeed the case. Director Feng also said at this time, Yes, I am very optimistic about that drama. I am a little unwilling now that I was not allowed to direct it myself for some reason. The people around were stunned. What? It turns out Chu Ji also has excellent works. From Director Feng's tone, it seems that he cares more about that drama than this one. Song Lang's face suddenly turned ugly. He clenched his teeth. What's going on? What's wrong with Chu Ji? Why does he always have to put himself above me in everything? First, it was Kairo Mei who tried her best to ask the other party to be her assistant. But the other party just ignores me. Chu Ji came, and after just a few casual words, Kairo Mei followed Chu Ji. Then he wanted to use his own worth to put pressure on Chu Ji and make him realize the gap between him and himself. But who would have thought that Chu Ji had already built up so many industries under his control without realizing it? Not to mention anything else, just that gaming company alone is enough to make people jealous. Song Lang didn't know that not only he was jealous, but Su was also jealous. The fact that this gaming company is favored by such a wealthy family shows how excellent it is. Then he poached all of Director Feng and his works. Although some methods were used, which were somewhat dishonorable, I succeeded. I originally wanted to use Director Feng's incident to hit Chu Ji, but the other party really didn't care and had a work that was even better than Director Feng's. How could this not make him angry? No matter how good a work is, it will lose its luster without a director like Director Feng. This was Song Lang's final counterattack. Kairo Mei chuckled and said, The director of our play this time is a professor from the performance department of Jinghai University. Director Feng also said at this time, Yes, he is still my mentor. The people around gasped. No wonder Chu Ji looks so relaxed. Everyone here came to see Chu Ji make a fool of himself, but at this moment they were all shocked. It turns out that others have better ones, so Chu Ji here naturally doesn't care. Chu Ji said at this time, Oh, I forgot to tell you that our play has already started filming. The actors are all students from the Jinghai acting department. They are all formally trained. Li Qing graduated from there. Speaking of Li Qing, everyone around her knows that the play she and Chu Ji starred in directly made Li Qing a popular actress. With Li Qing's example, I believe that students at Jinghai University will not be too bad either. If we save on venue and actors, we can save a lot of money, someone said. At least we can save millions, someone said. Chu Ji said, Yes, I calculated that I could save more than 3 million yuan, and I donated it to the school's acting department. Kaio Mei said, We have signed a strategic cooperation agreement with the performance department of Jinghai University. In the future, we will not lack scripts or actors. Of course, our company will also vigorously provide performance opportunities for those students. Strategic agreement. Yes, exclusive, said Kairo Mei. Song Lang next to him was so angry that he gritted his teeth, and his eyes turned red. Chu Ji's move directly created a talent base. There will be no shortage of actors, scripts, or even creativity in the future. This is simply a cheat. Song Lang suddenly felt a little chest tightness. Chapter 162, Hijacking. Kairo Mei noticed Song Lang's look and smiled slightly. Mr. Song, you don't seem very happy. What's wrong? Shouldn't you give Mr. Chu a thumbs up? Song Lang looked at Kairo Mei suddenly with a ferocious expression. Kairo Mei was so frightened that she fell backwards into Chu Ji's arms. She didn't know if it was intentional. This directly pushed Song Lang to the forefront. It's obvious that Song Lang can't stand seeing others doing better than him. Chu Ji just congratulated him. Now that he heard that Chu Ji was doing better than him, he actually showed an expression of jealousy and resentment. This is such a narrow-minded person. He doesn't even pretend to be nice. Isn't this just because he can't stand seeing others doing well? It's better to stay away from such people. Li Yao snorted coldly and turned away. She was angry with Song Lang and completely disappointed in him. At the same time, he was also angry with Chu Ji. He called Chu Ji here just to make him look bad. But now, the banquet he hosted has become Chu Ji's personal show. Looking at the attitudes of the people around her towards Chu Ji, she wanted to tear Chu Ji apart right now. Song Lang watched Li Yao leave, His face changed and he quickly chased after her. Cairo May looked at Song Lang's back, and a sneer appeared on her lips. I believe that after today, people here will have a clear understanding of Song Lang's qualities. Song Lang used to disguise himself very well, and even Xiao Han was no match for him. But when his true face was revealed, it was discovered that he and Xiao Han were actually the same kind of people, narrow-minded, insidious, and cunning. Chu Ji looked at Cairo May in his arms with concern and asked, "Are you okay?" Hearing Chu Ji's words and noticing the worry in Chu Ji's eyes, Cairo May felt like her heart was about to melt. At this time, Song Lang also came to Li Yao's side. Looking at Li Yao's appearance, he said viciously, "I can't swallow this breath. I must teach him a lesson." Li Yao was stunned and looked at Song Lang and asked, "What do you want to do?" Song Lang sneered and said, "Just leave it to me. I guarantee that he will kneel before you and beg for mercy." Li Yao's eyes lit up, and she trembled with excitement when she thought of that scene. The banquet continues. Cairo May is very good at networking and has done what an assistant should do. Before she knew it, she has established connections with some companies and bosses who will be resources in the future. Chu Ji didn't know that his influence had taken a huge step forward because of Cairo May. Director Feng chuckled at this time when he saw the ugly expression on Song Lang's face when he left. Director Feng felt even more refreshed than eating ice cream in the hot summer. "As you are pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger," Director Feng said to Chu Ji at this time. Cairo May said, "Isn't this our nature? We need to save face in public. This is not the time to be modest. Only in this way can we let others know us and attract some cooperation. Being modest and not good at showing off will only make you lose opportunities. Sometimes falling behind by one step means falling behind step by step. Don't let it go." Chu Ji began to look at Cairo May with a new respect. Noticing Chu Ji's gaze, Cairo May proudly puffed out her chest. Chu Ji quickly looked away. Cairo May smiled secretly. The banquet ended, and Chu Ji and Director Feng said goodbye. Of course, he did not forget to say goodbye to his boss, Li Yao. But Chu Ji didn't see it. Li Yao looked at Chu Ji's back with a sneer on her face. Chu Ji said to Cairo May at this time, "I've called a designated driver for you. Go back first. Tomorrow you can go to the entertainment company to find me or Li Qing. Ask her to help you get hired. From now on, you will be my assistant." Cairo May said, "Okay, see you tomorrow." Cairo May didn't act pretentiously. She got into the car, waved goodbye to Chu Ji, and left. Inside the car, Cairo May's blush never faded when she thought that she would belong to Chu Ji from now on. Chu Ji also walked towards his car at this time. Logically, the designated driver should have arrived, so why was he late? After waiting for another 2 minutes, he finally saw a designated driver coming hurriedly. "Sorry, sir, I'm late." The man was wearing a hat. Chu Ji casually waved his hand and didn't care. It was not easy for everyone, so he would not give the other party a bad review for such a small matter. The car started, and Chu Ji closed his eyes to rest. Although he was not good at drinking, he still drank a little and felt a little dizzy at this time. After lying there for a while, Chu Ji looked up at the window and was suddenly stunned. "Isn't this the way back to my place?" The other party did not respond. Chu Ji was shocked. "Who are you? What do you want to do?" Chu Ji wanted to get up, but the other party seemed to be prepared and actually sprayed a cloud of smoke towards his face. Chu Ji's already dizzy head became even more dizzy after smelling the smoke. He fell onto the back seat with a thud. His heart skipped a beat. Someone was trying to deal with him, and he wondered if the other party would kill him to silence him. Finally, Chu Ji felt that he was being picked up and thrown into a private room similar to a singing room. He looked up and saw a person wearing a half mask, a woman with a nice figure. Chu Ji struggled to get up and looked at the man, but he felt something was wrong with his body. "Who are you and why did you bring me here?" Chu Ji asked. As he spoke, he looked around, and then his eyes fell on the other person's mask. At the same time, outside the door, Song Lang came out and said to the man, "You did a good job this time." The man said, "It's okay, we'll leave." Song Lang nodded. The man walked out the door, took out something from his pocket, and prepared to throw it away. It was the drug that could make Chu Ji unconscious. Just as he was throwing it, he was suddenly stunned and stared at the spray in his hand in astonishment. "Fuck this is not a drug." The man looked in the direction of the KTV and then said, "Who cares? The mission is accomplished anyway." The man then blended into the crowd on the street and disappeared. At this time, the masked woman in the room took out a whip and walked towards Chu Ji with a sneer on her face. Chu Ji retreated, but the other party had no intention of letting him go. "How is it? Do you still have the strength to stand up?" Don't waste your energy. If you kneel down in front of me and kowtow to me a few times, I might be more gentle with you later." Chu Ji's eyes were hazy. It was not that he had no strength, but that he was trying to control his strength. He felt like a demon had awakened deep inside him. But obviously, the other party misunderstood. A whip was lashed at him. The restlessness that Chu Ji had barely suppressed began to surge again, and a hint of anger rose in his heart. "Who are you?" Chu Ji asked with red eyes. "You are so smart, guess who I am?" the woman asked. Chu Ji tried his best to retreat backwards. His mind was in a mess, and he had no time to guess about these things. He was afraid that he would do something he would regret. But the woman obviously didn't realize this. The woman approached again and swung the whip at Chu Ji. Chu Ji's last bit of rationality was finally completely eliminated by anger. He suddenly stood up and rushed towards the woman, pushed her down on the sofa. Chapter 163, The Gap in Comparison. The woman was startled and wanted to resist. The friction between the two bodies was inevitable. The woman's body suddenly stiffened, as if she felt something. Chu Ji took the opportunity to snatch the other party's whip, then stood up and swung the whip to hit the woman. There was shock in the woman's eyes. "You were drugged, how could you still have so much strength?" Chu Ji was in no mood to answer her question. The whip cracked. The woman was shocked at first, but did not ask for help. Instead, she looked at Chu Ji stubbornly. I didn't expect she was such a stubborn person. Chu Ji was angry and naturally would not give up. The woman just kept her mouth shut and said nothing. Chu Ji was annoyed and pushed the woman down on the sofa again. Then he reached out his hand towards the other person's mask. He wanted to see who was looking for trouble with him. The woman was startled and struggled hard. Chu Ji's hand slipped, and he actually tore the other person's collar. The delicate skin was exposed in front of Chu Ji. Chu Ji was stunned, his eyes were red. His breathing was rapid, and the desire in his heart almost made him go crazy. The woman was not panicked at all, and seemed not afraid at all of what Chu Ji would do to her. At this moment, the woman seemed to have seized the opportunity, and she stood up and knocked Chu Ji to the ground. She pressed her whole body on Chu Ji and reached out to grab the whip in Chu Ji's hand. The two men wrestled on the ground. Chu Ji is a man after all, and he suppressed the other party forcefully. The woman breathed rapidly, twisted her body, and then froze and dared not move. She looked at Chu Ji with some shock but not fear. Chu Ji took the opportunity to take off the other person's mask, revealing Li Yao's handsome face. "Is it you?" "It's me, so what?" Li Yao rolled over and knocked Chu Ji over again. The slender and powerful legs tightly wrapped around Chu Ji's waist. "What?" Outside the door, Song Lang listened to the noise inside with a smug look on his face. Hearing the loud noise inside, Song Lang sneered. "Humph, Chudge, this is what happens when you offend me." Thinking of Chu Ji's miserable appearance, Song Lang couldn't help sneering. Just like Chu Ji now, Song Lang looked at the time and saw that more than half an hour had passed. There was no sign of stopping, so he walked leisurely to the side. Then he walked into the private room next door. After a while, he came out, only to find that the private room where Chu Ji was staying was empty. Chu Ji is gone, and Li Yao is gone too. "Well, where did you go? Why didn't you tell me when you left? It's such a pity that I didn't see Chu Ji's miserable state." Song Lang entered the room and looked around. It was a mess. Then he nodded with satisfaction. "I returned leisurely to the villa where I lived with Li Yao, and found that Li Yao had already returned." "Yaya, why didn't you tell me you came back? I've been waiting for you outside for a long time," Song Lang said. Li Yao was a little dazed, but she came back to her senses when she heard Song Lang's words. "When did you come back?" Li Yao's tone was somewhat unhappy. Song Lang was stunned and said, "I just came back." Li Yao said, "Oh, it's okay, go and rest first." Song Lang asked, "Yaya, what's wrong with you? Didn't you feel satisfied with beating that guy? Do you want me to find another opportunity to tie him up?" Li Yao's eyes flickered and she said, "We'll talk about this later." Seeing that Li Yao didn't say anything, Song Lang didn't ask any more questions and prepared to go upstairs to wash up. At this time, Li Yao suddenly asked, "Where are you going?" Song Lang said, "I'll go upstairs." Li Yao frowned and said, "I'm in a bad mood today, you go back." Song Lang was a little stunned. "Yaya, what's wrong with you?" Li Yao said, "Didn't you hear what I said? Please leave here." Song Lang's face was full of excitement, but he still said, "Okay, Yaya, you have a good rest. I will come to see you tomorrow." Li Yao said, "I also need to rest tomorrow. Don't disturb me unless it's something distant." Li Yao looked up at Song Lang with a hint of disgust in her eyes. Everything that happened today made Song Lang's image in her heart plummet to the bottom. She suddenly realized that her willingness to date him was all wishful thinking and a fantasy of hers. Now that the facts were before her, she felt extremely disgusted. Disgust for Song Lang. It felt like he was deceiving her from the beginning. He was not at all the perfect person he imagined in his mind. Especially when compared with Chu Ji, this feeling becomes more obvious. I do feel a little unwell. You should go back first. There is a nanny at home to take care of me. You don't have to worry about it, Li Yao said again. Song Lang walked away, looking back every few steps, and Li Yao did not try to keep him. Song Lang's face looked very ugly. After Song Lang left, Li Yao picked up the phone and made a call. Stop Song Lang next time. Yes, miss, came a reply from the other side. As soon as I hung up the phone, it rang again. Li Yao quickly answered, What's going on? Miss, don't worry, we dropped him off downstairs of his house. Someone has already taken him away. Male or female? Li Yao asked. The person opposite was stunned for a moment and said, It's a woman. It seems to be the CEO of the Su family. Li Yao's face changed, and then she hung up the phone. She got up and walked to the second floor, into her room. She sat in front of the window, looking up at the moon in the sky. She stared at it intently, not knowing when the moon had turned into Chu Ji's face. Li Yao was startled, and when she came to her senses, she covered her burning cheeks. Why do I think of him? What's going on? Li Yao shook her head, trying to get rid of the image of Chu Ji in her mind. But she found that it didn't seem to work. Chu Ji seemed to have imprinted his appearance in her mind tonight. Li Yao suddenly threw herself onto the bed and covered her head with the quilt. Only the exposed skin exudes a charming blush. Chu Ji had a headache when he woke up. Turning his head, he saw Su Ruoxuan sleeping soundly beside his bed. Ruoxian. Su Ruoxian woke up and looked at Chu Ji happily and asked, You're awake. Chu Ji recalled and stood up suddenly. How did I get back? He thought about his kidnapping. But what happened next was a little blurry. I seemed to see the woman's face. It was Li Yao. But what happened next was a bit confusing, like a dream. But in the end, I felt that I was knocked out by that woman Li Yao. It was because I was accidentally knocked to the ground by her, and my head hit the ground. I just didn't expect that the other party would be kind enough to send me back. Chu Ji wanted to call the police, but then he thought better of it, thinking they probably wouldn't be able to find out anything. It will waste a lot of your time. More importantly, he felt that Li Yao just wanted to teach him a lesson, rather than really want to do anything to him. Yesterday you drank too much and collapsed downstairs. What a shame that the designated driver just left you there. I want to complain to them, Su Ruoxuan said. Forget it, it's not about the designated driver. It seems like it's my business. Chu Ji looked ugly. Su Ruoxuan touched Chu Ji's forehead with worry in her eyes. Seeing this, Chu Ji stood up and said, I'm really fine now. Look, I'm fine now, right? Chu Ji moved his hands and feet casually. Chu Ji looked at the time and found that it was past work time. Ruoxian, let me take you to work. Su Ruoxuan nodded. After seeing Su Ruoxuan off, Chu Ji thought for a moment and drove towards Director Feng. Director Feng agreed to direct his movie and also offered his own insights on the work, which Chu Ji found very valuable. Chapter 164 Chu Ji. When Chu Ji arrived at Director Feng's place, he warmly invited Chu Ji into the house. Director Feng is a man, but he behaves more like a woman in his daily life, and he is still unmarried at this age. The room layout is also more feminine. Chu Ji sat on the sofa. When Director Feng came out again, he was holding a stack of information in his hand. Chu Ji took the information seriously and said, I'm really sorry that Director Feng has to worry about this. Director Feng chuckled. Aj, I admire you very much, but it's a pity that I can't work with you this time, but don't worry, I won't let him have it easy, and I will kick him out of the filming if I have the chance. In my heart, you and President Su are the perfect male and female protagonists. Unfortunately, I also have my own difficulties. Chu Ji thought of Song Lang's background, and it was not impossible to use some means to force Director Feng. Chu Ji hesitated for a moment and said, Do you want help? Director Feng looked at Chu Ji. Chu Ji also looked at him quietly. Then Director Feng chuckled and said, It hasn't come to that yet. Chu Ji also breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. It seemed that the other party did not go too far. After chatting casually with Director Feng for a while, Chu Ji left after making sure that the other party had no personal safety issues. At this time, at the Li family, Song Lang came to the door of Li Yao's villa again. Just as he was about to go in as usual, he was stopped by the security guard. Song Lang frowned. You dare to stop me. The security guard said, I'm sorry, Mr. Song, this is what the lady meant. Song Lang suppressed his anger, took out his cell phone and called Li Yao. The call was quickly hung up. Song Lang's face was terribly gloomy. He was very curious. Why did Li Yao's attitude towards him change so much? Just as Song Lang was thinking, the door of Li Yao's villa opened. Li Yao drove out and stopped the car next to Song Lang. "Didn't I tell you that I'm feeling a little uncomfortable these days, and I won't let you come to see me?" "Yao, am I not worried about you?" Song Lang said hurriedly. Li Yao looked at Song Lang expressionlessly and said, "Why are you worried about me at home? You should use this time to think about how to make this movie a success. Speaking of which, today is the day director Feng officially starts filming. Shouldn't you be very busy? How do you still have time to come here?" Song Lang's face was stiff. Li Yao didn't give him a chance to speak. "You should hurry to the company. I also have to go to work in the group." Li Yao started the car and drove away. Song Lang looked at Li Yao, who was walking away